the guy who founded and created the Backstreet Boys as we know them, NSYNC, O-Town. You gotta backtrack. Boy, look at you now. Let it fall. Really building it up. Oh, bad boy, what you spoke today for since basically Friday. Hello everybody, how you doing this fine? Oh, Monday, wow. I, like you, have been waiting for today for since basically Friday. Oh Lord, okay. It seems like it doesn't even matter how early I get on here. They started already. Okay. It doesn't even matter what time I get on here. They already started. Okay. So let's go to Inner City Press. 28 minutes ago he started. Good morning, good morning. I'm not gonna waste any time. I just hate that feeling of like being behind the whole time. Claudia, thank you so much that I look nice and refreshed. Yes, I took the whole day, well, not fully off yesterday, but like off from like, you know, talking and stuff like that. Oh Lord. I do have my like South Indian coffee, my chicky cuppa. I don't know how to say it, y'all. I gotta learn how to say it, but it's got like ginger and stuff in it. So hopefully that's gonna help my throat today. I don't know, we'll see. All right, so 20, like basically 30. Okay, so today's Monday, May 19th, 2025. We're on week 3 of the Diddy trial. Remember, week 1 of the trial was the jury selection. So a lot of people are on last week 1, where it was Cassie started to testify and these like other people testified. I think I have it listed in the description box down below who all has testified already, a little description of them. I also have Inner City Press Twitter linked in the description box below. That is where you can follow him. Today we're going to be looking at live updates. At least this is who we're going to start with. I mean, I reserve the right to change my mind. We're going to start with Inner City Press. Then we also have New York Times. We have Washington Post. That's our details queens. We have CBS News. I was looking for other ones here. I wanted CNN. Okay, get rid of that. We're also going to be looking at NBC News updates, live updates, as well as a new one today. The Mirror. I think the Mirror originally is like UK based company, but this is the Mirror US. So we'll give that a try. I'm missing CNN. Usually we're looking at CNN as well. There also sometimes is a New York Post one. So if I remember later, I will, okay, I'm wrong way. Yeah. If I remember later, I'll look for those two again. Let's see. All right. Inner City Press says, so he's calling it week 2. I'm going to refer to it as week 3 since the jury selection. I'm going to count it as like the trial, but I do see why it seems more intuitive to refer to this as week 2. So in any event, we're on Monday, May 19th, and Dawn Richard, they call her Richard. I mean, listen, I'm a descendant of the Richards. Like I am a Richard, because my mom's grandpa's a Richard. So, that's how we say it. It's not Richard, but I don't know how she says it. However she says it, y'all can say it like that. But until I hear her saying it with my own ears, I'm gonna probably say Richard. And everybody's my cousin, including probably her. I thought she was gonna send me a cease and desist for saying that. Okay, so he says the week begins with the judge ruling on the scope of Dawn Richard's testimony. So if you recall last week, Dawn, she talked about and testified about so far a couple things, but specifically this one incident with Cassie where Dawn Richard says that she witnessed Diddy hitting, beating, harming Cassie. Now one of my videos already did get yellow, $. It's looking a little rocky out here. I'm trying my best to follow. I'm trying my best to follow the guidelines. Y'all really am, but this is an extremely important, high profile case of extreme public interest, extreme public concern. People are calling it the trial of the century. People are calling it the biggest trial since O.J. Simpson trial, which is very interesting to me that there's just such a prominent Kardashian Jenner demon looming over literally both of those trials, but they weren't named specifically. So sorry, y'all. I do have to start taking a little better care of my voice if we're going to make it through. So just forgive me while I take a few hot sips from time to time. I'm going to have to, I find myself not wanting to take a sip because I know it pauses and stuff, but I just have to. Okay. What was I saying? So last week, Dawn Richard, she was testifying. If you don't know who she is, she was a former, technically an employee of Diddy. She was on a reality TV show called Making the Band. Now, this is one of those reality shows from MTV, right? Not VH1. One of those reality shows from VH1, MTV, I think it's MTV, where it actually originally started by a guy named Lou Pearlman, and he was the guy who founded and created the Backstreet Boys, as we know them, NSYNC, O-Town. He also was going to launch, I believe he was going to launch a band that starred Britney Spears in it as well. She was going to be in a band called Innocence until she was plucked up by somebody else. Britney Spears does weave in and out of this story for many reasons. She was mentioning Cassie's testimony last week. She also was in attendance at Cassie's 21st birthday party in Las Vegas, where Britney had a conservatorship eventually, but also where Cassie claims that exact night Britney was there. Diddy had invited Britney there, presumably, I guess, to impress Cassie. I really don't know why she was invited there. The next day, though, was that infamous, horrendous VMAs performance where Britney did the Gimme More performance, and it was kind of a flop because she was set up and sabotaged. Okay, so Dawn was on that show, Making the Band. After that first season, Lou Pearlman went away. Diddy took over the show. So a lot of people think it was Diddy's show. Diddy created it. Now, it was Diddy's show. I mean, he had it for seasons and seasons. He created a very successful band out of the show called Danity Kane. Danity Kane is the band. It's kind of like one of those 2000s pop girly bands where it was like, do you got a first date? Or whatever. That was Pussycat Dolls. What was it? Show stopping in a minute. Show stopping. I think that's Danity Kane. What's their other one? They're kind of like a Pussycat Dolls type band or whatever, except these 5 people I think were always the 5 people. The Pussycat Dolls got rotated out other than the main one or 2. Anyway, I do like to give a little bit of background, a little bit of backstory. I think that's part of the reason that separates and differentiates what I do over here than just kind of reading these articles yourself. So you're more than welcome to go do that. I told you where the sources are. So if you don't like me talking, then you can get off my channel because I do not work for you and I'm not sorry. Okay. So Dawn last week, that brings us to okay, so she also was in this other band with Diddy called Diddy Dirty Money. So in the course of being on the show, she got selected from the show making the band. She became a member of Danity Kane. It was a fairly successful group. Their songs were cute. Whatever the case may be, and they were the most, some of the most talented people that had been on that show. Talent shows come in and out a lot on these. Okay, like it's always a Star Search and a America's Got Talent and an X Factor and a Making the Band. It's just always a little competition. American Idol. It's always a little competition going on somehow, some way. Even between the Backstreet Boys and the NSYNC, they compete. If you're just joining us, that is relevant, but I'm not going to revisit why. So Dawn Richard herself has also sued Diddy. Okay, she sued him in September last year. All right, ongoing lawsuit. I think as recently as yesterday, I saw somewhere that Diddy did file to dismiss this lawsuit. I didn't fact check that, but I did see a headline that said that, so that's possible. I'm not going to fact check that right now. Just kind of reporting to y'all like different little things I've seen. This is a little bit of a curation, a repository, and opinions, as it were. So, Dawn Richard, in the process of being around Diddy or whatever, she alleges that she witnessed an incident involving Diddy and Cassie, and I believe it was 2009. I don't exactly remember the year. Maybe it was 2009. In this incident, Cassie was making eggs in a skillet. Diddy came downstairs. They were in their house. Dawn Richard was there. Somebody else was there. Kalena Harper, something like that. The other person who was in the Diddy Dirty Money. And Dawn on Friday testified that she observed a domestic incident, we'll say, involving that frying pan. Cassie ducked, went into the fetal position. Diddy allegedly, apparently, then dragged Cassie back to a different room upstairs. This is what Dawn Richard, excuse me. I did get used to saying Richard. I just found out the other day she's a Richard, not Richard, so that made me pleased. So this is what she did testify to on Friday. Now, Diddy's legal team, last we left off, was pitching a fit. Mark Agnifilo. He was saying that nothing Dawn Richard has to say ought to be admitted. Dawn Richard ought to not be allowed to continue on with her testimony. And also everything she already had said ought to be struck. That's what Diddy's lawyers were saying. And the grounds for this, the reasonings for this was that Diddy's lawyers were saying, Agnifilo, I think, made these arguments. He was saying that because Cassie Ventura, the witness 3, in this case, victim 1, witness 3, she's done testifying, Diddy's ex. Because Cassie did not testify to the incident happening with the eggs and the skillet and all of that, then Diddy's lawyers were saying that Dawn Richard's testimony is completely irrelevant. So the judge was like, okay, looks over to the prosecutors and is like, what's y'all's argument on this? And they were like, it speaks to some other stuff other than just, the incident itself. It speaks to like how did he use violence? It speaks to count 1 in 2 different ways. So the sides go back and forth. And then the judge is like, I'm gonna just decide on Monday when we get back. So here we are Monday, we back. See, I thought court wasn't supposed to start till 9 and maybe they were going to start at 9. I mean, I thought court, and it was given, the jury was told that they were supposed to come for starting the second week, of jury showing up. They were supposed to come at 9:30, or be there, I guess, like for court to start at 9:30 was going to go till 3 or 3:30. But since, I guess they're running short on time or something, they're running behind schedule. They seem to have already started, even though I think they weren't supposed, originally the announcement was they weren't supposed to be starting until 9:30, which is 9:33 right now. So here I am thinking I'm early. I'm not. Okay. So today, Dawn is scheduled to come back. They did say originally that her testimony was only supposed to take about a half hour. So not a very long time did they even expect her to be on the stand. But they did not. They only had about 15 minutes on Friday. And then, like I said, they also argued about some stuff. So let's see what the judge decided, if anything, so far. And we'll start with Inner City Press. Okay, he says, week 2 begins with the judge's ruling on the scope of Dawn Richard's testimony. And Inner City Press says, then the next witness to come up is going to be Carrie Morgan. Now, the judge did tell last week, Friday, I think, or Thursday, the judge did tell both sides to turn in their, or maybe it was just the government, to turn in their witness list to him in the order that they're going to have the witnesses coming in. And then it seems like, according to public reporting, the judge then rescinded that and said, you don't have to actually turn in your whole entire next witness list, but it's just like some of it, because there was some type of concern with witness tampering. I didn't see that in court records. I only saw that reported, so take that with a grain of salt. I don't know if it's true or not. So here we are this morning, 34 minutes ago. All rise. So I guess they came in at 9 o'clock. The judge said, on Diddy and them's application with regard to Dawn, Teeny's opening statement opened the door to this testimony. Okay, so Teeny Garagos, who is Mark Garagos' daughter. Mark Garagos is the one that Jonathan Oddie, the supposed SEX slave, who testified, like he's the one that pew-pew at the Trump hotel that time or whatever. And he's like, he's been mentioned in this case. So Jonathan Oddie said that Mark Garagos was the lawyer, one of the 2 lawyers that negotiated his settlement agreement. I don't know if this is true or not. I'm just telling you what he said in the interrogation. Mark Garagos is on like the Menendez trial right now. He's busy enough. He's on Harvey Levin's podcast every other freaking day talking about this case. He helped select the jury in this case, according to the prosecutors. And his daughter is the one who did the opening statement for Diddy. She's his lawyer. So Teeny Garagos did this opening statement. She mentions a bunch of stuff. And the judge says this morning, right off the bat, 9 o'clock, he's like, all right, Teeny Garagos opened the door to let Dawn Richard come in, okay? As to Mr. James, David James, I think he's some type of former manager of Bad Boy at Bad Boy Records or something like that. So as to him, the testimony would be inadmissible unless there's some kind of opening of the door, okay? Who is this Mr. James? I don't know how he fits in here. Diddy's lawyers, I don't know who wants him to testify, actually. Looks like Diddy's lawyers, because the prosecutor is arguing against it. She's like, Judge, Your Honor, as I argued in my letter, okay, again, Inner City Press, shout out to him, calling it like it is. He's like, note, there's all these letters. Look, he's got his quote right here. The judge just ruled orally on letters that are not in the docket. although they are clearly judicial documents. Inner City Press challenged this, all this secret backroom off the record. I don't know, maybe it's supposed to be on the record, maybe it is on the record, but they just keep it secret. Maybe there's a record for them and a record for us. Like maybe we're just second-class citizens out here with the people. Okay, I ain't talking about freak off tapes, y'all. I don't see that. I'm talking about letters of legal arguments that are not being docketed. Why? Why aren't legal arguments being docketed? Why are they sending super secret notes and letters to the freaking judge? This is stupid. I feel like it's not even constitutional. When are they going to go on the docket? Inner City Press has filed a motion of sorts, a letter motion to unseal all this stuff and put it on the docket. But yeah, they have not done so. Anyway, so the judge says the same brand of testimony that was objected on Friday. All right, so it looks like the judge, hold on, let me just read a couple of these tweets to see. Again, y'all, it is very difficult to speak to Inner City Press's point. There's no document on the record. Like, okay, so if you follow this case for a while, you know, sometimes they file documents that have these big black bars over lines of testimony. That's called redacted. So you still get the letter, right? You still, as the public, there's some things in there that got to be taken out for whatever reason. Maybe eventually they'll be unsealed. But what I'm trying to get through right now is like a tweet interpretation of a conversation being had on a topic that's not public. Like it's just reading tea leaves. So I really am doing my best. If it feels like I need to stop and pause and stuff, it's just the name of the game. Okay, it's a live coverage. Okay, so, all right. All rise. The defense application with regard to Dawn Richard testimony. The judge is going to go ahead and let her testify. She's going to talk about what she saw and what she heard. As to David James, the testimony is not admissible unless there's something else. If it comes in some other way, if somebody opens the door, so-called opens the door, that would then make it admissible or something. But right now, David James' testimony cannot come in. The judge said the same brand of testimony that was objected to on Friday. Does the government expect Ms. Richard to say what she heard and saw? The assistant U.S. attorney said, yes, we expect Ms. Dawn Richard to talk about what she heard and saw, yes, with the incident with Cassie. So the judge says that's permissible, just like the testimony in the recording studio. So David James is going to talk about some stuff in the recording studio that's permissible. So maybe David James is going to talk about, or they wanted him to talk about a few things, and maybe the government is arguing about the scope of his testimony, like what he can talk about, what he can't. So the judge is like, David James can talk about what he saw and what he heard in the recording studio. Yes. The assistant U.S. attorney is like, Your Honor, personal assistants were with Diddy 20 hours a day. Their testimony is admissible. The judge said, yeah, but okay. So this tells us the government, the feds, are trying to keep in some evidence in the form of personal assistance testimony. Which personal assistant over, the last 30 years, your guess is as good as mine. The original indictment for this started in 2008, and now I think it goes all the way back to 2004. Which incidentally is the year 2004 is when the SJB Trust was created by Britney Spears to try to protect her assets. And then 2008 was the year that she was put into a conservatorship. So it's interesting that this involves Britney's money manager, because Britney's money manager is also Diddy's business manager, or has been. They've been working together as some capacity for some decades, since Uptown Records. Okay. Like since Diddy was over there, like that's when Lou was working with Uptown. All right. So the judge is like, yeah, okay, fine. Personal assistants, sure. Their testimony could be admissible. They were with him 20 hours a day, but the judge does have a concern. My concern is that there are other ways to get the evidence in that's not their testimony. That maybe is, I don't know, I'm reading between the lines here, but like maybe that would be more reliable. Maybe that'd be more trustworthy, something like that. What Mr. James would add is just the postscript. So I guess Mr. James was a personal assistant. Somebody put it in the chat. The Prince tapes thing, I think, is fake news. There is a lot of fake news going on. Yeah, J.O. Listen, my brain is a web. It's a web. It was web in there. So 14 minutes ago, then Agnifilo was like, wait. On the David James issue. Somebody tell me who's David James. For the purposes of this trial, what's he testifying as, a personal assistant? Agnifilo says, this defeats the whole purpose of the hearsay objection. The government is arguing that it's all admissible because the job descriptions are so vague. We contend that these are personal matters. So is this like somebody that is like, oh yeah, I saw a tape in the studio? Remember how that was like a vague, who was it? Talia Graves, who's represented by Gloria Allred. Was it Talia Graves who said that it was in the studio, somebody was passing around a video of her? Maybe this is something like that. I don't know. I have to read the tea leaves because we don't know what the hell they're talking about. The document for this is just a secret special letter to the judge. It's like, dear diary, screw the public. We got to be out here doing fortune telling. Okay. The judge is like, dude, let me just hold on. All right, shifting gears real quick. Let me focus on the assault of the chef. Okay, so now we're talking about something else. David James learns from a member of the security detail that Diddy assaulted a chef. Wouldn't that be in the scope of their employment? Diddy's lawyer said, I don't know what relevance this has to racketeering. This is becoming a sort of bad act, free for all. Assault is just not one of the racketeering acts. The assistant U.S. attorney said, Your Honor, this is relevant, and it's relevant to the means and methods of the enterprise. Agnifilo is blowing smoke because he knows he's cooked. All right, I'm paraphrasing, obviously. The chef is identified as a victim of forced labor. So yes, within the scope of employment absolutely counts for this, because if the scope of the employment was learning about an assault, this person is employed, the labor code comes in. Did he learn about it, or she learn about it in the course of her duties as the personal chef for Diddy? Yes, this is the government's argument. Okay. So So the judge takes those arguments in without making any decision, and then Agnifilo goes, I'm gonna defer. I'm gonna let Nicole Westmoreland, Miss Westmoreland, this is one of Diddy's newest attorneys, might be the newest one. I'm going to defer to her on the other witness. So there's another witness besides David James and I guess the chef. So here comes Nicole Westmoreland. This is 6 minutes ago, and she says, Miss Richard, that's Dawn Richard, claims that Diddy assaulted Cassie right in front of her. The other alleged threats are nowhere near in close proximity to an alleged assault. We have to distinguish between the Danity Kane and the Diddy Dirty Money eras. And Mr. Pierre telling her, is that Harv Pierre? Where are you going to go? I don't see how that can be construed as a threat. The judge said, okay, just let me think about it. Okay, so what's going on here? Who knows, really? Like, I wish we had a public docket here. I wish dockets were public in the United States of America. I mean, that would be nice. That would be really freaking nice. These people are literally shoved down our collective throats from the time we're children. We usually inescapable. You can't escape these people. Okay. You can't go somewhere to a Macy's. You can't so much as go to the Macy's without hearing the song, seeing the clothes, being given an advertisement, watching a show. But whenever they get it in court, the public is all, no, we can't include them now. However, just reading the tea leaves, doing the best I can, and we'll read through our other sources too. I have the New York Times, Washington Post, CBS, NBC, and the Mirror, US. The lawyer for Diddy is kind of arguing what Harvey Weinstein's lawyer just argued. Now, importantly, this right here we're looking at is a federal case. Harvey Weinstein's case, not a federal case. His was a New York State case. However, Harvey Weinstein's case did get overturned, and it was because of similar things to what Agnifilo is trying to argue and act like is going on here. What happened was a bunch of people were allowed to come in and testify to a bunch of stuff that Harvey Weinstein did to them, allegedly. But these things were not charged. They did not ever sue him. They did not ever make these claims anywhere else, et cetera, et cetera. And so for those reasons, the Supreme Court or the Superior Court in New York overturned it. So yeah, it's a mistrial. You can't let all these people in here saying all these things. You have to keep it, to what's actually relevant. And this is, you can kind of see Mark Agnifilo. If Diddy gets convicted, there's a 100% chance it gets appealed. Okay, you think Diddy's gonna be like, oh shucks, jail for life? No, he's gonna appeal it. So the whole entire time, these people, including the judge, all sides are laying the groundwork, laying the evidentiary record for it to hold up on appeal or to get overturned on appeal in Agnifilo's case. This is becoming a bad act free for all, Your Honor. Assault is not one of the racketeering acts. I'm gonna, and then the U.S. attorney, the feds are like, it is relevant. Oh my God, shut up. This shows how Diddy effectuated this stuff. He forced people to work for him. Forced labor. One of these people that's going to testify about the forced labor is an employee or was an employee. They're one of the victims. A statutory victim, alleged. A statutory alleged victim. This is one of the people who was the victim of forced labor, the assistant U.S. attorney said. Agnifilo said, I'm going to defer to co-counsel Miss Westmoreland on the other witness. So I guess this means Dawn Richard. That is whenever Nicole Westmoreland, one of the newer lawyers for Diddy, says that she's the one that works with Brian Steele. She said, there's these other alleged incidents. We don't know what they are because they're all hush-hush family secret off the record. Okay. So whatever these other alleged threats are, they're nowhere near in proximity to an alleged assault. And Westmoreland says there's a big difference, Your Honor, between the Danity Kane era and the Diddy Dirty Money eras. And also, importantly, all parties involved are going to have to be careful as well as to what they say here because there is an open civil case here. So, you might have seen in the news or whatever people saying, oh, Diddy was having questions be asked for civil cases. Diddy was having Cassie, he was forcing his lawyer, making his lawyer ask Cassie questions so he could get her on the record saying stuff he could use in his civil cases, including, for example, there was no rugs in the baby oil, right? You remember that whole scandal? It was like headlines like Cassie testifies there were no rugs in the baby oil, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, why did that need to be asked here? Even the government, they were like, objection, Your Honor, what is the relevance of that? We are not talking about any of that. We've never made those allegations. And they were like trying to keep Cassie on the stand longer and all that just to ask questions about the civil cases. Well, that is a constant concern. Here, you can bet your behind that you have them walking on eggshells, walking a tightrope of like what we argue here is going to be on the record, so it could be used against us. So it's like, oh, the Danity Kane era is different than the Diddy Dirty Money era. And that might be because it's very important for the civil case to distinguish because the Danity Kane era might have other people involved, like perhaps like MTV, something like that. So pretty sure this is Harv Pierre coming up here. I can bring up also Dawn Richard's lawsuit once we get caught up a little bit. Like I said, I started like at 9, I was a little late, like 9:15, 9:20, and it's like they were already off to the freaking races, but we're going to get caught up. Where are you going to go? Apparently, somebody, Mr. Pierre. I'm going to assume this is Harv Pierre because based on Mr. Pierre. I don't see how that can be construed as a threat. I don't know where you're going to go. So, right, this comes up. This is going to come up in the civil case as well, but in the criminal case, this is being offered up by the prosecution as a threat. Harv Pierre looking at one of these people, I guess, Dawn Richard, and saying, where are you going to go? So maybe Dawn is trying to testify that Harv Pierre told her that. That's what I think it is. Okay, thank you for your patience while I sorted that out. This is what I think it is. I reserve the right to change my mind. I don't know. What I think is going on here is Dawn Richard, they want Dawn Richard, the prosecutors, they want Dawn Richard to testify that Harv Pierre told her, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go if you're not here? And Dawn is going to say, I think, or expected to say, that was a threat. I'm not going to have a job. They're going to stop me from being able to work in this industry. I'm not going to be able to go anywhere. They're going to blackball, blacklist, whatever, me. But here's Diddy's lawyer saying, Your Honor, I just simply don't see how that could be misconstrued as a threat. That couldn't be construed as a threat, Your Honor. That's Diddy's lawyer. The judge is like, all right, just let me think about it. Okay, let's refresh here. Okay, looks like Dawn is back on the stand. Ooh, they talk about Inner City Press's email. Okay. So in the very next tweet, this is actually about 28 minutes ago. This is around like, 9:20 something, 9:30 something. Yeah, like 9:20 something. This is all also, everybody, this is all before the jury comes in. Okay, the jury ain't in yet. They're doing their pre-jury come in argument. So I guess maybe I should start getting here a little earlier so that I can get these arguments. I guess I'll start coming in a little earlier, maybe like exactly 9. Maybe we'll try that tomorrow. Okay. Ooh, slay. But a week late. But thank you, y'all. Please go and support Inner City Press. Not only is he reporting on all this, he literally solely, I didn't see NBC, CNN, New York Times, New York Post. I did not see not a single, you know what they asked for? Freak off tapes. They wanted to see freak off tapes. Okay. So Inner City Press is out here doing work of what that lawyers should be doing, that this judge should be doing. And please go support him. He really is an American hero, if I do say so myself. Okay, so the judge said, we have an application from the press that emails now moving forward be put into the record. Oh, no, excuse me. Okay, good. Okay, good. So the judge is pretty much substantially granting that request from Inner City Press. Thank you to Inner City Press. Shout out to you. He said, because we have this application from the press, I'm directing you, meaning I guess everybody, I don't know, to put them together and put them in the docket by next Tuesday. So like, it's kind of a while from now. And after that, you need to do it every single week on a weekly basis. So you don't have to file every single email as a docket, but like once a week, you do have to file them all at once. Let me rephrase that. So the judge is saying you don't have to file them one by one, but you do have to file them all. And you got to put them on the docket for the public to see once a week. I think that there are many, many ways that this could be. Some very important stuff I think could not still get put on the record. I think some very important stuff could be missed. I think the judge should say every single thing that you send to me needs to be put in the docket. And I'm not reading it unless it's in the docket. And I think that should be federal law. I think that should go to the Supreme Court. And I think that should be a law. Now, if it needs to be redacted, that's different. Put the black bars. Even the whole thing can be black. But whatever the thing is should be on the docket, even if sealed. Do you see what I'm saying? Because right now it's not even like, oh, there's a sealed letter on the docket, I'm going to unseal it. No, they're literally just like having private email exchanges with the judge. Do you see how this could be like, we start letting that happen? And like 1 or 2 very extremely important emails might just slip through the cracks that the public has a right to know about. I'm not talking about freak off tapes, everybody. I'm talking about letters, talking about emails. I'm talking about redacting them. And then he puts up his filing, which I did get. Okay, 24 minutes ago, the jury enters. All right, Dawn Richard enters the stand, and she's still on direct examination. She's the government's witness. The government is examining her, is questioning her. Miss Richard, she probably said, Miss Richard. Miss Richard, she probably said that. When Diddy told you people could go missing, how did you interpret it? Remember, y'all, Diddy's lawyers did not let this in. They tried to object. They tried to keep this out. But the judge said, no, Teeny Garrigus opened the door to it, so it's coming in. So, Miss Richard, when Diddy told you people could go missing, how did you interpret it? She said, that people could die. I couldn't believe that this could be the beginning of a journey for us. As Diddy dirty money? She said, yeah. So what did you observe? She said he would drag her. Okay, y'all, I would say that this is intense, as the rest of the testimony has been. If you have any young ones, I make my videos not for kids. I try to be family friendly, but this testimony, I can't tell y'all where it's gonna go. All right, just look like some violence is coming up. But this is a matter of public concern and public importance. It's like the biggest trial, maybe, of the decade, or some people are saying century. So I do want to talk about it and provide, my opinions and thoughts. So one said that she would see Diddy drag Cassie, kick her, and punch her. I don't even want to say it. I mean, videos are getting flagged, channels are getting deleted, but anyway, apparently this would happen to you around the face. What would prompt these acts of violence? The prosecutor asked. Objection, Your Honor. And this is Nicole Westmoreland. So I guess she's the one that's on Dawn. So I guess each of these defense attorneys gets their own little areas or big areas. And I guess Nicole Westmoreland is the one who is responsible for objecting and knowing stuff with Dawn. Because remember, it was Xavier Donaldson, who was objecting on like the day one to the not the special agent, the cop, the security guard from the Intercontinental Hotel, and then also the S worker, Philip Daniel, he was like a dancer, he was like a bachelorette stripper or whatever, and then he ended up being an FOs or whatever. Sorry, I've got someone on my house. Okay, so what would prompt the acts of violence? Diddy's lawyer, Nicole Westmoreland, objected, but the judge said overruled, you can answer the question. And Dawn said, when Cassie would speak up for herself. So when Cassie would speak up for herself, the acts of violence would occur. Who in security witnessed these events? Dawn said D-Rock, we've heard his name already before, and Bonds. This would be, I think, Roger Bonds, who has done many, I think Art of Dialogue, DJ Vlad, one of those interviews or whatever. I did mean to watch it again, but y'all, it's like I have to do so much stuff. Hopefully I get to it. Next question. Where did Cassie get hit? Dawn said her knees, her face, all over. Did there come a time when you, Dawn, were in New York for a festival? She said yes, in Central Park. In the residence. What happened? Dawn said he punched Cassie. She came into the bathroom, crying. You could see she was upset, like she was hurt. Objection. Sustained. That means, when they say sustained, that means agreed. So no, you can't answer that question. Because why? Because you can't tell if somebody else is hurt. You can say the things that made you believe. You can say, I believe she appeared to be hurt. And then the prosecutor can ask, what led you to believe she could be hurt? And you could say, the witness could say, well, she was crying, she was holding her whatever arm, there was blood coming out of it, or whatever, or she was saying she was hurt. But you can't really just say like, oh, like she was crying like she was hurt, because someone could be crying for anything, right? The judge agrees. And then, of course, she does rephrase the question. So what injuries did you see? What did you observe? Swollen eye. Why did you remain with Cassie after this incident? Dawn said, I wanted her to feel supported. What's this? I guess they show a picture on the screen or whatever. She said this is a picture, I guess, of the Central Park event. And there's a photo of Cassie in sunglasses. And then I guess Dawn is there too. Why did you wear the sunglasses? Dawn said, I wore them in solidarity with Cassie to show like she wasn't the only one who has to wear sunglasses, and I wore them with her. The next assault. Who was there? Again, y'all, this is the government. This is the feds. This is, I think, Slavic, Assistant U.S. Attorney, Christy Slavic, I think, or Christy, I think. So this is their witness. They're building their case, okay? So these questions are meant to elicit the evidence that the government needs to build their case. And they say that this is showing the means and methods of how Diddy effectuated count 1, which is racketeering. Count 1 is racketeering. Count 2 is transportation for interstate, PROST, institution. And count 3, I believe, is like a forced labor count. I don't know. I'm doing this off the top of my head, y'all. I could be wrong. Please don't take that as fact. All right. That's just my current understanding. Okay. So there was another assault. Who was there? Dawn said D-Rock, that's security. Capricorn Clark, who is, I believe, former assistant of some sort. Harv Pierre. And who was Mr. Pierre? Harv Pierre has entered the chat. Fully officially, everybody. She said, at Bad Boy, answering to Diddy. Did they do anything? I guess about the assault, right? So now we're talking about the next assault, right? So here, they already talked about one that happened with the skillet, right? Who in security witnessed these things? D-Rock Bonds. Where did she get hit? All over. Knees, face. Did there come a time when you were in New York for a festival? Yes, Central Park. Inside the residence in New York, what happened? He punched Cassie. She came into the bathroom crying. She was upset. I observed that she had a swollen eye. I remained with her, Dawn says, for her to feel supported. She had to wear sunglasses because her eye was swollen, so I wore the sunglasses too, in solidarity. Then there was another assault. That one, many people saw it. D-Rock, Capricorn Clark, Harv Pierre. And who's Mr. Pierre? At Bad Boy, Mr. Pierre was answering to Diddy. Did any of them do anything about the assault that they saw? No, none of us did anything. And when you drove, she said, and when we drove back to LA, he slapped Cassie in the mouth and told her to STFU. Shut the bleep up. How did the rest of the passengers respond in the car ride? We all stayed silent for the rest of the ride. And like, I believe that. Like, what are you going to do? Because it's like, nobody can, like, it's your boss. What are you going to do? I mean, I'm sure y'all have been before, like spending the night at your friend's house, your cousin's house with somebody, and then they get, even yelled at, fussed at by their parent. Maybe you go on vacation with them, they get hit by their parent or something, even just a little whatever. Not that I think you should be hitting kids, but like I can't, like, that's the situation I've been in. You at the vacation with the cousins or the whatever, and they hit the kid. Nobody wants to say nothing else. I ain't trying to get hit, right? I mean, that's what I've been in this situation, or a similar. I've never been in a situation where I saw a domestic partner hit a domestic partner. I would call the police. But like a kid, a parent, they hitting the kids in the mirror. We on the car. What am I supposed to say? I don't want that turn around and hit me. So I shut up. So that's believable. That seems credible to me. She said, I did ask myself, though, if he did that to someone he supposedly loved. Ooh, this is a good one. She said, I did ask myself, though, if he could do that to somebody he supposedly loved. I mean, this is his girl. What could he do to an employee like me? She said, so I would approach Diddy with softness. And that makes sense. Did you ever try to intervene in this relationship, Miss Richard? No. And I did that out of my own safety. And I don't blame her. I mean, I cannot blame her. Okay. We have another tweet that's 12 minutes ago. Almost caught up. Did you see Diddy using substances? And she says yes, and she names them. Tree, 420. It's a horse tranquilizer, starts with a K. Molly Ringwalds, y'all know. And the Coca-Cola, Aina, if you know what I mean. Again, y'all, I'm being very careful because they are striking. They're making real strikes on people's channels. So I got to be very careful, and I am doing my very best to follow the rules, okay? This is a matter of public importance. This is a matter of public concern. And these are things that are being testified about, like right now in a federal court, in the trial of the century, okay? Did you ever see Diddy using opioids? Dawn said no. That I never saw. I saw the tree. I saw K. I saw Molly. I saw cocaine. I did not see nothing. No OPI. Okay, I'm gonna call those OPIs. Okay. Who brought him? Who brought Diddy the substances? Now this is a big question because we've seen 5011 freaking Tony Busby lawsuits. We've seen, a few others. We've seen other lawsuits brought by other different attorneys, other different clients of those attorneys that say all kind of different things about where the substances came from. But finally, on the stand, someone is testifying. Who brought him the substances? Dawn said one stop. He had it all, including Plan B, birth control. Did you ever see Diddy with pew-pew devices? Yes. Not long form ones, like the ones you put in your hand. Oh, and he would carry them, y'all, on his lower back, not just around in the case, in the gun, in the cabinet, in the case. He had them in the back of his Ooh. Okay, y'all. So he would hold them in the back of his pants, lower back. Who who else had gun? Who else had those devices? The security, D-Rock and Bonds. But I think security is allowed to carry pew devices if they have the licenses and stuff. So that doesn't necessarily mean that's a crime or something. But I also don't know if Diddy could also maybe had a license. I mean, we do have like, the Second Amendment right to carry if you do, get the licenses and stuff. So I don't think having these devices in and of themselves is necessarily illegal. Maybe it is in New York City. Somebody could tell me. I don't know how far they've been able to push it or whatever. Security had them too. Next question. What did you do after Bad Boy? She said sing. And whenever I would get momentum, I would get a FaceTime call from Diddy. How would you speak to him? She said very soft, and I would always call him bro. So she was kind of trying to make herself non-threatening and also make herself non-sexual. I mean, from my linguistic analysis, that's what I would say. Like she was trying to appear like she wasn't going to agitate or intentionally, some of y'all called it fawning, where you kind of like be nice to somebody that you know could whoop you, or hurt you or do something to you, or you think you perceive they might be able to do that. And she also would call him bro, which to me is kind of desexualizing herself to kind of be like, we're pals, we're buddies. Like I'm not trying to have you seen me as like, oh yeah, Zaddy, yeah, Puff Daddy, yeah, Puff. No, I called him bro. That's my bro. Next question. Why didn't you disclose the abuse you saw? She said, I was told not to by Diddy and Harv Pierre. So when did you finally speak out? Dawn said, finally did in 2024. I saw Cassie take the stand and tell the truth. Objection, Your Honor. What do you freaking mean? She testified for 2 days. What do you mean tell the truth? That's so prejudicial. Please. I mean, I'm just paraphrasing, but there was an objection. The judge said, okay, yeah, true. You can't say, I saw Cassie take the stand and tell the truth. You can't say that. You got to say something more specific than that. Here's the next question then, rephrased. Did you see Cassie file a civil lawsuit and then you filed your own? Dawn said, yes. I saw Cassie file one and then I filed one. Yep. All right. Nothing further, Your Honor. Next set of questions is going to come from Diddy's lawyers. This is the cross-examination of Dawn Richard. It is 10:14 a.m. Eastern, local time to the trial. You're aware there's a motion to dismiss your lawsuit, aren't you, Dawn? I think it was just filed yesterday. I just saw a headline that was filed yesterday. I don't know when it was. Dawn said, I have lawyers. Next question. You sat with this Diddy's lawyer. You sat with the prosecutors and your allegations have changed. Dawn says, no, I've been consistent. I gotta start doing my thing where I like, because then when I like them, not only does it boost my guy, but it tells me where I left off. Okay. 5 minutes ago, we got another tweet. You testified. This is Diddy's lawyer asking Dawn Richard. You testified. Diddy attempted to hit Cassie about the eggs, and Cassie dropped down in a fetal position. You testified that, right? Yeah. Did you ever say you heard a pan hit the wall? You didn't actually see it with your own eyes. She said, I don't recall. She doesn't recall if she ever said like, oh yeah, I saw the pan hit the wall versus I heard the pan hit the wall versus I saw Cassie getting hit with the pan. It looked like it maybe grazed over the top of her head. It just appears like there's maybe like some extremely minute details that they may be able to impeach Dawn's credibility or attempt to impeach her credibility. However, she said she don't remember ever saying that. She's like, I don't know. I just saw him come in. I saw him with the pan. He picked the pan up. I don't know. I mean, I don't like down to the nitty gritty of that. Like, I saw him with a pan. Definitely heard the pan. Definitely had seen Cassie on the floor. Definitely saw him drag her up the stairs. So whether or not I actually saw the pan make contact with her head, I don't really remember. But there was an incident, and I know that is what happened. We'll see. It'll come down to the jury. Okay, that's the most recent from Inner City Press. Let's meander over. Is this the live one? No, this isn't the live one. So I need to go into the New York Times. This is Washington Post. We'll start there. Okay, we'll start an hour ago. There's a new sketch. The prosecution is furthering its arguments regarding relevant testimony. Diddy had been very engaged over the past 2 weeks. I have been reading this and hearing this as well. Diddy's very paying attention. He's not nodding off. He's passing notes up. He's passing sticky notes to his lawyers. He's all but arguing in his own defense. Frequently conferring with the attorneys during the trial proceedings, flanked by U.S. Marshals, Diddy has been coming to court with an accordion briefcase, which he unpacks when he's got his own little briefcase. He unpacks it when he first gets to the defense bench. The contents include a bright blue spiral notebook on which he has been taking notes. That's him hugging his lawyer. Oh, that's not a new picture. I think we already saw that. The jury is back in the box. So this is 45 minutes ago. We're getting from Anne Brannigan at Washington Post. The jury is back in the box, and Dawn is back on the stand. Dawn, who wore a menswear-inspired suit on Friday, is in a similar outfit Monday. A striped brown blazer over a gray vest and a white button-up. So she has a brown blazer with stripes, a gray vest, cute, and a white button-up, and she's wearing striped trousers. Her long black hair is worn down in waves. 35 minutes ago, Washington Post said that the assistant U.S. attorney, this was Mitzi Steiner. Okay, this was Mitzi Steiner. That's who it was. Asking Dawn about instances of violence that she observed involving Diddy and Cassie between 2009 and 2011. That's the time period when Dawn was performing with Diddy as part of the trio Diddy Dirty Money. And I think this is kind of like the Nicole Westmoreland was arguing, like, we have to distinguish between the Diddy Dirty Money days and the MTV Making the Band Danity Kane days. Now, why do they have to distinguish that? I have no idea. I have a suspicion that it is something to do with the civil lawsuits. But it kind of looks like Diddy has Diddy's lawyers have argued to keep the Danity Kane era of stuff out, and maybe they were successful in that. But when she's in Diddy Dirty Money, it looks like it's fair game. Dawn testified that she frequently saw Diddy be violent with Cassie. He would punch her, choke her. Wow, drag her. This is not something I'm excited to be reading. Okay, this is an issue of public concern being reported by Washington Post, International News. Choke her, slap her in the mouth. I saw him kick her and punch her in the stomach. 15 minutes ago, cross-examination started. Shayna Jacobs from Washington Post reporting. Okay, Anne Brannigan, is also Washington Post 7 minutes ago. Richard testified she saw Diddy physically assaulting Cassie multiple times. So far Monday morning, again, 7 minutes ago, Dawn has described 2 more instances of Diddy allegedly assaulting his ex-girlfriend, Cassie. One took place at Central Park Concert at a residence where Richard said she saw Diddy punch Cassie in the face with a closed fist. So there's a new detail, closed fist punched her, according to Dawn's testimony. Another incident took place in 2010 in West Hollywood at a restaurant where Diddy, Cassie, and other Bad Boy employees and celebrities were present. Richard described seeing Diddy punch Cassie in the mouth. Cassie, quote, immediately bent over. Richard said she saw Diddy motion Cassie to leave. These are new details I didn't see from Inner City Press, but everybody has their own different details. That's why we go through these different sources. So here we have Dawn describing the incident. We have a little bit more detail from Anne Brannigan at Washington Post. Excuse me. And she says she testified that she saw Diddy punch Cassie in the stomach. Cassie immediately bent over, and then she saw Diddy motion to Cassie to leave. Later, Dawn testified that while riding in a BMW Sprinter van with Cassie and Diddy, he saw Diddy grab Cassie around the neck, smack her in the mouth, and tell her to shut the F up. 6 minutes ago, Anne Brannigan, Washington Post. During government questioning, Dawn said the reasons Diddy allegedly assaulted Cassie, quote, varied. So they're varying reasons. So when reading Inner City Press, he said that it was when she would speak up for herself, but she more generally, she said the reasons would vary as well. It could be Cassie speaking up for herself. It could be random. It could be her having an opinion. Dawn named other Diddy employees who allegedly witnessed this violence, including former Bad Boy executive Harve Pierre, assistants Capricorn Clark, and Mia. So Mia was another assistant. So I guess, according to Washington Post, determination and interpretation, according to Anne Brannigan at Washington Post's interpretation of this situation, Capricorn Clark and Mia, the Jane Doe, it's like a Mia, Jane Doe, both are assistants. They're different. They're not the same person. So a lot of people have been thinking that Capricorn Clark was Mia, and she still might be, but it appears that at least Anne Brannigan from Washington Post has come to the conclusion they're different people, but both were assistants, Capricorn Clark and Mia. And they allegedly observed or witnessed this violence, according to the testimony Dawn Richard is giving on the stand right now. Another alleged victim of Diddy, who is expected to testify, right, Mia. Also security staffers, D-Rock and Roger Bonds. Okay, they have one new update. During government questioning, Dawn said the reasons Diddy... Oh, wait, we already saw that one. So there's not a new update. Okay, let's go to CBS. Or let's go back to Inner City Press. See if we have anything new. Yeah, okay, we do have some new stuff from Inner City Press, so let's stay on top of that. They are still in the midst of cross-examination. Diddy's lawyers are questioning... Diddy's lawyers are questioning Dawn Richard. Next question, about 8 minutes ago. Would you agree, Ms. Richard? It's been hard for you to keep your story straight with respect to this whole egg incident. Dawn said, I told it as close as I could. The day after the incident with the eggs, you say Diddy told you people go missing? Dawn said, yeah, that is what he told me. Yes, that's fine. Let's go to your interview March 18th, just 2 months ago. You did not say anything about what Diddy told you people go missing. Dawn said, I don't recall that. I don't know if I did or didn't say that during that time. No worries. I'm going to show you a document, the lawyer says, for the parties only. Okay, so we don't get to see the document. More tea leaves. Page 5. So I'm going to go read a super secret document. In the meantime, we'll go to the CBS reporting that has happened this morning. Okay, I guess I started there. Okay. Update 21 minutes ago, Dawn Richard's testimony. Singer Dawn Richard of group Danity Kane testified Friday. She told the court she was at Diddy's house in Los Angeles to record some music when she witnessed him attack Ventura. Ventura was cooking breakfast or some eggs when Diddy allegedly came downstairs saying, where the F were his eggs? She testified she saw Combs grab the skillet and move it to hit Cassie with it. Cassie then fell to the ground, curled in the fetal position, and then Diddy started to punch and kick her. She said, quote, "I'd never seen anything like that before." The following day, Diddy invited Richard and others back to his recording studio and explained to her that what happened was what people in relationships do. Okay, 52 minutes ago, prior to the testimony resuming, the judge, wait, yeah, okay, this is the right order. The judge and attorneys went over some testimony and discussed some other issues. The judge also mentioned they were waiting on a juror this morning. Dawn returned to the stand 33 minutes ago, and attorneys asked her to remind the jury what Diddy had said to her after she allegedly witnessed him attacking Cassie at his home in 2009. She told the jury that Diddy said what happened was because their relationship was passionate. So these are new details. Then he allegedly went on to threaten the band members. That would be Dawn and Kalina Harper. Then Dawn told the jury that Diddy said what happened. She then testified that Diddy said Cassie was okay, and that if we said anything, we would go missing. Quote, we have a quote from Dawn. "I was shocked, but also scared." She testified. 16 minutes ago, CBS News, Alice Gaynor reporting he would punch her, choke her, slap her mouth. I saw him kick her, punch her in the stomach. Ventura had a quiet demeanor. Okay, so Dawn testified today this morning on the stand that Cassie had a quiet demeanor. There were moments when she was trying to stick up for herself. She testified the staff was present during some of the incidents. Another alleged assault and a sunglasses photo updated 1 minute ago. After a music festival in Central Park, Dawn said she was at Diddy's house in New York City when Diddy punched Cassie in the face. It was a closed fist. She came into the bathroom crying. Her eye was swelling. Diddy walked off as Cassie put on makeup to try and hide the black eye, and then she put on sunglasses. Prosecutors then showed her a photograph of Dawn and Kalina Harper, the singer who was in the group Diddy Dirty Money, with them. In the photo, all three women were wearing, okay, so in that photo, it wasn't only Dawn and Cassie, it was also Kalina Harper, and they all three had on sunglasses. So his own bandmates were kind of turning against him even as early as 2009. They were saying, no, this is messed up. You don't freaking do that. This was taken the same day as the alleged assault that Dawn just described. So that picture was taken on that day. They were all wearing sunglasses. The prosecutor then asked, why? Why are you all wearing sunglasses? She said to have solidarity. She told the jury it was to be a friend and support system to someone who needed it. All right, let's go back to Inner City Press and see if he has any new tweets. Yes, 2 minutes ago, we do have a new one. Isn't it true, Miss Richard? The first time you said this was a week. Isn't it true, Miss Richard? The first time you said this was a week ago. Would you like me to show you your previous interviews? Dawn goes, I know what I said. You said Diddy made a death threat, one that you didn't recall 7 times. So just because she didn't say it doesn't mean she didn't recall it, right? I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Let's go to NBC. You know, they don't really like to work over here. So I doubt there's many. Okay. The court is officially in session, kicking off day 6 of Diddy's trial. After about 20 minutes of discussion between the judges, this is Adam Rice and Doha Madini from NBC News. After about 20 minutes of discussion between the judge and the attorneys for both sides, Dawn was brought back to the witness stand to continue her testimony. She wore slacks with a white shirt and an overcoat. She testified that Diddy told her she could die or go missing. Richard recalled how frightened she was when Diddy allegedly threatened her and the defendant's then girlfriend, Cassie. The incident happened in 2009, a day after Diddy attacked Cassie with a skillet. He said, you could go missing, that we could die. I was shocked, but also I was scared. I couldn't believe this would be the beginning of a journey for us with the group Diddy Dirty Money. The next article or the next update was 48 minutes ago from NBC News. The beatings from Diddy often triggered by Cassie speaking up for herself, Richard claimed. Dawn said she regularly witnessed Diddy lashing out at Cassie over the years, often after his then girlfriend would voice her opinion. Frequently, he would punch her. Okay, we already read all that. It could be because Cassie was speaking up for herself. It could be random. It could be if she had an opinion for herself, she would be quiet. And when she had these moments of even trying to stick up for herself, he would hurt her for it. 45 minutes ago, women in Dirty Money wore sunglasses in solidarity with Cassie as a way to support her. He punched Cassie at his home 2009. Former girlfriend had a swollen eye that Cassie used makeup and sunglasses to hide. We wore sunglasses to have solidarity with her and to have a support system because she needed it. 33 minutes ago, she was in 2 different music groups, likely best known for a time performing in the girl group Danity Kane, but she was also in another music group in the mid-2000s. She got her start with Diddy through his reality show, making the band 3. That's how Danity Kane was formed. The group had 2 relatively popular albums between 2006 and 2008, but disbanded in January 2009. Diddy then briefly formed a trio with himself, Richard, and Kalina Harper the same year. It was announced Danity Kane broke up. That lasted until about 2012, and Richard released a solo album called Golden Heart the next year. Cassie, we get a new detail 30 minutes ago. Nice. Okay, good. This is new details. Thank you, Adam Rice and David K. Lee, as from NBC News. Diddy would angrily tell his then girlfriend, Cassie, to, quote, wait for her turn in recording her next album. When Richard would support Cassie's musical aspirations, Diddy didn't like me talking to her about that. The witness said, because here's the quote. Combs, quote, didn't like me talking with her about that. He said it would be on his terms, and it was always wait. She had to wait for her turn. Sometimes it was just wait your turn. Other times it was violent and volatile. The witness says numerous of Diddy's and Bad Boy Records, numerous employees of Diddy and Bad Boy Records witnessed the violence against Cassie, and nobody stepped in. Dawn's testimony could help to bolster the prosecution's narrative that Diddy committed racketeering conspiracy by using his multifaceted business empire to coerce and control women for relations. 27 minutes ago, Diddy supplied with rugs by a dealer named One Stop and was surrounded by pew-pews, Richard says. Prosecutors returned to questioning about Combs' substance use, or rather his offers of substances to other people, while Richard was on the stand. She testified that Diddy would have a plug named One Stop. He would deliver a range of substances to the recording studio. So he delivered to the recording studio, including cocaine, MJ, 420. She also told the court that Diddy or his assistants would carry a Louis Vuitton pouch filled with substances. Cassie also referred to the Louis Vuitton pouch as Diddy's med bag during her testimony last week. I think also maybe that special agent said something about that. Prosecutors then asked if Dawn ever saw a weapon. Oh, excuse me. Whew. If Dawn ever saw a weapon while with Diddy. She said, yeah, I did a few times. And the bodyguards also had them and held them in their lower back. So I don't know if it was Diddy in the lower back, the bodyguards with the lower back holding it, or both. Inner City Press reported in a way that maybe was ambiguous. I took it to mean Diddy was the one who Dawn testified had it in his lower back. But this reporting seems to indicate that it was actually the bodyguards who carry him in their lower back, the pew-pews. So Richard then said she was seeking justice, not a civil court payout. She ended her direct examination by saying she's seeking justice. This was the prosecutors asking her about her own lawsuit because they know that Diddy's lawyer's about to get up here and ask about the lawsuit. So the NBC News reporters, Adam Rice and David K. Lee, are reporting that they think they're speculating the reason that the prosecution brought this up. Why did you sue him? She said, because I'm seeking justice. When I saw Cassie do it, I said, you know what? I need justice too. So NBC is reporting this was brought up now instead of just waiting to let the defense bring it up in hopes of inoculating Richard against defense claims that she was biased against Diddy due to her federal lawsuit against him. The attorney asked Dawn what she hopes to gain from testifying. She said, justice. I'm expecting justice. Then Mitzi asked if you're expecting any compensation for your testimony. She said, I'm expecting justice. Okay. 24 minutes ago, then that is when the defense began the cross-examination. Diddy's attorney, Nicole Westmoreland, began the cross-examination of Dawn, picked up where the prosecutors left off, which was Dawn's lawsuit against Diddy. So this is interesting. This has happened twice. They ended off the questioning with the lawsuit with Cassie, and then they picked right up on the lawsuit. They're doing it, I think, again here. Okay. Diddy's lawyer asked if Dawn was aware that there was a pending motion to dismiss her lawsuit, a standard practice, and she was like, I don't know, I have lawyers. The defense then began a line of questioning in an attempt to undermine Dawn's testimony last week that she witnessed Diddy hit Cassie with a skillet. She asked if Dawn's allegations have changed over time. In a letter sent to Diddy. Okay. So apparently there was a letter that Dawn sent to Diddy. Maybe a demand letter. Remember, Dawn Richard's lawyer is Lisa Bloom, who is Gloria Allred's daughter. In a letter sent to Diddy, Richard alleged, and this is all according to the question this morning from Diddy's lawyer, so I mean, we haven't seen this letter, but apparently that's where the lawyer is getting the information that Dawn said that she, quote, heard a pan hit the wall, but didn't see it. Dawn responded to the series of questions that she wasn't aware or didn't recall what she was referencing. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I need more details. Okay, 9 minutes ago, we have Adam Rice, David K. Lee. Defense questions Richard's version of egg skillet incident, reminds her she's under oath. The lawyer tried to poke holes in Dawn's claim that Diddy attacked Cassie with a skillet of eggs. Diddy's lawyer suggested in her questions that Dawn has told different versions of the 2009 incident, including one that simply had Diddy throwing the eggs at Cassie. She told jurors on Friday that she saw Diddy hit Cassie with the skillet. Diddy's lawyer reminded her she's under oath and then asked again if she's changed her story over time. Richard said, I did the best that I could recall from the incident. It was like, what, more than 10 years ago? It was like 15 years ago? 16 years ago? Okay. We have one more update from NBC, then we'll head back over to Inner City Press. 5 minutes ago, 10:37 a.m., this is Adam Rice and Tiffany Doherty. Defense tries to undermine Richard's testimony that Diddy threatened her by saying people go missing. Diddy's defense is attempting to catch inconsistencies in Richard's direct testimony, this time with the allegation that Diddy said to her that people go missing and that they could be no longer alive after witnessing a fight between Diddy and Cassie. Diddy's lawyer pulled up interviews Richard had with prosecutors in October and March, where she recounted the same incident with the skillet. Westmoreland pointed out that Dawn said in the interview that Diddy said this was a love thing, but there was no mention of people go missing. Dawn said that's not true. I don't recall not saying that. I'm pretty sure I said that. I think you're mistaken, Nicole. You didn't tell prosecutors that Diddy said people go missing. The lawyer continued. I guess I didn't remember it. I don't know. She says, everything I'm telling you right now, I remember it happening. Okay, so maybe something jogged my memory. I really don't know. But I'm telling you right now that happened and I remember it. And if you're telling me that I didn't tell prosecutors that Diddy said people go missing, I think I did tell him that. If you're telling me I didn't say that, maybe I just didn't remember to say it at that time or something like that. Who knows? But I'm telling you, I do remember him saying that and he said it. Okay, let's go back to Inner City Press. Okay. Then his lawyer comes back and asks another question. Okay, fine, whatever. Let's move to the incident before the Central Park concert. You are aware there was a camera crew, right? Dawn said, not in the bathroom. You were filmed in the park? Are you aware if the video of y'all being filmed in the park was turned over? She said, no. I don't know what was turned over. I don't even know what's going on in my own civil case. The lawyer then asks, okay, fine, about the pew pew. You didn't tell the prosecutors about I saw pew pew at Diddy's house. She said they didn't ask. You never saw Diddy pull a pew pew out and wave it around, load bolt and cock it? Dawn said, no, he just had it. 49 seconds ago, we get another tweet. Did you tell the government you never saw Diddy do cocaine? She said, I don't remember. I don't remember if I told the government I never saw Diddy do cocaine. I don't remember. She said, your testimony has changed on quite a few things, Miss Richard. Dawn says, as time progresses, I guess I just remember more. I wasn't really thinking about it. And now it's like, yeah, I'm thinking about it because I'm suing him and we have this all going on. It's all been brought back to the forefront. Maybe Dawn never thought that she could get any justice. Maybe she just pushed these memories down. Maybe Dawn is lying. I doubt it. I don't think so. I find her to be credible. And I don't find anything she's saying to be that outlandish and unbelievable. Like, I find the things she's saying to be things that I could believe. So Dawn's like, yeah, I mean, like, as time goes on, I guess I just remember more. I mean, I don't really know what to tell you. Now we're in the Mirror, US. I'm going to start about an hour and 15 ago, where Dawn came onto the stand, and let's see if we can get any new details from here. Today's proceedings started with 20 minutes of discussion between the judge and the attorneys from both sides before Dawn was brought back to the witness stand. Diddy said you could go missing. We could DIE. He said you could go missing. I was so shocked, also scared. I couldn't believe this could be the beginning of the journey, she said. And Diddy has denied all allegations vehemently. 9:43 a.m. over their local time, Dawn said Diddy was frequently violent toward Cassie. He would punch her, choke her. We read all that. Speaking about the case, she said if Cassie would speak up for herself, that would... cause. Speaking about the cause of the violence... Speaking about the cause of the violence, Richard testified it could be Cassie speaking up for herself. It could be random. Sometimes we didn't even know where it came from. That's a new quote. She said she saw Cassie with injuries. Dawn has claimed on the stand she saw Cassie with injuries on her face, arms, legs after Diddy was allegedly violent toward Cassie. Dawn told the court Cassie attempted to cover up the injuries with clothing, makeup, and sunglasses. Because it's a new detail. Not only the sunglasses, but she would cover up with clothing as well. She would cover herself. The former Diddy Dirty Money member claimed that some of Diddy's security staff also witnessed the rapper being violent toward Ventura. The jury was shown pictures of Cassie's friends. The jury has been shown a picture of two Diddy Dirty Money members wearing sunglasses in public after an alleged assault against Cassie. Dawn says that Cassie and Diddy got into an argument and then he punched her in the face. She went to the bathroom crying while Diddy walked off angry. Dawn said Cassie's eye was swollen, so she put makeup on and wore sunglasses to hide the injury. Also, she testified Diddy punched Cassie at a restaurant. They were arguing quietly at the dinner. Then Cassie bent over after the alleged punch, but before Diddy asked her to leave. So Cassie gets punched, bends over, and then Diddy tells her to leave. He would punch, choke, slap, kick. She would have injuries in various places on her body. This is coming from the Mirror, US, Scarlett O'Toole. Diddy told Cassie her career depended on him. This is a new detail. Not a new detail in general, but a new one coming from Dawn. She's seemingly confirming and validating what Cassie said, which is Cassie's career depended on Diddy. Dawn claims to have heard Diddy discussing the future of Cassie's career. So she claims that she heard Diddy. So this is hearsay. They probably objected. She alleged that Diddy would tell Cassie her career would go... Richard alleged that Diddy would tell Cassie. See, this is hearsay. This is, I don't know how this was allowed in. But Diddy would tell Cassie, and this is what Dawn is saying she overheard, that her career, Cassie's career, would progress on his timeline. Quote, is a quote. It would be on his time. It was coming, but when he said. Okay, 10:07, the cross-examination began. Westmoreland was asking the questions. Okay, more new information. I'm glad we are reading from this separate source. I'm going to look for a couple more right now. We're a little scarce on sources. Right now, we're reading the Mirror US. We also read the Washington Post. We read CBS, and we also read NBC. But we have been following the New York Times. Oh, also, the best source of all, Inner City Press. I'm going to look for a few more. But this is, I'm glad we came back here because, look, we have another new piece of information. Diddy often, quote, often took substances, Dawn alleges. She says she often saw P. Diddy taking substances, including 420, K, and cocaine. She testified she did not ever see him taking OPIs. She said that Cassie inspired her to tell the truth. In the cross-examination, she testified she didn't immediately speak out on the abuse, on the alleged abuse that she saw, because she claimed Diddy and the former president of Bad Boy Records, Harve Pierre, told her not to say anything about what she saw. So again, y'all, this is, the government was allowed to ask these questions. The judge allowed it because it speaks to the racketeering cause. A lot of people have been saying, I think most of them are bots. I think somebody has put a lot of money into a very vicious PR campaign, an AstroTurf of sorts. I'll get into that more later. Got a video on that coming out. But this is, I believe, another little piece of evidence that is speaking to count one of the racketeer, which is the racketeering charge. That is to say, Diddy's henchmen, everybody's been asking, where's the co-conspirators? And by everybody, I mean me too. I'm wondering, where are they? I want to know. I haven't seen any. Well, little by little, we're getting some names. We got Roger Bonds. We got Roger Bonds, and we also got D-Rock, who are security members, team members. And I think they may be called to testify. We'll see. Now, am I saying they are co-conspirators and they're going to be sued? No, I'm not. I mean, many reasons for that. Maybe they didn't actually, I don't know, commit any, I don't know. But I can kind of see how this is now starting to speak to a RICO, a racketeering enterprise. Because remember, what is the government's argument? Is that Diddy did this racketeering, not for international rug trafficking, not for any other reason but to satisfy his own sick and depraved sexual desires. Now, I'm saying not for any other reason. They may have actually listed other reasons. But if they can prove on just this one, the whole thing is just to satisfy his depraved sexual desires. Okay, everything revolves around that, all of it. So Harve Pierre, the president of the record company that he owned, which made him so famous, they had this record company, label. Harve Pierre saw it. Not only did he not do anything, he told Dawn not to say anything. When she was asked what changed her mind about speaking out, she said that I saw Cassie finally, this is the quote, we get an extended quote here, quote, I saw Cassie finally take the stand and tell the truth. The judge did sustain the defense objection to the response. Oh, the ex-Misa Hilton speaks out? What'd she say? Wait a second. Return to court. Okay, hold on. We got an update, news update, not from inside the court, but I think it's important. Reshad returned to court comes shortly after Diddy's ex-girlfriend Misa spoke out about attending the trial. Speaking about a recent foot injury she suffered. Oh, she was the one with the wheelchair or the walker or whatever. She said, when I suffered my injury, I had chosen to heal privately. But when my son said, Mommy, I need you, I was right there for him with a walker and all. I'm a mother first, for real, and I'm my son's strength. And that is just what it is, plain and simple. Whoever don't understand that is just simply not in alignment with me or anything that I'm about in life. I'm cool with that. I have a purpose-filled life that I live daily. I make impact. I'm not concerned with insecure people attempting to project their insecurities onto me, ever. So I don't know what that's about, y'all. I don't know. Let's go back to Inner City Press. Okay. Okay, here's the next question. You saw one stop sell substances? You saw him take money? Dawn said, yes. Okay, one second. Didn't you tell the government you never saw anyone pay him? So you lied, right? No. Okay, then they asked for a sidebar. So did you see him pay somebody? Did you see him take money? Did you not? I'm gonna look for some more sources. Like CNN is live. Okay, good. Although they have not said anything in 28 minutes. Okay. This would be our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th source for the day. Dana K member says this 56 minutes ago, CNN.com. Okay, this is important too. I'm glad we went here because we get another new detail, even though it is from 56 minutes ago. Dawn says she stopped commenting on Diddy and Cassie's relationship for her own safety. So she used the word comment on their relationship. Oh, wow, there's a lot of quotes here. So Dawn said after she witnessed Diddy's behavior, she told Cassie she should leave. This is new details. She told Cassie she should leave. Quote, Cass looked torn. Like she would listen, but I could see the fear. Okay, and this was where the defense said objection. Reshad testified that when Diddy found out about the conversations, he told her to stay out of their relationship. He said she was here to work. This is new details. He would also tell her to stop, or else we would pay for it. Like, y'all gonna pay for it if you don't stop. She said she made the decision to stay out of the relationship between Diddy and Cassie for her own safety. Quote, this is a quote. I made a decision that it would be best for the safety of myself not to interfere because I don't think she was really ready to do anything. Cassie wasn't really ready to do anything, so I just stopped saying stuff. And I do think that Dawn does say something like this in her lawsuit. She says she often saw Diddy taking substances and carrying a pew-pew. She didn't see him taking OPIs. The things that were delivered to the studio were by a certain man named One Stop, and Diddy kept them in a Louis Vuitton toiletry bag that went everywhere, from domestic to overseas. I need to take a revisit to the white Versace bag that Britney and Dallas Austin were carrying around all of 2007. Because it's like they have certain bags, and like it felt like such a conspiracy theory at the time, but me and my editor, Beach Investigates, like we just kind of like had this like, I don't know, crazy conspiracy theory that maybe the white Louis Vuitton bag that Britney was carrying around all of 2007 was like a specific bag for something, and she also had inhalers around that time. Hint, hint. I don't know. But they are talking about a specific Louis Vuitton toiletry bag that went everywhere, domestic, overseas, everywhere. Now, Jonathan Oddie did say in his interrogation, Jonathan Oddie's name's been mentioned here. Now, Cassie has confirmed he was, in fact, doing freak-offs with them. So that no longer is a conspiracy theory. He did, in fact, do freak-offs with them, according to Cassie. Maybe it's a conspiracy theory Cassie's in on. But she said, yes, Jonathan Oddie, yes, and I didn't trust him. He said in his interrogation back in 2018, for which he still hasn't even been convicted, or even gone to trial, that this is all international DRUG trafficking, and that the private planes are how celebrities make a lot of their money, because the stuff doesn't go through customs through the private planes. I don't know if that's true, if that's not true. That is what he said. So this bag went everywhere, domestic, overseas. And remember, they did get Brendan, the so-called drug mule, to go on the plane, like before he was getting on a plane to go somewhere or something. Dawn also saw Diddy frequently carrying a pew-pew. He would typically place it on his lower back. Yeah, so both. The guards also carried them at the same place. Now, I think this is teeing up to show where they normally carried them, because I think it's going to become material, this detail. You know, you got to think of all the millions and trillions of questions that the defense and the prosecution could be asking. The prosecution especially, I mean, they could have gone down a lot of roads, right? So you got to think about all the ways they could have gone. And the fact that they're asking about where specifically Diddy carried the pew pew, I think is going to end up being important for a reason. 56 minutes ago, cross-examination started. This is still CNN.com. Richard said 5 minutes ago, Cassie telling the truth encouraged her to speak out about Diddy. So here's the picture. We get an artist's rendition of the picture. That's cute. Richard testified she did not immediately talk about the alleged abuse that she witnessed because Diddy and Harpier told her not to. When asked what made her speak out, she pointed to Cassie. She said, I saw Cassie was finally ready. She took the stand, told the truth. The judge said, objection. They said objection. The judge sustained it. She said she left Bad Boy in 2011 and would periodically hear from Diddy anytime she got momentum in her career. If she didn't pick up the FaceTime call, okay, here's a new detail. If she didn't pick up Diddy's FaceTime call, here's a new detail. If Dawn is saying if she didn't pick up, not just Cassie, if she didn't pick up Diddy's call on FaceTime, then people in Combs' circle would call her repeatedly until she did pick up, she said. Going back to Inner City Press. Okay, they came back from the sidebar. It was you who reached out to Diddy to work with him again, wasn't it? Dawn said, yep. But he had threatened you, right? But you still asked him to work with you again? Yes. Well, Nicole Westmoreland goes, okay. Let's see if we have anything new from Washington Post. Okay. So, Anne Brannigan, 23 minutes ago, the egg incident, the defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland interrogated Dawn about her testimony on Friday. That afternoon, Dawn described the incident in 2009 when she said she saw Diddy attempt to throw a frying pan at Cassie and then assaulted her and dragged her up the stairs. Westmoreland referenced two other interviews that Dawn gave to her lawyers and then to the government concerning the skillet incident. The attorney questioned Dawn on why her description of the event differed. Richard's lawyers described Diddy actually hitting Cassie with the frying pan, but notes from Richard's meeting with the government have her saying he threw eggs. Would you agree with me? It's been hard to keep your story the same in reference to this egg incident. She said, no, I wouldn't agree with that. So that's a new quote we got from Dawn. That's where she added she was just sharing her recollections to the best of her ability. Then 2 minutes ago, we get another update from Anne Brannigan. Defense calls out inconsistencies in Dawn's testimony. Diddy's attorney, Nicole Westmoreland, has been grilling former Bad Boy artist Dawn Richard about various recollections, asking why her testimony doesn't completely match the statements she previously gave and the statements in her own lawsuit, which she filed in September. The lawyer points out that Richard didn't tell the government about the handguns. She said that she saw in Diddy's possession. But then Dawn was like, oh, nobody asked me. So I don't know. Others were talking about other stuff. I don't know. Another alleged incident of Diddy being violent toward Cassie was what included, Another alleged incident of Diddy being violent toward Cassie that was included in Dawn's lawsuit, but also not mentioned in her testimony, was a quote, misquote from her lawyer. Westmoreland is also asking Dawn to revisit her previous testimony and interviews about Diddy's substance use. Dawn said on the stand that she has seen Combs doing cocaine, but she previously told investigators that she had never seen that. Let's go back to Inner City Press. Okay, we got another new tweet from 3 minutes ago. Come on. All right. Next question. The songs you released on your own have not reached the level of what you reached with Danity Kane and Diddy Dirty Money, right? Dawn said, true. And so you reach out to Mr. Combs to try to make more money, right? Yeah. Yep. Okay, looks like NBC has a new update. Okay, one new update from NBC 8 minutes ago. This is Adam Rice and David K. Lee. It says Richard didn't immediately tell the government about Pew Pew. Admits she changed her story about the substances. So that's a new detail. That's a new detail that she admits she changed her story. Now this is where Chloe Malos works, so we got to take it with a grain of salt, okay? Defense challenged her testimony. So Diddy's lawyers challenged Dawn's testimony about Pew Pew and narcotics that she allegedly saw in Diddy's possession, inferring that her memories only recently came to light. Under direct examination earlier today, Dawn had detailed the times she saw Diddy with Pew Pew and substances. Nicole Westmoreland asked Dawn why she didn't mention the Pew Pew in 8 meetings with prosecutors, and she said it wasn't asked. I didn't know they cared about a Pew Pew. Also under direct examination on Monday, she said she saw Diddy taking K, horse tranquilizer, cocaine, and Molly with the Ringwalds. Westmoreland, Diddy's lawyer, asked Richard if she's changed her story after previously telling the government investigators that she had never seen Diddy doing cocaine. She says, yes, I have changed my story. As time progresses, I just get better at knowing what went on because it was quite a long time ago. So her memory gets better as she thinks about it more. Okay. Now, that's good. That's good. Okay. So the last tweet we read 6 minutes ago, Inner City Press, the songs you released on your own have not reached the level of what you released with Danity Kane and Diddy Dirty Money, right? Dawn is like, right. And so you reached out to Diddy to try to make more money, right? Dawn's like, right. And then the prosecutor's like, can we have a short sidebar? What in the even hell is going on here? Now, at the sidebar is going on, and it's not short. Still wondering why the side's legal arguments to the judge, which are judicial documents, will only go into the docket on a week's delay. We'll be doing weekly ebooks. It's something's being hidden, it feels like to me. I think they're trying to hide something. They're trying to protect somebody or something. But I'm like, y'all should have sorted that out before court. Okay, so why is it like we gotta be dragged into y'all's crap? And whenever we want to see what's going on in the trial, it's a big secret. We're only gonna see about it delayed. Like some of these things we're only gonna see like a week delayed. I'm looking up New York Times because I liked their coverage. It's like a lot of coverage and they get a lot of details. We do have the Independent, even though that one is like hit or miss. It doesn't really refresh. I don't guess they're live today. We do have New York Post at least. Okay, so let's check out New York Post. Maybe this is the one that doesn't work good. Oh, y'all, New York Post come through with the details. Oh my gosh, y'all, we're gonna have to go farther back, but I have to read this immediately. This is like breaking news to me. 17 minutes ago. New York Post, and that is why I like to read all the sources that I can, because inevitably some of these sources are biased to certain people, certain relationships. You just know how, you know what SUS, the music and the entertainment and Hollywood and the movie industry is. Look at this. Celebs, including Usher and Neo, and music executive Jimmy Iovine were at the restaurant where Diddy punched Cassie in the stomach. Celebrities including Usher and Neo and music executive alert the freaking media. This should have been the first headline. Jimmy Iovine. Oh my God, I've got to find. If somebody has my phone number and has that Diddy Britney Spears neighborhood map, and you can find that and send it to me on my text messages, that'll be very greatly appreciated, because it keeps freaking coming up. Playboy Mansion, Jimmy Iovine's house, or one of them, Diddy's house, all in the same neighborhood. And you know what else is in that neighborhood? Again, Playboy Mansion, that's where Diddy allegedly owed to the D in 2012 at a party after a freak off. Okay, Playboy Mansion came in this trial. Diddy's house, Diddy's mansion, 200 South Mapleton or whatever, that's in that neighborhood. Jimmy Iovine has a house in that neighborhood. He did at relevant times. And guess what else was in that same exact neighborhood? Britney Spears was held in a house there, a residential treatment facility, for months against her will. And she describes what happened to her there as trafficking. She describes having to work all day. She describes being watched while she was naked, fully butt naked, 3 times a day. Multiple people were watching. And ever since she gave that testimony, I have said, y'all, this is sick. But people paid money for Britney Spears' hair. $1 million it went for at auction when she shaved her hair off. The lady at the lady at the salon, somehow, some way, somebody at the salon, Esther's salon, got a hold of that hair and sold it. It sold for $1 million. Used pregnancy tests, okay, were sold for $5,000 or something at auction. Britney's bathing suits, bikinis. Okay, so people are willing to spend money for Britney Spears' items. And I'm like, what's to say these like billionaire freaks aren't spending money just to watch Britney have to change? She said she was given 8 gallons of blood a week, which I don't think she really was. I don't think we actually even have 8 gallons of blood in our body, but she did indicate she was giving a lot of blood every single week in this house. Bridges to Recovery, I think it's maybe now defunct. All that's in the neighborhood. Okay, same neighborhood of mansions. Diddy's house, Playboy Mansion, Bridges to Recovery, where Britney was, and Jimmy Iovine had a house there. This is Live Nation guy, okay? Woo! Why nobody else said Jimmy Iovine? Okay, this is a big music executive. Celebrities including singers Usher and Neo and music exec Jimmy Iovine were at a restaurant when Diddy punched Cassie in the stomach, according to testimony. Dawn was grilled by Nicole Westmoreland about why, on direct examination, she didn't divulge that the A-listers, yep, I've been watching a lot of different intuitive readings and things, and people have been saying if Diddy starts to get the impression that he's actually going to go down, that he's going to get in trouble, he's going to start throwing other people under the bus. A lot of people have said this in these intuitive readings, take it with a grain of salt. But for a while, it was like he was kind of delusional and thinking like he was going to get away with this, like nothing was going to happen to him. But like eventually he's going to reach the point where he realizes like, oh crap, I'm not going down alone. And he starts yanking other people down too. And it does look like 21 minutes ago that has started. Because remember yesterday, one of the only questions on cross-examination that Diddy's lawyers did have for the special agent that raided or searched his room the day he was arrested, the New York hotel just last year, he was arrested. He was supposed to turn himself in, I think, the next day, but then he was arrested at the hotel in the lobby. Well, they searched through his room. They found all kinds of Tooski and baby oil and Astro this and that and Glide and whatever. And the only questions that Diddy's lawyers did ask on the cross-examination was, did it appear to you that there was a woman staying there with Diddy at the time, where there were woman's clothes, a woman's bag or whatever? And the special agent said, yeah, it did. It looked like it. So again, that was her Tooski. That was her 15 bottles of baby oil and 15 bottles of Astro, and that was her lighting, her mood lighting, not what mine. So he's already starting to look, I think, to pin blame. Look at this. Diddy's lawyer is the one who asked on cross-examination, why didn't you say which A-listers were there at the West Hollywood restaurant where Diddy allegedly punched Cassie? Because they want to maybe bring them in. Usher, Neo, and Jimmy Vine. Quote, any reason you left those individuals out when the government asked you the question? She said, she just asked me who was there. And why didn't you say their names? She said, I'm not sure. Is Jimmy Iovine being protected? And is that what's trying to be implied by this question? I don't know. Was she maybe paid off by Jimmy Iovine? This is what the defense is maybe trying to get the jurors to think. Okay. 7 minutes ago, we got New York Post reporting. Diddy's lawyer gets aggressive with Dawn as she tries to tear apart Dawn's testimony. The lawyer, Nicole Westmoreland, has been trying to pick apart Dawn Richard's testimony during an aggressive grilling. Westmoreland, for instance, homed in on Dawn's varying accounts of the first time she allegedly saw Diddy beat then girlfriend Cassie. Okay, on Friday. Okay, whatever. Mr. Combs had threatened you, Westmoreland said during the clinical and relentless questioning. Mr. Combs had threatened you. You perceived the threats as death threats. You feared for your life. Richard responded, yeah, I was scared. So you're away from Diddy in 2011, but then you come back and ask him to work with him again? Dawn said. Diddy, wearing a camel crew neck sweater with a white shirt underneath, is observing from the defense table next to his lawyers, and he hasn't shown any reaction so far. 3 new entries from the New York Post. That one was 8 minutes ago. I guess it's still updating. CNN has 6 new updates, so let's head over there. Okay, so Danity Kane member is a very a very credible witness. Entertainment lawyer says. This is CNN.com, written by Alicia Ibrahimji. Dawn has insight into Cassie and Diddy's relationship from a professional and personal standpoint, making her a reliable witness. Lisa Bonner told CNN's Pamela Brown, quote, I think she's going to make this a home run in terms of her testimony and how this relates not only to Cassie, but also to other charges that are encapsulated in the RICO count. This lawyer says, Bonner, quote, in my legal opinion, I think she's a very credible witness. Richard, a former member of Danity Kane, has released several albums. She's now testifying about the violent behavior, but it's important to remember this is not a federal domestic violence case. It's a racketeering case. So to the extent that Dawn furthers the interest of the government with regard to the core activity or its knowledge or understanding of the institution, that is the relevant and important part. The racketeer, the so-called alleged conspiracy. Remember, he did plead not guilty to all charges. He could face up to life in prison if convicted on all charges. On Dawn Richard's cross-examination, she said she never saw Diddy pull out a gun. She said she saw him with one a few times, and she saw him with one at a New York studio on a couple occasions. So that's a new detail. We're learning that one of the places that Dawn says that she saw Diddy having a pew-pew was in a New York studio and in a club. Ooh, interesting. The Shine event comes to mind. When asked, Dawn confirmed she never saw Diddy actually pull out a pew-pew or load it with any ammunition. She said she only saw him with it, like the actual pew-pew. In her earlier testimony, she said she typically have it on his lower back. She said we're getting this again, CNN.com still 17 minutes ago. Dawn says she has reached out to Diddy to ask him about working together again. On cross-examination, Dawn acknowledged that after parting ways with Bad Boy in 2011, she did reach back out to him on several occasions. She said she contacted him to work together again and has reached out as recently as 2020 to collaborate. She said before she left the label in 2011, she even did ask Diddy to sign her as a solo artist, but he declined. She was a member of Danity Kane, the musical group formed by Diddy as part of the MTV reality series Making the Band. She tells defense she is remembering more details. You agree with me that as time progresses, your story changes? She says yes, adding that as time progressed, she remembered more because it was so long ago. 13 minutes ago, the cross-examination was complete. Defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland's cross-examination finished, and the defense and the prosecuting attorneys went up to the sidebar. She says her recent work hasn't been as successful as her music career with Diddy. She testified that she felt, quote, saddened when Diddy decided to dismantle the groups, and confirmed that the music that she released since hasn't reached the same level of success. Danity Kane was formed by Diddy as part of the MTV reality series Making the Band, and Diddy Dirty Money was a trio that included Dawn, Diddy, and Kalina Harper. Quote, this is a new quote. You felt like Diddy ruined your career, not once, but twice. Dawn said, yes. Yeah, I did. I did feel like he ruined my career twice. She asked, another one. The lawyer said, and you filed that lawsuit just to get a lot of money, didn't you? Dawn said, no, but I do deserve to be compensated for the work I put forth, so I should get money. But no, that's not the only reason. I would have said, he owes me a lot of money. So yeah, when somebody owes you a lot of money, if somebody ever asked me the question, I'm suing somebody for my money, for my compensation, for my intellectual property, and somebody asked me, you sued him just to get a lot of money, didn't you? I'm telling you, my answer will be yes, because he owes me a lot of money. That's my money. And when you need money from somebody, you don't handle stuff like how he handles it. You sue them. So yes, I did. And I deserve it because it's my money. Next question. I probably wouldn't be quite that aggressive because then the jury probably wouldn't like me, but you know. Let's see Inner City Press has any updates. Last we checked, they were on their second sidebar in about 10 minutes, felt like. Okay. They're back from a long sidebar. Now they're on redirect, which means the prosecutors get to come back and ask questions after the cross-examination. So here's the first question back. Why did you file your civil lawsuit, Dawn? She said, when I worked for Diddy, I had no sleep. The conditions were terrible. In every meeting, this next question, in every meeting with the government, Ms. Richard, did you say that Diddy beat Cassie Ventura? Yes, Dawn replied. Okay, let's go to a Washington Post, see if they have any new updates. They do. Differing accounts from Diddy Dirty Money Trio. Uh-oh. Something that may come up as the trial progresses. Dawn has testified that others witnessed Diddy's alleged assaults on Cassie. In 3 incidents she describes on the stand, Dawn said she was with Kalina Harper, who was in the group Diddy Dirty Money, along with her and Combs. But Kalina Harper, has denied ever witnessing Diddy be abusive. Last September, after Dawn filed the lawsuit against Diddy, Kalina Harper had made a public statement on Instagram. Quote, while I fully respect Dawn's right to recount her experiences, I want to emphasize that her account reflects her personal perspective and should not be interpreted as a universal truth applicable to everyone involved. And I think that the government, when they were arguing that Diddy should have bail, that Diddy should not get out on bail, I think the government did already say that this was like a paid off thing. Like that's what they try to imply, like that Kalina was paid off or like threatened or somehow witness tampered to make that statement. I don't know if that's true. I don't even know if I'm remembering that correctly, but I kind of do like have a vague outline of memory about that. So that may come up. You know, they may bring Kalina Harper in. Defense attempt. So 9 minutes ago, we get a little more insight into these sidebars from Shayna Jacobs at Washington Post. Defense attempts to paint Dawn as unreliable witness. Diddy's defense is trying to depict singer Dawn Richard as a witness who is loose with details about the physical violence that she witnessed roughly 15 years ago in various accounts she has given over the years. At this point, you would agree with me. We have made several, at this point, you would agree with me. We have several story changes. But that was sustained. So it was like, objection, Your Honor, and the judge was like, okay, fine, you don't have to answer it. She did testify that she witnessed Diddy physically abusing his ex-girlfriend, Cassie. If the defense succeeds at chipping away at Richard's reliability, the jury could discredit what she has to say about the alleged past events. Her accounts are being offered by the prosecution to try to corroborate aspects of Cassie's testimony from last week. Okay, so not only is she bolstering that, but also another reason that the judge is allowing this testimony in is because it corroborates or speaks to count one, which is the racketeering, the RICO, and it shows the means and methods, which the feds allege are violence and threats. Her accounts are being offered. Okay, Diddy's lawyer suggested that key components of Dawn's testimony were left out from at least some of her other interviews with prosecutors as they prepared the case. Dawn says she may not have mentioned at points things that she said at trial, but she did see Diddy carrying a pew-pew and doing cocaine. She has a pending lawsuit against Diddy, a fact that the defense is using to try to show that she has a motive to lie about Diddy. 8 minutes ago, Diddy's 3 sons were a constant presence. Over the past week, okay, so this is Anne Brannigan, Washington Post, 8 minutes ago. Over the past week, Diddy's 3 sons, Justin, Christian, and Quincy, were a constant presence in court and sitting in the second row behind their father's bench alongside their grandmother, Janice. Monday morning, though, that row was uncharacteristically sparse with Diddy's mom and kids did not go to court today. Interesting. Diddy's family has abandoned him. Alert the media. Okay, we got a few more. Defense concludes cross-examination of Richard. Okay, at the end of the cross-examination, the lawyer seemed to imply a possible motivation for Dawn testifying against Diddy, as well as filing a lawsuit against him. And that possible motivation is bitterness. Diddy's lawyer asked Dawn about her attempts to work with Diddy after she left Bad Boy. The defense attorney asked Dawn if she was upset about not being signed as a solo artist. She responded that she didn't care about that. You were trying to succeed for a long time, weren't you? She said, I have succeeded. 4 minutes ago, Shayna Jacobs from Washington Post. On redirect, Dawn explained why her accounts over time may have had some missing details. Quote, every day gets easier to remember certain things. I try my best to do it to the best of my ability. So memories come back. Okay, we got a few more tweets from Inner City Press. Okay. The last tweet we read was this one. They had just gotten back from a long sidebar, and now they're on redirect. Why did you file your civil lawsuit? Dawn said, when I worked for Diddy, I had no sleep. The conditions were bad. In every meeting, did you say that Diddy beat, in every meeting you had with the government, did you say Diddy beat Cassie? Yes, in every meeting I did say that, yes. All right. Why did you reach out to Diddy? She said, oh, we got another name drop, Laurieann Gibson. Woo, y'all. They do not want them bringing any other names in, but some names they do want brought in, because Nicole Westmoreland apparently said, why didn't you say Jimmy Iovine was there? Why didn't you say Usher was there? Why didn't you say Neo was there? Okay, there was a lot of people there beside D-Rock and, what's his name? Maybe they're going to bring Usher in and Jimmy Iovine in to say, no, I was there and nobody punched anybody. That's false. Maybe that's why Nicole Westmoreland wants them to come in. Why did you reach out to Diddy? Dawn said, one of the judges on making the ban, Laurieann Gibson, I wanted to reach out. Objection, Your Honor, objection. Okay, so that's Diddy's lawyers, and the judge's like, hey, don't answer anything about Laurieann Gibson. Okay, fine, next question. How often would you hear from Diddy after you left Diddy Dirty Money? She said, I would hear from him sporadically. Why did you reach out? She said, to help Kalina Harper. No further questions. And then, of course, Diddy's lawyer wants to have another sidebar at the bench. So, I mean, half of the court day is spent having super secret meetings. So I don't know why they didn't just take this to arbitration. If you're going to do a criminal trial, it's supposed to be public. I'm starting to get a little aggravated at this. It's getting a little much. This is their 34th sidebar today, plus the secret meeting they had in the roving room, plus all the secret letters they're sending back and forth to the judge. We don't really know if we're ever going to see all of them, really. I mean, the judge is just on the honor system, and I don't think either side of these parties have honor. Look at what raised Maureen Comey, for the love of God. Y'all, Maureen Comey looks about 50 years old, and she's, I found out yesterday, my age. What is somebody my age doing leading this prosecution team? I don't give a crap if you went to Yale and clerked for the Supreme Court. The judge, Arwen Subramanian, is even a little bit young, in my opinion. I mean, he's doing great. But these are the biggest, most high consequential cases in ever, and they got a 35-year-old leading the prosecution team. Please. Look at what her daddy does, okay? She also shit the bed on the Ghislaine one because it looks like she's going to be able to get hers overturned, okay? So please. Both sides I don't trust for the honor system. Both sides I don't trust they're going to file these emails. It's up to the judge to do that, and he's really treading on unconstitutional territory. It better all actually be made public, but I doubt it will, truly. I think some stuff is never going to be public. It's just honor system, and that's why the judge is allowing for this 1 week relay. I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not a judge. Who knows? 8 minutes ago, CNN.com. Let's do another one. Okay. The assistant U.S. attorney was now doing a redirect, an opportunity to re-question Dawn after the defense cross-examined her. Dawn confirmed on redirect that her first meeting with prosecutors was more than a decade after the alleged incidents that she recounted, including a 2009 incident. In every meeting, she did say that Diddy had threatened her. In every meeting with prosecutors, okay, this is new information. In every meeting with prosecutors, Dawn says that she said the following. She says, in every meeting, she said, he beat Cassie, he threatened me. Every meeting. During the decade between the alleged incidents and her first meeting with prosecutors, she said she tried not to think about her employment. She said she worked for him from 2004 to 2011. That's a long time. The environment was volatile and it was very hard to work in. So I tried to erase those things. Okay, good. We got some more context. She says, this is quote, the environment was volatile. It was very hard to work in that environment. I tried not to think about those years. I tried to erase those things. Quote, every day it gets easier to remember certain things. I try my best to do it to the best of my ability. Let's go back to Inner City Press. 2 minutes ago, Recross. This is Diddy's lawyer. So you admit it then. You did reach out to Diddy to re-engage. Stop. Jesus. I'm just trying to find the most recent tweet. Hold on. Okay. So you admit it then. You reached out to Diddy to re-engage. You claim only to have a relationship with Lorianne Gibson, but if it got back together, you'd have to see Diddy more, right? Dawn said, yeah. And you sued for money, right? She said, for justice. But the suit asks for money, right? Yeah. No further questions. No redirect. And then Donaldson wants to go on break already. He's not ready for his next witness. So Xavier Donaldson is probably the guy, the lawyer who's going to speak, ask the questions of the next witness, maybe because, or maybe Agnew is just not there in court today, because he's actually asking, it's only 11:30. Like he asked probably around 11:30, like 5 or 6. 11:30, 5 or 6. And he's already asking for a lunch break. I mean, the lunch break hasn't been happening until 30 minutes from now. We have an NBC update. Let's see what they have to say. Okay, well, 2 updates from them. Richard, this 26 minutes ago, Adam Rice and Doha Madani, Richard felt that Diddy derailed her career twice. Cross-examination moved into her career with Diddy, which included her work with Danity Kane and Diddy's trio, Diddy Dirty Money. The singer confirmed that though she said she was scared of Diddy, she did ask to work with him again. The lawyer brought up the hundreds of thousands of records that Richard sold while with the groups, and Richard did confirm, yeah, I did ask Diddy to sign me as a solo artist in 2011, and that just ended up being the end of my career with Diddy that year. Combs denied her a solo career. She also said that she asked to work with Combs as recently as 2020 or 2021. You felt like Mr. Combs ruined your career, not once, but twice, didn't you? Dawn said, yep. She also said 6 minutes ago, this is Adam Rice and Tiffany Doherty from NBC News. Richard says she suppressed memories of Diddy due to trauma. Federal prosecutor Mitzi Steiner picked up questioning Richard following a tough cross-examination where defense attorneys attempted to undermine Richard's testimony by pointing out inconsistencies in her retelling of events. The prosecutor asked whether Dawn had thought about the incidents a lot over the decades since she witnessed them. Dawn said, quote, no, it was a hard time, a bad time for me. It did not all come back immediately. The environment was traumatizing, so I tried to erase those things from my memory. By speaking with investigators, Richard says that more memories came to her every day, that she tries to relay things as best and as accurate as she can. She confirmed that she did tell the government that she saw Diddy hitting Cassie and that he threatened her to keep quiet during several meetings. She testified that she had no doubt that Diddy tried to strike Cassie or that Cassie went into a fetal position or that Diddy dragged Cassie up the stairs by her hair. She also said she had no doubt that Diddy threatened her to keep quiet. Okay, now I'm on, this is the Mirror US. The changing accounts. Okay, I guess that's the most recent. Okay, let's go to the CNN. Okay, we read that. So there's one new update from CNN. 1 minute ago. Richard sought group reunion to help fellow artist, not to work with Diddy. Okay, so that's filling in some context for me. So when she said to help Kelowna Harper, it was like Kelowna wanted to go back on tour. Kelowna wanted to do things. Dawn, I guess, apparently still had a relationship with Lorianne Gibson, who was on the Making the Band show. She was the choreographer. She was rough, too. She was like with Diddy. Like, it looked like she was like part of it. Maybe she was playing a role, but she seemed rough on that show. So Dawn is saying, okay, so on redirect, by the prosecutor, Dawn testified that she did reach out to Diddy after severing ties with Bad Boy Records to get her former, I think it's supposed to be former. It says forming, but I think it's supposed to be former. To get the former singing trio, Diddy Dirty Money, back together. But Richard testified she did it to help the other member of the group, Kelowna Harper, not because she had any desire to work with Diddy. He formed the group with Kelowna, Dawn, and him in 2009, and the group disbanded in 2000. I think it was 11. It says 12 here, though. When asked Monday, Dawn said she didn't want to work with Diddy again. Oh, excuse me. She didn't want to work with Diddy again because it wasn't good. I didn't want it, but I was trying to help a friend. That is a quote. I didn't want it, but I was trying to help a friend. We do have new updates. Oh, is this Priscilla DeGregory? Okay, here's one of the people who are always reading her reporting. Okay, there she is right there. 2 new entries. Okay, I guess it's refreshing. This one has a hard time refreshing the New York Post. Okay, Danity Kane singer has finished testifying. Dawn wrapped up the testimony today. Court took a short break, and the court is taking a short break before the next witness takes the stand. Let me try to update this New York Post one by like leaving out and going back in. So, like, I don't know how, like, this one's just glitchy. Hold on. Okay, now let's go to the Independent. Ooh, we got another good quote. I mean, it's not good, it's actually scary, but it's good for knowing that he said that. Look at this. This is from Katie Hawkinson at theindependent.com. Diddy said he owned Cassie Ventura. Breaking news. Diddy claimed he owned Cassie Ventura, according to Dawn Richard testimony, y'all. I'm glad we got 175011 tabs up because not everybody's telling us all this stuff. Nobody wants to tell us about Jimmy Iovine except the New York Post. Dawn testified that Diddy once told her he owned his ex-girlfriend. Oh my God. Richard says Combs told her to stay the F out of his relationship with Cassie or something bad will happen to you. Richard said she could see that Cassie feared Diddy. Quote, it was always wait for her. I told her she should leave. Cassie looked torn, like she would listen, but I could see the fear. Wow. Oh, wow. Let's go to Washington Post. Okay. Three minutes ago, we do get a little bit more context. We get a little bit more, yeah, I mean, like, it fills in the blanks a little bit more as to why or how the testimony came about that Dawn Richard said she had no doubt. So she said she had no doubt about the alleged 2009 assault. This is the egg skillet frying pan incident. During the government redirect of Dawn Richard, the prosecutor, it was Mitzi Steiner, asked whether the former Diddy Dirty Money singer had any doubt about whether Diddy dragged Cassie up the stairs in a 2009 incident after striking her for allegedly not cooking his eggs fast enough. And Dawn said had no doubt. She also said she had no doubt about hearing glass breaking as if being thrown directly afterward. She also said she had no doubt about a meeting Diddy allegedly held the next day with Richard and another bandmate to warn them to stay silent. She earlier said that her initial recollections were hazy because she was actively trying to forget them. She also explained why she had reached out to Diddy after leaving Bad Boy. The music label he founded one time was because she was trying to rekindle a relationship with choreographer Lorianne Gibson, who Richard said advised her to reach out to Diddy first. Okay, so this was struck from the record, but I'm glad the Washington Post, our Details Queens, did put it in here. Again, this is Anna Brannigan from Washington Post reporting 3 minutes ago. She said, okay, one time, Dawn testified that one time she reached out to Diddy was specifically because she was trying to rekindle a relationship with Lorianne Gibson, who was a choreographer from the Making the Band, and maybe from Danity Kane. But she said that Dawn testified that Lorianne Gibson, the choreographer, then told her, you got to reach out to Diddy. I can't do nothing with you unless you reach out to him. As for Richard reaching out to Diddy to reunite Diddy Dirty Money, she said she did so to, quote, help a friend. Okay, so one time she reached out because she wanted to rekindle a relationship with Lorianne, and the other time she reached out was because she wanted to put Diddy Dirty Money back together, but really because for Kalena Harper, not really because she's like, Kalena put her up to it. She said, I didn't want to go back. It wasn't good. I didn't want it. We do have another update that came in from Washington Post. And Brannigan again 2 minutes ago. During the government's redirect, Diddy at one point scooched his chair up and leaned forward on the defense table, appearing to look intently with the devilish gaze. No, I made up the devil part. At prosecutor Mitzi Steiner, who was asking questions from a lectern that stands in front of the jury box. So he tried to put the evil eye on her, peering around with a devilish glare. I'm just reading it from here and making jokes. Okay, obviously it doesn't say that. But look, during the government's redirect, like they're asking questions, Diddy apparently, quote, scooched his chair up and leaned forward on the defense table to look intently at the prosecutor who was asking questions on, the redirect. Okay, we got one new entry. Okay, here we go, everybody. Breaking news 1 minute ago. New York Post. Cassie's ex-best friend, Carrie Morgan, starts testifying. The one-time best friend of Cassie just started testifying. She is 39 years old and is the 5th witness to testify against Diddy. All right, we're on Inner City Press. Oh my gosh, y'all. Oh, I can't believe this. Okay. All right, we got 2 tweets. Jury enters. The government calls Carrie Morgan. Where do you live? Los Angeles. Who is this? Photo shown. She says, Cassie Ventura. What was your relationship? She said, we were best friends. Her boyfriend assaulted me. All right, here we go. Hold on. Let me retweet and let everybody know. Okay. One more tweet. Do you see the boyfriend you just referenced here? She said, yes, there, in a yellow sweater. Let the record reflect the witness has identified defendant Sean Combs. Why are you here? Carrie said, I got a subpoena. Where did you live with Cassie? She said, Manhattan. Okay, that's the most recent tweet. But we do have many, many other sources up, and they are flying updates. Okay, 7 seconds ago, we get another tweet. Did Cassie drink? Carrie said, not much. Any substances? Carrie said, none. What was she doing for work? Well, she was modeling, and then she recorded me and you. When did you learn they were dating, Carrie? Carrie said, I learned they were dating in 2007. Okay. Let's go Washington Post. Nope, nothing new there. Let's go cbsnews.com. Okay, so I do want to say this for the record, for history's sake. New York Post is not the only one that mentioned Jimmy Iovine, all right? Now we have CBS News updated 6 minutes ago. They mentioned Jimmy Iovine. As time progresses, your story changes. The defense asked Richard if she could recall who was present. So the defense, Diddy's lawyers, asked Richard who was present during that incident at the restaurant. There's 3 incidents that Dawn testified about. One with the eggs, one in the Central Park that was recorded, and then the one where it was in a restaurant in West Hollywood and Diddy apparently punched Cassie. Richard said to the defense, there were some celebrities who were present, including Usher, Ne-Yo, and they spelled that wrong, I think it's N-E-Y-O, and Jimmy Iovine. So sick of the song, so dirty. Questioning then turned to the pew pew. Okay, so Diddy's lawyers wanted it brought up. Very important, y'all. Diddy's lawyers, for some reason, wanted it to be brought up. Usher, Ne-Yo, and Jimmy Iovine were at this dinner. I think this is totally speculation, but I think Diddy wants that brought up because he wants to call Usher, Ne-Yo, and or Jimmy Iovine up to the stand to say they didn't see that, and that is a crock of bleep. That is what I think. Could be other reasons, which I did outline earlier. Questioning then turned to the pew pew. Okay, so there's more context here. I'm glad they gave this. Diddy's lawyers then asked, and I did bring this up too, like, isn't it normal for a bodyguard to have a pew pew for a very famous billionaire celebrity? Richard agreed. Yeah, bodyguards are armed to protect their clients from danger. Yeah, I agree. Still, that makes Dawn look very reasonable. Westmoreland, Diddy's lawyer, asked why Dawn never mentioned seeing Diddy with a pew pew in her 8 interviews with prosecutors, and Dawn testified she never saw him pull it out. She just saw it on him, so she didn't, I guess, think to tell him. Westmoreland continued to press Dawn on things that she said in court, but didn't tell prosecutors during her earlier interviews. Like, you just invented the story for court. You never told anybody this ever before. And I can understand why Diddy seems mad at that too, because it's like, well, how are we supposed to defend against something nobody ever said? We didn't know you were going to be testifying about pew pew. So now it's just like, why didn't you bring this up? As time progresses, your story changes. That was from Alice Gaynor, CBS News, the only other one with enough gumption to mention Ne-Yo, Usher, and Jimmy Iovine. Okay, 2 new updates from CNN. Okay. Cassie's former best friend, 4 minutes ago, CNN.com. Cassie's former best friend, Carrie Morgan, is called to the stand. Cassie's former longtime friend, she has been called to the stand. She's the 6th witness to testify. Earlier, the judge ruled that Carrie could testify that Cassie told her she was scared of Diddy and told her she couldn't break up with Diddy because Diddy controlled her career. So I guess it's a little bit of hearsay or whatever, but it is being allowed to come in. And it was one of the things that they were arguing about this morning. One of the things that the judge did rule on was this specific testimony from Carrie Morgan. That Cassie told Carrie Morgan at some point, I'm scared of Diddy because he controls my career. And I can't break up with him because he controls my career. This is sad. Cassie's former BFF says they no longer speak because Diddy assaulted her. Carrie said she was best friends with Cassie from 2001 all the way to 2018, but currently they do not speak. She said they stopped being friends in 2018 because her boyfriend assaulted me, specifying that the boyfriend was Diddy. Carrie said she's testifying because she was subpoenaed, but she doesn't want to be here. She said, I don't really want to be here. I'm not trying to be here, but I got a subpoena, so here I am. When asked why she didn't want to testify, she says, quote, I have moved on with my life away from all these people and the problems. So she's like, I don't want to keep getting dragged back into this, but like, I got a subpoena, so here the freak I am. CNN gives another update and says that Cassie's former friend describes the early years of their friendship. She says she first met Cassie on a modeling shoot when she was 16 and Cassie was 15 in 2001. They started living together in 2004 in New York City. So they were like 18 and 19 kids, really. In the first few years of their friendship, Cassie did not drink much alcohol and did not use many rugs. Carrie Morgan now currently works as a personal assistant in California. Let's go back to Inner City Press. Okay. Now, I need to know, is the Ricardo Tisci party, his birthday party, I think was in Ibiza. So every time that comes up, my Ricardo Tisci senses start to tingle, this Ibiza. We do have another 2 tweets. So the most recent one was this one right here. Did Cassie drink much? No, not much. Any substances? No, none. What was she doing for work? She was modeling, and then she recorded a song. So she was a model, and then she recorded a song. She was a model to singer, and she's also an actress. When did you learn they were dating? Carrie said 2007. So remember, they met each other in 2001. So 6 years in their friendship, she learned they're dating. Did you travel with Cassie and Diddy? She said yes. Ibiza, Miami. What substances did Diddy provide? She said Molly, 420, EX to the C. And which of those did Diddy take? She said all of them. Did you ever take substances alone with Cassie? She said OPIs. Okay. Let's go Washington Post. Defense implies Richard was motivated by money. Wrapped up Dawn's time on the stand. Westmoreland asked if she understood reuniting would mean spending substantial time with Diddy, including touring with him. Diddy's lawyer then brought the questioning back to Richard's 2024 lawsuit when she said she hoped for justice as a result of filing the lawsuit. Westmoreland, Diddy's lawyer, asked whether money was part of that justice. Yes. Dawn answered. Okay, let's go to CBS. I don't think anything new here. NBC has 3 new updates. They decided to work today. Who's this? Is that her? That's Carrie Morgan. We got eyes on Carrie Morgan, everybody. That's her. She's like, I'm sick of these people and their drama. Okay, so let's finish up reading the Don Richard testimony. This is 5 minutes ago, NBC News. Despite Combs' threats, Richard admits to trying to work with him again. Under another round of cross-examination, Richard admitted to trying to work with Diddy again, despite all the allegations. Diddy's lawyer ticked off the number of performances, the writing sessions, the travel and career talks that Richard would have to engage in with Diddy despite the bad acts she had allegedly seen. Quote, "You would spend a lot of time together even though he made threats?" She said, yes. When pressed about her lawsuit against Diddy, she said, "I want justice and to be made whole." And when Westmoreland asked if that meant being paid money, Dawn said yes. Another new update 5 minutes ago. NBC News, Adam Rice and Doha Madini, Carrie Morgan, Cassie's former BFF, takes the stand after Dawn. She does, okay, so Cassie testified last week. She met Carrie when she was a teenager, and the two remained close for about 17 years. Diddy's former girlfriend, that's Cassie, testified that their friendship, Carrie and Cassie's friendship, ended after Diddy allegedly hit Morgan in the head with a wooden hanger. But Morgan was allegedly aware of the abuse Cassie had endured from Diddy and had been around the couple regularly in the early days of the relationship when Cassie still lived in New York City. We have another update from New York Post. Okay, maybe we don't. CNN? Inner City Press. Try him. Hold on. Okay. All right. Yeah, we got two more. Now we're talking about Christina Karam, everybody. So she said yes, she traveled Ibiza, Miami. How did Mr. Combs act? He would yell at Cassie. She lost her confidence big time, lost her spark. Did he talk down to Cassie? Carrie said yes, about her looks, who she talked to. Did he contact you looking for her? Carrie said a lot. He contacted me looking for her a lot. Sometimes he would call 50 times in a row. Would others call you for him? Yes, Christina Karam or KK. Did you witness assaults? She said yes, first in the Hollywood Hills. And his security guard, Ruben, was there. 1 minute ago, what did Cassie do? What did Diddy do to Cassie? Did he do it? Did he do it? Carrie said he kicked her. What did she do? Wow, this is sad. Wow, this is really crazy. Okay, so the question is, did you ever witness any assaults? Any of Diddy assaulting Cassie? She said yes. And the first assault that I saw was in the Hollywood Hills. Probably it was asked who was there. She said Ruben, one of the security guards. And what did Diddy do to Cassie during that event? He kicked her. And what did she do? Nothing. I told the security guard Ruben to do something, and he indicated that he wouldn't. Okay, so not only D-Rock, not only Roger Stone, not only James Cruz, but now also, not only Harv Pierre, but now also we have another name of the enterprise, of the people who were just doing whatever Diddy said. Christina Karam, and now the security guard Ruben. Now there's 3 security guards. 3 security guards have been mentioned, to my knowledge. Maybe there was even more. D-Rock, not Roger Stone. What's his name? Yeah, Roger Stone. That's someone else's name, right? What's his name? Is it Roger Stone? No way. That's someone else's name. Roger Bond. His last name Bond? Roger Bond? I don't know. Bonds? No, I don't know. Another security guard was mentioned. And now we have Ruben. So Carrie is like, this is my best friend. And I see her getting kicked by her boyfriend. I'm telling security to do something. And the security's like, no, I'm not doing anything. Then what happened? She said, we left the house. Cassie and I were hiding by someone's front steps. NBC apparently has a new update. Here we go. 8 minutes ago, I moved on. Cassie's former best friend says she didn't want to testify. 9 minutes ago, NBC News, Adam Rice and Doha Madani. Carrie made it clear. Carrie Morgan made it clear she was only in court testifying because she was issued a subpoena. I do not want to testify. I moved on with my life. She also confirmed that she and Cassie, who met on modeling shoot as teenagers, no longer spoke because Cassie's boyfriend assaulted her. 3 minutes ago, Diddy had mood swings and could be very aggressive, Morgan testified. They're saying Kelly, it's Carrie, told the court that she got to know Diddy, quote, very well in the roughly 11 years that he was dating her former best friend. So it looks like also during all of this, right, I keep pointing to 2018 being such a huge year, right? That's the year that Cassie and Diddy break up. It's the year that Kim Porter dies. It's the year that Cassie meets her now husband. And other stuff happened that year as well. The Jonathan Oddie incident at the Trump Hotel with the pew pew, and then the interrogation where he says that he was an SEX slave for Diddy and Cassie. That happened in 2018. A lot of stuff happened in 2018. Okay. Also, that is whenever this friend stopped talking to Cassie because of this assault incident, alleged assault. She told the court she got to know Diddy very well in the roughly 11 years that he was dating her former best friend. So she's like, I knew him. I knew him well. She described him as someone who sometimes was very nice and generous, but as someone who had mood swings and could be very aggressive. She testified that Diddy would get mad at Cassie and that Cassie lost her spark and confidence while with Diddy. When asked whether Diddy ever spoke down to Cassie, Carrie said it could be often and could be regarding her looks or her behavior. She also told the court that Diddy would sometimes call her 50 times in a row looking for Cassie. She testified that she personally witnessed Diddy assault Cassie 2 times. One time in Jamaica, so we have a new location, Jamaica. New location, Jamaica. Maybe not. It might have been Kingston, Jamaica might have already been mentioned, actually. So one time she saw the assault happen in Jamaica, and one time she saw Diddy assault Cassie in LA. We do have 4 new updates from CNN. Morgan says Diddy could be extremely generous or become aggressive. She traveled with Diddy and Cassie to several U.S. cities and other countries like Spain and Italy, getting to know Diddy very well. They would all take substances together, usually provided by Diddy. Diddy was very nice and extremely generous, but also sort of intimidating, and he had a strong presence. As she got to know him, she learned that Diddy had mood swings. He would get aggressive and upset, often yelling at Cassie. She said she witnessed Diddy assault Cassie twice, and both times he was sober. Oh, this is new information. Diddy assaulted, according to Carrie Morgan testifying, Diddy assaulted Cassie twice, and both times he was sober. Not on substances. Remember whenever he's going to try to argue he was on bad MDMA, and that's why he did that thing at the Intercontinental Hotel? No, I saw him do it. It was routine. It wasn't a one-time incident. She testified she saw it on 2 occasions. He pulled her hair, kicked her, and pushed her. He was not intoxicated or high during these times. In one of the occasions, she said it was at Diddy's LA home with Diddy, Cassie, and one of the security guards, Ruben. I saw him push her. I'm pretty sure he hit her. They were on the other side of a bed, so I'm not sure if he kicked her or something. She said that Cassie did not do anything in response, and she said she asked one of the security guards to intervene, but he responded that he wasn't going to do anything. What kind of sick freak? Like, we need to get back to where like men are real men, okay? Because if not even a security guard is going to step up and protect a woman, a security guard, there's a bunch of punks and bitches running around here acting like men, including whoever Ruben is, okay? If true. Punks and bitches. Sorry. I usually try to keep the cursing down, but like, I'm just imagining the scene. Like, huge ass, rabid Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy freaking Combs assaulting little Cassie, who now we know because we've seen a video what she does. And he's standing there with his freaking hands in his pocket with his thumb up his ass going, I ain't gonna do nothing. Who's going to protect people? You know, it's a freaking security guard. He's not even going to intervene like the, school resource officer. All right, keep it up. Nothing. I was scared to get fired. Well, maybe you don't need that job working for the devil, you stupid. You stupid. And I'm not sorry, and I really mean it. Everybody wants women to go back to being women. Everybody wants us to be so feminine and so soft. Everybody wants us to stop being in the boss girl era. But when we get in the hell beat out of us, the security guard won't even stop it. Verbally says, I'm not doing nothing. Well, then what are you doing, you useless bitch? It does look like a Rico. It looks like that's the enforcer. If true, I mean, I wasn't there. So, yeah, shout out to Monica in the chat. Yes, thank you, Holly. Thank you, Holly. I'm sick of it. Because they have so much to say about us. And y'all know, I'm not like one of these, like, I don't know, feminist, women rights. Like, I think people should be taken for like what their actions are and not really judge on gender and stuff. But like, to be honest, can we get some real men in the chat? Can we get some real men in Hollywood? Can we get some real men in the federal FBI? Can we get some real men back? Because this is just a fucking clown show. Excuse my language. So sorry. Whew. All right. Morgan heard Diddy criticize Cassie's appearance, how she behaved, who she talked to. He would call Cassie repeatedly until she answered him 50 times in a row. There were also times Diddy and his employees would contact Morgan to get in contact with Cassie. She testified. One new entry available from New York Post 7 minutes ago. Carrie Morgan, the one-time best friend of Cassie, told the court about why their relationship soured. She testified that her relationship with Cassie ended after she was allegedly assaulted by Diddy in 2018. Her boyfriend assaulted me. She testified. Okay, let's go back to Inner City Press. Okay, we have a couple more tweets. Oh, my Lord, this is bad. Oh, this is bad. Public concern, public reporting, big major lawsuit. This is going to be on the transcript. I'm just telling you what's being reported inside of court. This is not a glorification of this in any way, and I highly condemn these behaviors, and they're egregious, and if it really did happen, the person should go to jail. Okay, thank you. All right, so now she goes to start testifying. This is Carrie Morgan, Cassie's former best friend. She's no longer best friend, but she goes to start now testifying about the second alleged assault incident that did occur. She says, I saw Diddy drag her by the hair. I ran back to get my purse and phone so we could leave. And then what did you do next? So this is Jamaica. So the first time was, I think, the LA. So now we're talking about Jamaica. She said, at this time, I saw Diddy dragging her by the hair, and I ran to get my purse and my phones so we could leave. And what did you see next? Well, I thought Cassie was knocked out. But then she got up and ran into a wooded area. She ran into the woods. Then what happened? Well, there were 2 golf carts in the driveway. This is in Jamaica. I got in one, and Diddy got in the other one. We went different directions looking for Cassie. Did you find her? Yes. I found her, and then we hid in a ditch. And she said this, we were whispering. Or maybe she was whispering. I don't know if this means she's whispering her testimony, or if like they were whispering to each other in the ditch. But this reminds me, honestly, of Bam Margera. I mean, every time I see the man, he's running away from someone, not me. He's usually running toward me. Okay, that's the most recent there. Let's go back to Washington Post. We do have 2 new updates for Washington Post. These are our details queens. I like them. Okay. 14 minutes ago, Anne Brannigan. The government has called for its next witness, Carrie Morgan. The jury was introduced to Morgan last week as part of Cassie's testimony. Morgan was Ventura's longtime best friend, but cut off her relationship with Cassie in 2018 after an alleged incident in which Diddy attacked her with a wooden hanger. She testified about assaulting. This is Shayna Jacobs, Washington Post. A longtime friend of Cassie is on the witness stand discussing how the R&B singer's demeanor shifted after she began dating Diddy, who the witness described as psychologically and physically abusive. Okay, that is new details. That is new details we're getting from Carrie Morgan. That we're getting from Washington Post is that Carrie Morgan described the relationship as, quote, psychologically and physically abusive. Carrie stopped talking to Cassie after she was allegedly assaulted. She lost her confidence big time. She testified during the early part of the 11-year relationship with Diddy, she lost her spark. She said she saw Diddy hit her, pull her hair, kick her, push her. Let's go to CBS. We have new updates. I think I might be a little behind here. We do have some more quotes, though, from the Dawn Richard testimony, so I do want to read this, even though it is a little outdated. I want to add and supplement this because we do have new Dawn Richard quotes from her testimony. We don't have the transcripts yet. I don't know where they come out or when. Rabbit does read them. I don't know if she's in the chat. If so, shout out to Rabbit and drop some rabbits in the chat. But this is some more quotes from her until we get the full testimony transcript. Richard cross-examination wraps up. The defense asked Richard why she contacted Diddy after she stopped working for him and had allegedly threatened her life. She said, but then you asked him to come work, but then you asked him to come and work with him again? And Richard said she did. Questioning then turned to the group. Richard and Harper and Combs were all in Diddy Dirty Money and whether it did well, pointing out her work with Danity Kane also did well. Richard acknowledged that since that time she has released over 100 songs, but they haven't been as successful as the ones with Diddy. She agreed that if she had reached out to Diddy to sign her as a solo artist, but he turned her down as recently as 2021. Westmoreland asked if Richard felt Diddy had no legitimate reason to. Oh, this is another detail. So Diddy's lawyer actually asked Dawn Richard when she was on the stand, did you feel Diddy had no legitimate reason to dismantle the group? I guess she did say yeah. You were angry about it, weren't you? She said, I was saddened by it. That was the question that came before you would agree he ruined your career not once but twice. Richard said yes. Now, Westmoreland asked Richard if she filed suit after Ventura did because she wanted to get a lot of money. She said no, she filed to get compensated for the work she put forth. That concluded the cross-examination. So that's the most recent from CBS News. I don't think NBC has anything new. Let's see if the Mirror wasn't asked. She did see him a few times with a pew pew. One time at a studio in New York on a couple of occasions, and once in a club. She never witnessed him pull it out or load it, but she only just saw that he had it on him. This is interesting. I think this is important, actually. CNN.com did a little update or a little look back, looking back on Diddy's history with MTV's Making the Band reality series. A renewed focus has been put on Diddy's history with one of the original singing competition shows, MTV's Making the Band. As former Danity Kane member Dawn Richard has been testifying in Diddy's criminal trial. Richard, who testified today about witnessing Diddy physically assault Cassie, said that she worked for Diddy between 2004 and 2011. She was a member of Danity Kane, a group formed by Diddy as part of a reality series in 2005. The other group members were Aubrey O'Day, who has come out publicly and said she won't be testifying. Andrea Fimbres, Shannon Becks, and Dee Woods. Making the Band debuted on ABC in 2000 with Backstreet Boys and NSYNC producer Lou Pearlman, who first formed the O-Town group on the show's first season. Subsequent seasons were overseen by Combs when it moved to MTV in 2000. So, it originally was on ABC. Then it moved to MTV in 2002. Subsequent seasons were overseen by Diddy. He ran the ship as he searched to form a hip-hop group in Making the Band 2, which featured contestants living together in New York City as they competed for a record deal with Bad Boy Records. The group Da Band was formed during season 2. Danity Kane was then formed in 2005 during Making the Band 3, a season in which Diddy sought to put together an all-girl singing group. So the band was boys. I watched all these. Let me know if y'all want to do like a watch and react. They probably have to be after the trial. Maybe I won't care anymore. But I have been going back and rewatching those for about a year. The third installment of the reality show lasted for 3 seasons, and Danity Kane became known for hit singles, including Touching My Body and Damaged. Those are pretty ominous songs. Now you can look back at what has happened, not making light of it. It's very serious. These are serious allegations. It reminds me of Britney Spears made a song called I'm a Slave for You, and everybody thought it was cute. Maybe she was trying to tell us something. Anyway, but that success did not carry over for Richard following her time on the show. She testified today, saying on his stand that the music she's released since hasn't reached the same level of success, and she felt saddened when Diddy dismantled the groups. Making the Band also ended in 2009, and musical acts Day 26 and Donnie Klang were also formed during seasons of the series. So Day 26 is the one we were watching the other day during like the lunch break, where they were like breaking down crying. One of them was talking about sacrificing and ritual in, and some people sign up just to get beep and like all kind of stuff. We have another update from the New York Post. 5 minutes ago, Kyle Schnitzer, Jack Morfett, and Priscilla DeGregory. Carrie Morgan describes, again, New York Post. Carrie Morgan describes the 2 times she saw Diddy allegedly assault Cassie. First time, she saw Diddy push Cassie, and she thought she also saw him hit her while they were in the primary bedroom of the Bad Boy Records LA home. And she was standing in the entryway. After Carrie Morgan left the house with Cassie, and the pair hid out in the front steps of the neighbor's house for 30 minutes. I wonder if it was Britney Spears' Bridges to Recovery. I'm just wondering. I don't know. I wasn't there. The second alleged assault happened in 2013 in January when a group of friends, including Diddy, Cassie, and Carrie, so who's the friends? I gotta know who was there. They went on a trip to Jamaica. The fallen music mogul got incensed because Cassie took too long in the bathroom. Now, this is another reason why Cassie said she would get hit, because she was taking too long in the bathroom. 2 minutes later, I heard screaming, and it was terrifying. Morgan said she saw Diddy drag Cassie on the floor 10 feet before Morgan grabbed her purse in case she needed to run. When she came back, Diddy was outside with Cassie. I saw him push her. I saw him push her on the ground, and she hit her head on a brick. She didn't move. She said Cassie was laying in a loose fetal position and her eyes were closed. I thought she was knocked out. She appeared to be for about 20 or 30 seconds. The two women, Cassie and Carrie, bolted and crouched in a ditch for what felt like hours. Wow. So they went and hid from him in both instances, alleged. Okay, let's go back to Inner City Press. Okay. We have some new ones. How did he act? Call me 50 times in a row. Next time, whatever next. Okay. What about the incident at Comstock? I think this is one of the apartment buildings that was Cassie's that Diddy was paying for, I think. Cassie came back with a hoodie covering her face, and then Diddy came and tried to get in, hitting the door with a hammer. What? Diddy had a hammer? What about the incident at Cassie? I think this is Cassie's apartment. Cassie came back with a hoodie covering her face, and then Diddy came in and tried to get in. Then Diddy came, and he was trying to get in. He was hitting the door with a hammer. I called D-Rock, who was security. And did he get in? Carrie said no. That time he didn't get in. The police came. Then what happened? Well, Cassie wouldn't show them her ID, so nothing happened. They left a card. Read this message. Ooh, so we got another message. Did you send an attachment? She said, yes, a photo of the card the detective left. This is scary. This is scary. I'm sorry, this is scary. Oh, okay, let's go to Washington Post. There's Harry. Okay. Anne Brannigan 2 minutes ago. Morgan recounts incidents in Hollywood and Jamaica. She said she watched Diddy act violently toward Cassie on 2 occasions. Once at a home Diddy was renting in the Hollywood Hills, and another time in Jamaica. She described seeing Diddy push Cassie when the pair was in the bedroom in the California house, but she couldn't recall the date. She said she was in a foyer area with a direct view of the room. She described seeing Diddy push Cassie, and she was, quote, pretty sure he also punched and kicked her, but Cassie did nothing in response. And she said she yelled at a security guard she was standing next to, Ruben, to do something, but this punk bitch did nothing and made it clear he wasn't going to do anything. Afterward, Carrie Morgan said she and Cassie left the house and hid behind steps at a neighbor's home. Oh, we get more context. As Diddy and a security guard searched for them, but they were hiding behind some steps at a neighbor's house, and Diddy and the security guard were actively looking for them. So the security guard will get off his lazy ass to go search for the victim, the alleged victim, if it happened. I find this witness to be the most credible of all because she don't even talk to Cassie. No, she don't like Cassie. She actually sued Cassie or made a demand and got money from Cassie because of all of this. And she's still testifying. Me and Cassie were hiding from him. He was searching for us. Morgan described another altercation between Cassie and Diddy in Jamaica in 2013. Said that after Cassie went to the bathroom, Diddy complained she was taking too long and sought her out. A few minutes later, Carrie said she heard Cassie screaming, sounds that Morgan described in more details as guttural and terrifying. She said then she saw Diddy dragging Cassie by the hair. 4 minutes ago in Washington Post, Janae Kingsbury, Cassie's former best friend, Carrie Morgan, was seen arriving to the courthouse on Monday for Diddy's trial. Last week, Cassie testified her friendship ended after Diddy hit with a wooden hanger in 2018. After the incident, Cassie said Morgan, so after the incident in 2018, Carrie Morgan said she demanded both of them pay her to resolve the dispute. CNN has 3 new updates. Okay, we get more details about the Jamaica assault in 2013. Second time she saw the violence towards Cassie with her own 2 eyes, it was Jamaica, 2013. Diddy left the room after Diddy had left the room after saying Cassie's taken too long in the bathroom. I heard Cassie screaming, so I ran into the hall where she was. She described the screams as guttural. She said she saw Diddy dragging Cassie by her hair down the hallway 10 feet before she ran to get her own purse because when she came back, before she ran to get her own purse. When she came back, they were now outside. Carrie went outside and saw how Cassie hit her head after Diddy pushed her to the ground. She said she stayed in a loose fetal position with her eyes closed. I thought she was knocked out. Cassie ran barefoot into a wooded area, barefoot with no shoes, to a wooded area, to the woods. She ran into the woods with no shoes. She and Diddy went to look for Cassie separately. After Carrie found Cassie, the friends hid in a ditch for what felt like hours before eventually going back to the house. And she said Cassie had a really big bump on her forehead from the incident. So that's more new information we didn't hear about earlier. 4 minutes ago, CNN.com, Ventura's former friend says there were more times where Diddy was violent. She said she saw Diddy assault Cassie other times, but the 2 incidents she testified about, one in Jamaica and one in Los Angeles, are the ones she actually remembers the best. She said she witnessed Cassie fight back against Combs, but she never saw any injuries on Diddy. After the hotel assault, Diddy sought Cassie at her apartment, so it is her apartment, as I suspected earlier, and banged on the door with a hammer. Carrie is now addressing the aftermath of the March 2016 incident. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is interesting. All right, so you know how like the CNN incident is like the CNN footage, the Intercontinental Hotel incident is like a big piece of evidence in this case? Well, Cassie testified that she was at her apartment with Carrie Morgan after the 2016 incident. So now we're up to 2016. Cassie said she was leaving from an FO, from a freak off. You remember the government witnesses all kind of testified to this, the officer and all that. After that Intercontinental incident, Diddy showed up at Cassie's apartment and banged on the door with a hammer, according to Carrie Morgan testimony. It was the aftermath of the March 2016 incident in which surveillance cameras captured Diddy dragging and kicking Cassie at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, Los Angeles. Carrie Morgan recalled the day Cassie came home to her apartment after the incident. Carrie had been staying with her ahead of her movie premiere. So her friend was in town for her movie premiere for her, and Cassie had a black eye, Morgan said. About 30 minutes, so now it's 2 people who have testified that Cassie had a black eye. About 30 minutes after Cassie came home, Diddy arrived, yelling and banging on the door with a hammer. So as soon as she got back home, remember she got dropped off by a 7-foot tall bodyguard or whatever? He came back banging on the door with a hammer. Carrie said she was, quote, freaking out, and she called Diddy's security guard and Diddy's assistant, hoping they would get him to stop. Cassie just sat on the couch, unmoved. I don't think he cared. Wow. Whew, okay, so while Diddy was banging on the door, Cassie just sat there on the couch, unmoved, according to Carrie Morgan's testimony. Quote, I don't think she really cared if Diddy came in and unalived her. Eventually, Diddy left, never gaining access to the apartment. Cops arrived at some point, but Carrie can't remember who called the cops. Cassie would not cooperate with the officers, and they left after Cassie refused to identify herself or speak to them. She said she also encouraged Cassie to call the police after the 2016 hotel altercation. This is coming from CNN.com 1 minute ago. The jury saw text messages. Oh, this is some evidence. This is some evidence against Diddy. Okay, so it's not just she said anymore. Now we got some text messages we're looking at, okay? And the jury saw text messages between Carrie Morgan, Cassie's former best friend, and KK, that's Christina Karam, one of Diddy's assistants. These text messages were after the police came following the incident at the Intercontinental. Carrie Morgan sent Christina Karam, so Cassie's best friend, sent Diddy's assistant picture of the detective's business card and wrote that the officer was looking for anyone to say the wrong thing so she can call domestic abuse. This is interesting. I want to see the actual exhibit. So they apparently looked at these text messages in court today as an exhibit. And it was where Cassie's former best friend, who was her best friend at the time, sent Christina Karam. Now, this is 2016. It would be 2 years after this incident that this best friend would no longer want to be Cassie's friend anymore. She'd be done with it. So at the time, she was still her best friend. Carrie Morgan was in town actually to see Cassie and go to her premiere. Remember, Cassie talked about this premiere? So she sent Karam a photo of the detective's business card. So the best friend sent the assistant a photo of the detective's business card, kind of threatening, like, this guy's just looking to do something. He's just looking for something. What, quote, anyone to say the wrong thing so she can call domestic abuse. The messages were read out loud in court. Cassie just asked me to send you that. The message said, again, from Cassie's friend to Christina Karam. Cassie didn't send these messages, her friend did. But she said Cassie asked her to send it. Carrie Morgan testified that she did encourage Cassie to speak with police that day. She said that she never called law enforcement when Diddy was violent because Cassie didn't want her to. Let's see if Inner City Press has anything new. I do see we have some updates on New York Post. Okay. Seven minutes ago, did Diddy ever assault you? Carrie said, yes. He hit me with a wooden coat hanger and choked me. I did not know he choked Carrie Morgan. Breaking news. At least maybe I knew that. I don't remember. Where did the hanger hit you? She said, behind my right ear. So right here. What did he express concern about? The concern was who Cassie was cheating on him with. And who did you speak to about it? Carrie said, Ryan, Diddy's old assistant. And what did Ryan do? Carrie goes, nothing. I haven't spoken with Cassie since. And I don't blame her. I mean, her life was in danger. It looks like if what she's saying is true. We got 2 new updates from NBC. Now, last thing we read from NBC is that Diddy had mood swings and he could be very aggressive. 12 minutes ago, Morgan recalls multiple acts of violence by Diddy, flying off the handle, beating Cassie with seemingly no provocation. Carrie first detailed an incident. And again, this is going to really not be helpful for Diddy's defense. Because remember, Diddy's defense is they would get in these intense arguments over infidelity. Money, infidelity, whatever. This is from Adam Rice, Doha Madini, and David K. Lee, allegedly from NBC News, allegedly flying off the handle and beating Cassie with seemingly no provocation. So no provoking. So not nothing about cheating, nothing about none of that. Sure, sometimes he would be worried she was cheating, but sometimes it was no reason. She just took too long in the bathroom. Quote, Cassie had gone to the bathroom. And after a few minutes, Diddy said she was taking too long. And he left me. And then I heard her screaming. It was guttural, terrifying. I heard her screaming. So I went to the long hallway. And they were coming out of the master bedroom. And he was dragging her by her hair. Diddy then dragged Cassie outside and threw her to the ground, where she hit her head on a brick. Then Cassie ran away in a golf cart and hit. And then Carrie found her. And they hid in a ditch. This was the Jamaica incident. And Diddy searched for them in another golf cart for hours. In a second incident, Carrie told the court that she was with Diddy and Cassie at a house that Diddy was renting in Hollywood Hills in LA. She saw Diddy allegedly hit or kick Cassie. Carrie urged the music mogul's security guard, Ruben, punk bitch, to do something, and he refused. She told the court that she and Cassie left the house to hide in a neighbor's place behind the stairs. She heard Diddy driving by to look for them. Ultimately, Cassie did return to Diddy's house. Cassie didn't feel she could leave. 7 minutes ago, Adam Rice and Doha Madini from NBC News update more. Cassie didn't feel she could leave Diddy because of her job. Carrie testified that though she urged Cassie to speak to the police about Diddy's abuse, she refused due to what that would mean for her career and her livelihood. Prosecutor Meredith Foster, so we have another prosecutor asking, asked Carrie whether she had ever spoken with Cassie about she would, I don't know, some type of typo. I'm just going to make some guesses. This sentence doesn't really make sense, but I'll just fill in some words where I think what they're trying to say. Prosecutor asked Carrie whether Carrie ever talked to Cassie about why it is she would stay with Diddy, and Cassie said, and Carrie Morgan told the court Cassie would talk to her about it often. So she testified today that she and Cassie would speak about why Cassie couldn't leave Diddy often. I wanted her to do what she wanted to do, but I told her she could leave him. I told her she could do what she wanted to do, but I told her she should leave him. And she said she couldn't because of her job, her car, her apartment. It was apparent to Carrie Morgan that after Cassie spent time with people associated with Diddy, she did not want to leave him. 4 minutes ago, NBC gives another update. Diddy gave Morgan a concussion. Okay, more information is coming out about Carrie Morgan and the details of that hanger incident where she was paid. She claims, quote, paid her off. Let's see what she says. Again, Adam Rice and Doha Madini from NBCnews.com. Carrie Morgan recounts the alleged assault she personally endured from Diddy that ended her almost 2 decades of friendship with Cassie. She testified that she was at Cassie's house listening to music when Diddy came into Cassie's apartment. So they're at Cassie's apartment, listening to music, minding their business, and Diddy just barged in. Cassie was in the bathroom. And Carrie said she was in the living room at that time. He came up behind me and choked me and left finger marks on my neck and hit me in the head with a wooden hanger. Cassie was in the bathroom. He hit me right behind the ear. She got a concussion. She said that Diddy was talking about Cassie cheating on him, and then she grabbed her personal things and left. She said she went to an urgent care for concussion, noting she was dizzy and she vomited a few times. She hired a lawyer, but she did not file a lawsuit. Instead, she got a $30,000 settlement from Diddy, and she signed an NDA. We haven't spoken since, meaning Cassie. The last time I spoke to Diddy was the night of the assault, and the last time I saw Cassie was when I signed the NDA. Interesting. Okay, let's go to Mirror, Mirror US. I don't think anything new here. They're a little behind over there. Okay, CNN, we just caught up on 4 new entries from New York Post. Hold on one second. I need to send a message. Hold on. I gotta just send a text. Hold on one second. Okay. So we just get a separate account from the New York Post of this incident. Let's see if we get some more details. The one with the 2 times. Oh, wait, we might have already read that. Hold on. Peril on the front steps. Happened in January. A group of friends, trip to Jamaica. Got incensed. She took too long. So the Jamaica incident was whenever Cassie took too long in the bathroom, apparently. She saw Diddy drag Cassie on the floor 10 feet before grabbing her purse. And they ran and hid in a ditch. All right. So 14 minutes ago, Diddy tried to bust open Cassie's front door with a hammer after the infamous hotel beating. Diddy tried to bust down the front door at the home of his then girlfriend Cassie with a hammer following the infamous, caught on video, hotel beating of her. Her former best friend Carrie Morgan was at Cassie's house when her friend arrived with a black eye. And then Diddy showed up 30 minutes later. He was hitting the door with a hammer to try to open it. Carrie said she was terrified when she saw Diddy through the peephole using a tool to try to break in. Oh my gosh. And it does look like Cassie was just zoned out, according to the testimony. So this is more new details. I'm glad we're reading this because Carrie said she looked out the peephole of the apartment and she saw Diddy out there and he had some type of tool trying to break in. She said Cassie looked numb. I was freaking out. I don't think Cassie cared if Diddy came in to try and unalive her. The scene unfolded after Diddy was caught on hotel surveillance film viciously attacking Cassie in the hallway of the Intercontinental Hotel, Century City. So he left from that. He didn't just calm down. He came still, I mean, this is like an hour later, 30 minutes later, he still came to the apartment banging on the door. 3 new updates from CNN. Cassie could not leave Diddy because he, quote, controlled everything. Wow, this is starting to fill in more details of the racketeering conspiracy, force, fraud, coercion. She could not leave Diddy because he controlled everything. The friends would talk often about how Cassie's relationship with Diddy Carrie said she would tell Cassie do what she wanted to do, but she advised her that she should leave Diddy. But Cassie would say she couldn't. When the prosecution asked why Cassie would say that, Morgan said it was because of her job, her car, her apartment. He controlled everything. She would have lost all of her livelihood. Aside from her, Carrie said most of their friends were employed by or associated with Diddy. Okay, so other than Carrie Morgan, who Cassie was friends with, most of her friends were employed by or associated with Diddy. So the enterprise is what the government is going to argue, and I wasn't there. Innocent proven guilty. But she could see the other people who were working with Combs were influencing Cassie. After Cassie would hang out with those people, she did not want to leave Diddy. You could tell, quote, they were convincing her. They were convincing her what? To stay. Because Diddy was trying to make them, this is the government's argument. Diddy was making them. They were the enterprise. They were doing his bidding. Oh, we get some more details here. New York Post 1 minute ago. The reason Diddy beat Cassie's best friend was to find out who she was cheating on him with. See, this is a little bit different testimony too. Because Cassie said the reason that Diddy beat Carrie was because he came in the apartment and saw that they were about to do substances together. Now, it doesn't differ that much because Carrie did say that her and Cassie did do substances together. So the story kind of still lines up. But the reason for Diddy beating Carrie does seem to be slightly different. Because again, Cassie said the beating of Carrie with the wooden hanger was because of some substance activity that her and Carrie were doing. Carrie is saying it was to find out intel as to who Cassie was cheating on Diddy with. This was again in 2016. Oh, no, sorry, it's 2018. Carrie, the ex-best, and it must have been Alex Fine. Oh my God, the plot thickens. I'm not gonna be able to take a lunch, y'all. I'm gonna have to go through lunch because they're about to be back from lunch already. Wow, this is crazy. Okay, in 2018, when Cassie started dating Alex Fine, I don't know when she started dating him off the top of my head, but in 2018, Diddy came to Cassie's apartment in Hollywood Hills and attacked her from behind. Now, this is 2 separate incidents. One in 2016 after the infamous Intercontinental Hotel incident. Another in 2018, 2 years later, but also still at Cassie's apartment. This time, her apartment in the Hollywood Hills. Diddy came up behind her and started attacking her from behind. He choked me when I got up. He boomeranged. So he did throw the hanger. He boomeranged a hanger at my head. Not hit. He did throw it. So whoever said that Washington Post, he did throw it. According to this, at least. I don't know. We get in different reportings. She said that Diddy actually left finger marks on her neck. He hit her behind the ear with a wooden coat hanger. The Bad Boy Records producer wanted to know who Cassie was cheating on him with. Carrie said, I had no idea. After Morgan went to an urgent care facility, she had a concussion from the assault. She was dizzy and even threw up a few times from the beating, she claimed. She said she lawyered up and planned to sue, but she didn't end up bringing a civil claim against Diddy because he paid her off $30,000. Cassie met with Carrie at a pizza place in Hollywood. This is why they don't talk anymore. I'm sure Diddy put Cassie up to this, but this is a lot of new information. Well, it's one sentence, not a lot, but it does give us a lot of context. Cassie met with Carrie at a pizza place in Hollywood and accused her best friend of, quote, over exaggerating. And I do think Cassie probably did think this, because I think she was so numbed out to it that like everyone in her entire life was gaslighting her and telling her like it's not that big of a deal. So when someone else was like, yeah, no, I'm not getting beat in the head, I threw up, I had a concussion, and Cassie's like, oh my God, chill out. He's done way worse to me, girl. And it's like this friend is like, we can't talk anymore, girl. I can't talk to you anymore. Cassie had Carrie sign a non-disclosure agreement. That was the last time they ever spoke to each other. Dang, that's sad. That is really sad, y'all. All right, let me see if the Independent's doing anything. I just heard her screaming. Guttural, terrifying. I heard screaming, so I went to the long hallway. He was dragging by the hair. I thought she was knocked out. 10 minutes ago, the Independent, Katie Hawkinson. He came up behind. This is a quote. He came up behind me and choked me and left finger marks on my neck and hit me in the head with a wooden hanger. Here's what I want to know. How did he knew that Cassie was in the bathroom at this time to be able to sneak up on somebody? Like, maybe he didn't. Maybe he was just going to sneak up and beat them both. He came up behind me, choked me, and left finger marks on my neck. This is a quote. And hit me in the head with a wooden hanger. Cassie was in the bathroom and hit me right behind the ear. We haven't spoken since. The last time I spoke to Diddy was the night of the assault, and the last time I saw Cassie was when I signed the NDA. So it's Cassie. They sent Cassie to get the NDA signed. She's the enforcer against her own freaking friend. Oh my God. Carrie said Diddy paid her $30,000 after she signed an NDA, and Cassie said she went, and said she went to urgent care. That's Ventura, but I think it's Morgan. 10 minutes ago, the court went on a short lunch break. Let's go to Inner City Press. Who did you speak to about it? Ryan, Diddy's old assistant. And what did Ryan do? Remember we read this one, most recent Inner City Press tweet. What did Ryan, the assistant, do? Carrie shrugged, like, nothing. I haven't spoken with Cassie since then. Okay, so the jury gets dismissed for lunch, but everybody else stays in and they're doing some arguing about what stuff is coming in. The judge looks over to, well, see, they had like a break, right? So I guess they did like a little sidebar. Then the judge asks the assistant U.S. attorney, what's your best citation to try to get this evidence in? I don't know what evidence they're talking about. And then they cite to some federal statutes. We got 614 F339. We got the federal. I don't know what these citations are. I'll look at them when we come back, the judge said. I'll look at them and we'll come back, the judge said. Mark Agnifilo said, I haven't seen this before. The judge said, okay, everybody needs to go get something to eat. Shoo. Yeah, big. Somebody said, Uche, he's comment on everything. That guy, Joel, I don't know if he's Uche or Joel. Big shocker for the defense team, cry emoji face. And I think it is. Look, what's your best citation to get this evidence in? The government gives some citations. And the judge says, okay, I'll look at them and we'll come back. And then here's Mark Agnifilo. I haven't seen this before, Your Honor. I haven't seen this. Let me send a text. Okay. So the judge sent them on their way. Let's see who else is saying anything here, because I want to know what they were arguing about. Let me go to Pacer. Let me go to Pacer and see if anything's been filed today. Wouldn't that be fun? The jury is scheduled to come back in, like, I think 20 minutes, 15 minutes. So I'm just going to go through. Because this morning I felt kind of rushed. Like, I felt like I started too late and I've just been playing catch up. So I just don't want to feel like that again. I'm just looking up the docket for Diddy's case. I want to see if anything's been actually docketed or filed. Yes. We do have some things. Oh, nice. Nice. The judge is not playing any games. Breaking news. Breaking news. Pooh, he is not playing with these freaking people. No, he is not. Because I think the judge might be suspecting that at least one of these parties, namely Sean Puffy Perfect Combs, is trying to do some gamesmanship to maybe like angle for a possible potential mistrial. Here's the judge giving an order. The following procedures. This just came out today. Filed today, docket number 339. The following procedures will be followed for the duration of the trial. Let me actually print this out. I mean, not print this out. Let me actually say this on my computer. Because every document I get, I have to pay for it. And if I don't download it to my own computer, then I have to pay for it again every time. It's like just a few cents. But so they are going, Mel. Thank you, Mel, for the 199 super chat and letting me know they are going to go 9 p.m. today, 9 a.m. today and ends at 3. So 9 to 3 is the new schedule. Thank you. Let me pull up this order the judge just issued. Okay, let me see. Can I make it bigger? Can y'all see that? Okay, judge ain't playing around. All right. He said the following procedures will be followed for the duration of the trial. Failure to adhere to these procedures, absent a showing of good cause, is going to lead to the preclusion of untimely disclosed witnesses and evidence, or the waiver of untimely raised objections. Okay, so if y'all don't follow these rules that I'm about to tell y'all right now in this order, then that means you can't bring it up in the future. You can't say, oh, Your Honor, it's not fair. I object. If you could have brought it up earlier and you don't, too bad, so freaking sad. Secondly, if you could have told about a witness on the witness list and you don't, in the way that I'm about to tell y'all how to do it right here, then then you can't bring that witness. Sorry. By 10 each Sunday, legal issues addressed in advance. So this is category number 1. By 10 o'clock at night each Sunday and every single trial day. Okay, so by 10. So stop sending me crap at midnight. Okay, here's your deadline, stupids. I have stuff to do. All right. Every trial I have to sleep. Okay, occasionally. The parties are required to notify the court of any legal issues that need to be addressed the following day. This includes objections based on produced exhibits. This includes objections based on a review of the materials, including the 3,500 materials for witnesses prepared to testify the next day, and anything else that requires attention. The parties should meet and confer prior to that deadline to narrow the issue in dispute. The judge is not playing. Okay, he's not playing around with these people. Let me just save it. Okay, this is docket 339, I think, right? All right. Okay, so that was the legal issue. So don't come in my court. Oh, sorry, hold on. I wonder if Usher's gonna get called to testify for Diddy or Jimmy Iovine. All right. Sorry, it's just like if I don't do this in real time, it doesn't get done and my stuff's all unorganized and I can't bring it up when I want to show y'all. So sorry, it's just the best I could do here. Okay, here's that order. So that was for the legal issues. They need to be addressed in advance. So if we have trial the next day and there's gonna be a legal issue, I don't want it brought up in my court. I want it brought up the night before, and including on Sunday. Yes, Sunday. Now moving on. Exhibits. By May 19th at 8 a.m. That's today. So I guess this must have been sent out more recently. I don't know. This was docketed today. So I don't know when the judge actually sent it. When's it dated? 2 days ago. 2 days ago, this judge did this order. Look, today's May 19th. He did this order on Friday. Okay, so it's just hitting the docket now. Why? I don't know. Very weird. By today at 8 a.m., a list of all admitted exhibits shall be furnished to the court. The parties should meet and confer in advance to make sure the list is agreed upon. Okay, so look, we're already getting them. They already didn't do it. They already didn't do it right. Because here's Mark Agnifilo just moments ago in court going, Your Honor, we didn't know. We did not know. We don't know about this. The parties shall update the admitted exhibit list daily and submit the updated list to chambers. Again, not to the docket. Just send a super secret secret clubhouse meeting email to the judge. You don't have to actually docket any of this. By 7 p.m. on each trial day, which is Monday through Friday, unless there's some type of holiday, Diddy and his lawyers are going to provide the government. So at the end of every single trial day, by 7 p.m. every trial day, Diddy's team must provide the government with all exhibits that they are going to use for any purpose other than to impeach or to refresh the witness's recollection the next day. For each Monday, the defendant will provide the exhibits by 5 p.m. on the Sunday before. Okay, fine. The government will not show the relevant witnesses the exhibits. Okay, good. Disclosed in this fashion unless the government independently plans to review such material with the witness. Okay, so you can't. The judge is giving like a little bit of like allowance. Like, okay, like Diddy has to send the government, the feds, his exhibits that he's going to use like the next day. He only has to send it 1 day in advance. But Diddy's team had expressed being concerned and worried about the government then like basically coaching the witnesses on that. Okay, so by yesterday at 5 p.m., the government was supposed to have furnished the list of witnesses it intended to call during the week of May 19th, this week. Okay, so by 5 p.m. yesterday, the government was supposed to have given the witness list to the other side of all the witnesses that they were going to call during this week only. So I guess week by week basis. They don't have to give the whole entire witness list forever. The government should follow this practice for every week during this case. Also, by today at 8 a.m., the feds are supposed to furnish a full witness list and anticipated order of witnesses to the court. And they could do that where only the judge can see. So the feds were concerned about giving the full witness list with the order to the court because they were saying Diddy is going to witness tamper. So the judge is like, okay, fine, just send it to me. It can be a super secret until it comes out. That's fine. So the judge says, if y'all don't follow these rules, raising the legal arguments, your legal issues, talking about evidence, hearsay, this, that, the other, by 10 o'clock the night before trial, the next day, then you waived it. You can't make that argument. If y'all don't follow these rules about exhibits where y'all have to actually send them back and forth to each other so we stop wasting time in my courtroom, then I'm going to say, no, nobody can use that evidence. And if y'all don't tell which witnesses each week are going to be at trial each week, including feds, you can't call that witness. You have to tell them that week. And you need to send me a list by, I guess the judge already has this list, but Diddy doesn't have this list. Nobody has a list except the judge and the prosecution. Okay, there is another document. So let me pull that one up as well. It's an order. Let me show y'all. Okay, docket 340. It's an order as to a motion that was filed for an alleged supposed S worker, maybe, who developed some type of romantic feelings for Cassie, I think. I am going to pull this one up separately as well. Just bear with me for 1 moment if you do not mind. If you do mind, I'm not sorry, get off my channel, bye. It really is just easier. That is the real reason. Because like if I do it all here, then I have to pay for it again. It's more expensive. Then I have to lost where I did it. Then I don't know if I read it. It's just like a whole thing. Okay, so 25. What is it? The 19th. This is document 340 order, re Clayton Howard. Okay. Now, this apparently is some type of like book or journal or memoir or diary, notes, something like that from this person, Clayton Howard. Now, Clayton Howard, interestingly, is represented by Tyrone Blackburn. Tyrone Blackburn is also Lil Rod Jones's lawyer. So Clayton Howard, to hear Tyrone Blackburn say it, Clayton Howard was actually writing that stuff down as like lawyer-client protected material. And as you all mostly know, thank you, that girl from yonder. As y'all, I'm just reading some of y'all's comments. I do want to get to some of those super chats. Oh my God, stop. Nicole, no way. Nicole2282 said Tyrone Blackburn was in Sloan Bella's chat last night. This is the psychic of YouTube. I mean, Sloan Bella did. I don't care if you believe in a psychic or not. I don't care if you think this is real or not. She predicted down to the month, a year in advance, exactly when Diddy was going to be in trouble with the law. Now, some other stuff she's also predicted makes me nervous if it happens that way. But very interesting indeed, to say the least. Okay, so let me show y'all this Clayton Howard thing. To hear Tyrone Blackburn say it, all right, his client was writing these memories down as to lawyer-client protected material. This wasn't supposed to be for publication. It was confidential. This was what's called privileged. Privileged. Oh my goodness, who did this? Michelle Groves. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Thank you, JW, for the $49.99 super chat. I'm gonna read y'all's comments too. Michelle, thank you. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Do I remember the song? Oh, I gotta read y'all stuff, but literally, I'm like, go girl. Nadine, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Informative, hilarious, yet FU, leave the channel. Finally found a channel covered. Love your commentary. Thank you so much. I'm gonna get to some more of those, but I want to show y'all this other order from the judge. Okay. The judge did say that he needed to think about it over the weekend. So it's not like it was like a slam dunk home run. He said the court has reviewed the motion to quash the subpoena. Based on the court's review of the materials in question, the materials are not privileged and should be produced. All right, so Diddy wins on this one call. The judge said, turn it over. The motion to quash is docketed by May 19th. Clayton Howard's thoughts and opinions are coming in. The judge said they are not privileged. He said, I reviewed the motion to quash, I reviewed the subpoena, and I reviewed Diddy's response to the motion to quash. So Diddy sent a subpoena to Clayton Howard for his notes, his book, his journal, whatever, his recollections. Actually, I think I have that document. I can even show y'all the subpoena. Then the government, or Clayton, maybe it was Tyrone Blackburn, filed a motion to quash. Yeah, it was docket 338. So let me just show y'all what that looks like so we know what the judge was deciding on. Okay, so this is from Shapiro Arato. This court should deny. Okay, so this is the subpoena. So see that blue right there? I think that was the judge that edited that blue in, but this is the subpoena. All to Clayton Howard, courtesy of Tyrone Blackburn, who's his lawyer. All written materials and notes you are commanded to produce. All written materials and notes you have created concerning your memories of events relevant to the above captioned case, including, but not limited to, the portions of the written journal you have been maintaining that document your memories. Okay, so what did Diddy? This is Diddy. This is from Tina Garagos. This was sent a week ago. This is a subpoena from 1 week ago. So Diddy's lawyers are still sending out subpoenas. You were commanded, Diddy's lawyer said to Clayton Howard, which is Tyrone Blackburn's client, you were commanded to produce all written materials and notes you have created concerning your memories of events relevant to the Diddy case, including the written journal you have been maintaining that document those memories. Now, why exactly did the judge grant this, right? So the judge issued the subpoena, allowed the subpoena to be issued. He was commanded. Then immediately, instead of turning over that journal, Tyrone Blackburn argued back, no, motion to quash the subpoena. This is irrelevant and it's privileged. Then Diddy writes back this whole entire thing. The court should deny Clayton Howard's motion to quash. He's unable to meet his burden to establish that these are protected. But then again, look, all of this redacted. I think that probably the guy is probably writing a book. I mean, he's probably writing a book, if I had to guess. I don't know what the proprietary authorship is. Anyway, re-freaking-dacted. Exactly. So let me see if they're back in the courtroom or not yet. Let's go back to Inner City Press. Oh, he made a video. Let's see what he had to say. Courthouse. Well, let me read first his actual caption. Tasha said, who wrote the journal in question? I'm calling it a journal as shorthand. It's some type of document, some type of something, notes or something. Clayton Howard, he's allegedly a S worker that had incidents with Cassie and Diddy. I don't know if this is true or not. We're going to have to see when it comes up who he is. Could I look up the case's reference? No, I can't. I don't know what you're talking about. Here is Inner City Press, Vlog 2. Diddy morning session, cross of Dawn Richard by Nicole Westmoreland, lies alleged, direct examination of Carrie Morgan from Jamaica golf cart to wooden hanger assault, and judge's grant to Inner City Press application to docket, but on delay. Okay, so let's see.
Okay, here we are. Matthew Wesley, Inner City Press, in Southern District of New York. Courthouse. We're halfway through day 6 of U.S. versus Sean Combs. On the stand in the morning, Dawn Richard, previously of Danity Kane and Diddy Dirty Money. She testified as she had on Friday, about witnessing violence against Cassie Ventura, etc. Then on Cross, they switched it up. They brought in their new lawyer from Georgia, the ninth member of the Dream Team for Sean Combs, Nicole Westmoreland, straight off the YSL trial down in Atlanta. And I have to say, she went hard at Dawn Richard. She questioned her about her 3500 material, interviews that she'd done with the government, when she hadn't said that she saw the alleged assault, that she had various inconsistencies. And now it's very hard to tell the same story exactly the same way, but she really highlighted for the jury some inconsistencies in the various tales. But Dawn Richard, to her credit, said like things she remembered more the more she thought about it. There were also questions about her civil suit.
So I really like to take the opinion or the perspective of Inner City Press, because I do find him to be like not biased one way or the other. He does seem to just kind of go straight for the facts. And he did say it like, to her credit, as if it did appear like maybe she was able to kind of rehabilitate some of that impeachment by saying, like I literally blocked this out of my memory and tried not to think about it on purpose. So the more I've been thinking about it for my own lawsuit, the more I've been thinking about it for the government's lawsuit, I have just been able to remember more. And that's just take it or leave it.
And that she had a monetary message. Next witness, and still on the stand as we go in after the break, Carrie Morgan, the best quote-unquote best friend of Cassie Ventura, although she hasn't spoken to her since 2018 when Sean Combs assaulted Carrie Morgan. She ran through various violent incidents, including one in Jamaica, in which she said Cassie Ventura had been dragged by the hair, and Carrie Morgan, and Sean Combs both got on golf carts and went in different directions looking for her. There's going to be some cross. I think it's going to be done by Nicola. We'll see how it goes. Some are saying that maybe Westmoreland should have done the cross of Cassie. It's not without just saying in terms of how it was done. It was done in quite an aggressive way. We'll just have to see.
Okay, I don't know if y'all not. Sorry, I'm eating M&M because I'm working through lunch, so I'm having lunch at my desk. I'm on one M&M. Inner City Press. Matthew Russell Lee just said, "Here, chatter going around. Nicole Westmoreland should have been the one to cross-examine Cassie." And actually, I thought that she would be. I am surprised. I'm surprised Nicole Westmoreland did not cross-examine Cassie. I thought that's why she was getting brought on, to cross-examine the alleged victims. Inner City Press is reporting 4 minutes ago outside the Southern District of New York courthouse. I mean, he's the one whose tweets we've been reading for weeks. Over a year, actually, I think. He is saying that people heard chatter around the courthouse. Nicole Westmoreland maybe should have been the one to cross-examine Cassie because she was so aggressive. I'm certain there was a reason for that, though. I'm certain there was a reason they didn't want the aggressive person to be cross-examining Cassie or whatever. And pretty much all lawyers do have the ability to turn on that like aggression. So Inner City Press is saying that they're expecting maybe Mark Agnifilo to actually be doing the cross-examination now of Carrie Morgan. She did cross-examine Dawn Richard, but now they're expecting maybe Mark Agnifilo to be the one cross-examining Carrie. Now, I don't know if the government is done with their questions of Carrie or if they have more on the direct examination. We will have to see. Let's see what else he says.
In last week, Inner City Press, we filed an application saying that there's far too much not going into the docket. Every morning, the lawyers argue and talk about what they put in overnight to the judge, and none of it's in the docket. So we filed it. Nothing was said until today. Judge Serbian said, we have an application from the press that everything should be docketed, everything that you've done so far, redacted as necessary, and file it next Tuesday. In 8 days? And thereafter, once a week. I don't think that's how it's supposed to go.
I don't think it's how it's supposed to go either, Matthew Russell Lee.
That's the idea that it's delayed so that they can redact things. But I haven't seen such a delay on docketing, so we'll just...
And he's probably been in more court cases than Judge Subramanian.
So we might have to file again, but for now.
He said we might have to file again.
We have to go back in. We put up an ebook. It's on Google Play for reasons that I've explained elsewhere.
So he does have an ebook that y'all can go and get of the first week of trial. And he said he's going to be putting out a book every week about the weeks of trial. Maybe at the end he'll put out one big book. Okay, let's go to Washington Post. They keep on teasing us with this Tanea Wallace Washington Post article. And this is, I hope they bring in soft white underbelly. I mean, my God, I hope they bring in Mark Laita. I hope he gets what he deserves one day. But they keep on bringing her up. She did an interview on Mark Laita's soft white underbelly. And this woman's child was 13 years old. Perhaps maybe had just turned 14, but I think she was just turned 13. She went on the same show. She went on soft white underbelly online on Mark Laita's channel. And she, a 13-year-old, she did not have it. Well, she had on a bathing suit top. You could see straight through it. Like it was like a mesh bathing suit top. And this grown man sat in a room with this baby, 13-year-old. This one right here is her daughter. So this one right here is Tanea. Tanea's daughter's name is Nova. Or I think her real name is Renaya. And then after she went on, and when she was on there, she's like, you could see her bare chest, the child. It was not censored at first. And Mark Laita was asking her about S-work, about doing stuff with grown men. This one right here, her daughter. So then this one right here also had gone on soft white underbelly herself. And she had done her own interview. And she talked about going to a Diddy party. Look, in late 2022, well before Diddy got into trouble, a man in LA approached Tanea Wallace with an offer. He was a scout for soft white underbelly, photographer Mark Laita's YouTube channel about people struggling with issues like abuse or addiction. Wallace, an aspiring singer, and she can sing, who sometimes made money doing S-work, took Mark Laita up on it for $300, sitting for his camera and talking about her life. In the interview, she recounted an alleged incident from 2018. Again, another 2018 incident. We cannot escape this year. And that was the year right after Diddy got that goddess of women and children on his back. So she says it was in 2018, a crown prince of Brunei flew Tanea. She said the crown prince of Brunei flew her from LA to Miami with a promise to help her singing career. Once she was there, he took her to a party on Star Island. That's where Diddy lived. an uber-exclusive man-made enclave home to celebrities such as rapper Rick Ross, retired basketball player Shaquille O'Neal, and Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Combs. The music mogul was throwing the party, so Diddy was throwing the party. Security guards took Tanea's phone before she could wander through the property. She entered quite a scene, as she recently described in a Washington Post interview. Topless waitresses served drinks by the pool, she said. Inside, woozy partygoers were having relations as if nobody was watching. She eventually encountered Diddy outside on a patio couch. At some point, she says he started taking care of himself. The judge, hold on. Okay, one new update. That was Washington Post. 1 minute ago. See, I'm glad I didn't take a lunch break. The court has returned from lunch break 1 minute ago, and the judge ruled against. Okay, good. All right, so I actually get a little bit relief and happy whenever I see the judge rules in Diddy's favor on stuff from time to time, because it's, first of all, I do believe in everybody's right to a fair trial, but also Diddy is going to appeal this if he gets convicted. So there needs to be a appearance at the very least that it was fair. So Diddy gets another win. He's gotten a couple today. The court has returned from a lunch break, and the judge ruled against allowing testimony from Carey Morgan regarding comments Cassie allegedly made about not wanting to go to a hotel with Diddy. Okay, so this is like a hearsay thing. The judge isn't letting it come in. Comments Cassie made to Carey Morgan about not wanting to go to the hotel with Diddy. The government wanted to pursue this line of questioning as part of its assertion that Cassie felt forced to participate in freak-offs, which frequently occurred at hotels. Note, the jury has not been called back into the courtroom yet. And whenever the judge is deciding to not let certain evidence in, one reasoning that I have seen him give is that if the evidence can come in another way, he would rather it come in another way than less reliable evidence such as hearsay. So in this case, the judge probably decided, because there's a lot of other ways to show Cassie felt forced to participate in the FOs, then we don't need to let Carey sit up here and do hearsay. Okay, we got new updates from, who is this, CBS News? Oh, wow, we got new, ooh, this is good. So a new quote, he is going crazy, he's lost it. Carey Morgan then testified about the 2018 incident in which Diddy allegedly threw a wooden hanger at her. Boomeranged, she said. Diddy was yelling at Cassie, trying to find out who she was cheating on him with. Carey said she saw an assistant. She saw an assistant of Diddy and told the assistant he's going crazy. So Carey Morgan said she told one of his assistants he's going crazy, he's lost it. She testified she got a concussion from being struck by the hanger. She would get dizzy. She visited an urgent care. A month later, Cassie told Carey Morgan, her best friend, that Diddy would pay her $30,000. But she said Morgan was milking it and over-exaggerating. She's like, all right, Diddy will pay you, but you really are milking and you are over-exaggerating. Cassie told that to her best friend that got assaulted at her apartment, allegedly. Carey signed an NDA, and she never spoke about it again. The court then took a lunch break. NBC has a new update. 9 minutes ago, both sides have returned from lunch, and the court is back in session. Morgan will return to the witness stand, but the judge is first listening to arguments for a motion. I moved on. Carey has said, I didn't want to be here in court today. Quote, I have moved on with my life away from all these people and their problems. A new update from CNN.com. Judge is back on the bench. The judge is back on the bench talking with the lawyers. The witness and the jury are not back yet. One new entry from New York Post. She said she had no idea who Cassie was cheating on him with. Pizza place in Hollywood. So I guess there's not actually a new one here. Let's see the Independent. Court went on lunch break. Okay, nothing new there. Let's go to Inner City Press. Okay, 12 minutes ago, they're back from lunch. Nice. If you need something, so here, I'm going to share this too. All right, 12 minutes ago, they're back from break. If I let this in, Cassie could be recalled as a witness. Okay. All right, so we do get the reason why the judge did deny letting Carey talk about this. He said, if I let this evidence in, Cassie can be recalled as a witness. The assistant U.S. attorney's like, oh, Your Honor, please, I doubt we're going to recall her back. And the judge is like, nope, Sherlock. Diddy could recall her as a witness. You can't do hearsay on what Cassie said and then not question her on it. The assistant U.S. attorney said, well, I doubt that Cassie would be available for the defense. So then the judge goes, right. So for that reason, you can't question Carey about what she heard Cassie say in this incident. Okay, so that's out. Okay, 7 minutes ago, breaking news. The judge anticipates that Mr. David James will be the next witness. How is he relevant? The assistant U.S. attorney said, oh, Your Honor, it's because of the means and the methods of the enterprise, Diddy threatening to assault employees. While waiting for the jury to come back in, here is court art of Diddy's second Georgia lawyer, Nicole Westmoreland, as she cross-examined Dawn Richard this morning. Courtesy to Inner City Press by the artist, Elizabeth Williams, maybe the cover of week 2 trial book. Awesome. That's cool. That might be his trial book cover, week 2. Nice. 5 minutes ago. 1 minute ago. Jury entering. No further questions for Miss Morgan, Your Honor. Okay. Judge says, oh, I got another little hammer, gavel. Hold on. It's like a little smaller. I still need my block though. Court is back in session. No further questions, Your Honor, said the prosecutors. Okay, so now it's time for, we're going to finally get to see Mark freaking Agnifilo. He hasn't done nothing at this trial so far as like questioning, talking, other than arguing. He didn't do the opening statement. He didn't do any of the cross-examination yet. So he says to Carey, you were Cassie's best friend since 2004. She said, actually 2001. We met waiting for the Polaroids to develop. I was living in Buffalo. She was living in Connecticut. Clinch him up, Her Earl's Majesty said. He's funny. All right, let me do a post. Oh, wait, I want to do a quote. Carrie Morgan cross-examination begins. Agnifilo piping up for the first time, other than arguments. All right. Out the gate, Agnifilo's not doing too good. Now, I have to say, you can think somebody is like a little bit diabolical and like appreciate the craft, you know, like appreciate the art of the trial lawyering, right? And so I've really been looking forward to see what Mark Agnifilo is made of, okay? Because he has a good reputation for getting, you know, winning and stuff. So right out the gate, I'm expecting him to just, you know, shut it down. You know, I'm expecting him to start boom, boom, boom. So you say you were best friends since 2004. Actually, no, 2001. But yeah, we met waiting for Polaroids to develop. I was living in Buffalo, New York, and she was living in Connecticut. Okay. Sorry, I thought I heard something. Gene Deal is at the courthouse. What is he doing? Gene, Uncle Gene, that's what you wore? You went inside with that on? Sir, call me. I will consult with what you need to wear if you're going to go to court. I mean, it's cute, but you got to wear court clothes at the least. Oh my God. Former bodyguard Gene Deal. Now, I will say, nobody has brought him up as not doing anything yet. Nobody has said, oh, Gene Deal was there, and he just said, I ain't doing nothing. Please, Uncle Gene, don't make me call you a punk bitch, too. I don't want to have to do it. I don't want to have to do it like I had to do it for Ruben. But you know what? Somebody's beating up on a woman, you didn't do nothing, and you just stood there and said, I ain't doing nothing. I might have to do it. I hope not, but nobody's brought him up so far. Former bodyguard was seen arriving at the federal trial in the past year. Deal has been vocal about his former employer's alleged wrongdoing, even claiming that politicians were involved in freak-offs. It's unclear if he's going to testify in the trial as a witness for the government. Diddy has denied all allegations. Okay. There's another update from the Washington Post 5 minutes ago, Anne Brannigan. Generally, the judge decisions have been difficult to predict, and that he hasn't appeared to favor either the defense or the prosecution, which I like. I appreciate. It makes me feel like he's being fair. His demeanor on the stand throughout the trial has been somewhat professional. Talking to the court, Subramanian provides detailed reasoning for his decisions and questions the attorneys thoroughly, often repeating their arguments back to them to make sure he understands. He could be described as thorough and patient, though he does occasionally become frustrated when the sides try to revisit earlier decisions or any other behavior that threatens to slow down the proceedings. He don't like the slowing down. Let's go to CBS. We have a new update. Is that he's going crazy? He lost it? Yeah, so it's not new. NBC is claiming to have an update. All right. Prosecution, this is 7 minutes ago. NBC News. Morgan, Adam Rice, Doha Madini, the prosecution ended its direct questioning, this is 7 minutes ago, of Carrie Morgan, just moments after she returned to the stand. Diddy's defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, will cross-examine Cassie's former best friend. Let's go to the Mirror. I think they're kind of slow here. Oh, look, we get a picture of her, or a drawing, rather, illustration. Okay. That's nothing new there. 2 new updates from CNN. 8 minutes ago, lunch is over. Carrie Morgan is back on the stand. The lunch break has ended. Prosecution has said has no further questions. So the defense cross-examination will begin. Mark Agnifilo was the one who was going to do it. Okay. Okay, they do like a what was said so far. Maybe we can go revisit that later, but I just want to make sure we're not missing like the live real-time stuff. There's 2. Okay, cross-examined by Mark Agnifilo. Okay, so they were caught up there. Let me refresh the Independent. They haven't said anything since the lunch break. Okay. We got some more tweets from Inner City Press. I anticipate Mr. James will be the next witness after Carrie Morgan, the judge said. And the judge is like, so why is this man relevant? And the feds are like, he's relevant because it shows the means and methods of the enterprise. This is the RICO case part, that count. Diddy threatening to assault employees. While waiting for the jury to come back, here is the court art of Diddy's second Georgia lawyer, Nicole Westmoreland. She cross-examines Dawn Richard this morning. So there's Dawn. There's her. Courtesy to Inner City Press by artist. Wait, this is an Inner City Press artist? Slay. Jury comes in. Mark Agnifilo out the gate gets the date wrong that they've been friends since by like 3 years. Okay, then Mark Agnifilo says, then you were both in New York City? She said, I stayed downtown. She moved to Harlem. Have you ever met Kim Porter? Carrie said, yeah, probably at a concert. Was Cassie ever jealous of Kim Porter? Carrie Morgan, which is Cassie's former best friend, she says about her former best friend, yeah, she was very jealous of Kim Porter. I mean, I'm not quoting, right? I'm just reading these tweets, but I'm just trying to give you all the sense. Because sometimes when I'm saying all these different people's names, I think it can get a little confusing. So, you were both in New York City? Yeah, I was in downtown. She was in Harlem. Have you ever met Kim Porter? She said, probably at a concert or something, yeah. Was Cassie ever jealous? Yes. So remember, Diddy's argument is like Cassie was a jealous person. Now, I also have seen some AstroTurf Media Matters accounts out here trying to tweet and trying to act like on the social media that Cassie was the one who unalived Kim Porter somehow. I mean, they won't really say anything out here on the internet. They won't say anything. Okay, let's go to Washington Post. I can't believe they got that picture of Gene Deal like that. The jury has filed back into the courtroom, and Diddy's lead counsel, Mark Agnifilo, will lead the cross-examination of Carrie Morgan, a founding partner of the white shoe law firm Agnifilo Intrader. Agnifilo has represented Martin Shkreli and NXIVM cult leader Keith Raniere, and is currently on the legal team for United Healthcare CEO shooting suspect Luigi Mangione. Okay, thank you. I don't think anything new here. I don't think anything new here. These people, they sleep. Let's see. Nothing new here. Come on, y'all. Tell me what Mark Agnifilo is saying. I'm needing to know. I need to know. This was updated 55 minutes ago. They take their lunch break very seriously at The Independent, it appears. Okay, let's see. Y'all saw me eat my lunch. It was one M&M. Okay, nothing new, nothing new. We just waiting. We waiting for some updates. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that they were saying, Cassie said, "Oh, girl was over exaggerating." Oh, we have a Cassie update. She has now put out a statement. This is Renee Anderson reporting, CBS News. Cassie, quote, glad to put this chapter of her life to rest. She shared a statement after her last day on the stand, calling it extremely challenging but remarkably empowering and healing. Oh, I've read portions of this already on here. I hope that my testimony has given the strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from abuse and fear. For me, the more I heal, the more I can remember. And the more I can remember, the more I'll never forget. I want to thank my family and my advocates for their unwavering support, and I'm grateful for all the kindness and encouragement I've received. I'm glad to put this chapter of my life to rest as I turn to focus on the conclusion of my pregnancy. And I ask for privacy for me and my growing family. Prosecutors accuse the defense of dragging out Cassie's testimony, which could have triggered a mistrial if she went into labor. Okay. Oh man, most recent tweet was still 5 minutes ago. Guess I can hit some of these. Oh, I feel like I've been behind all day until right now. Thanks so much, Christine, for the $4.99 super chat. Thanks for the trial coverage. Have a blessed day. Thank you. Thank you. It's Kim. Shout out to It's Kim. Thanks for the $5 Canadian. Smash that like. Shout out to It's Kim. She covers the trial too, both on Popcorn Planet and her own channel. Hey, BJ, really love and appreciate you. I remember you saying get migraines, headaches, 85% are caused by dehydration and lack of salt. Well, that certainly explain it. Thank you so much for the info and the $4.99 super chat. Thank you. Lauren for the $5 super chat. We need more spontaneous circa early 2000s singing. Who sings that? Was it Danny Kane? Yeah. That one. Thank you for $5 super chat. Conspiracy theory. Allie Carter is victim 3. That is quite the conspiracy theory. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Thank you to Amber for the $20 super chat. Watching this live from work. Don't tell anyone. Thanks for keep us updated. I won't tell anyone, Sarah. Proyeti. Thank you for the $20 super chat. I'm not going to tell them. Thank you for the $20. Thank you, Paige Collins, for the $4.99. Do you think that the way Diddy is moving in court, that if the jury is watching, this proves how controlling and in charge he can be? Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah. I mean, I have heard that like Diddy is basically like causing a scene. So yeah, the jury might be like, okay, Diddy's, it's obvious he is like a shot caller. Thank you for $4.99 super chat. Shout out to Mosaic Maria, becoming a member. Shout out to Sheena for the $1.99 super chat. Thank you, BJ, for all your hard work. Thanks so much, Sam. I am Sam for the $19.99 super chat. Oh, shout out to you for sure, because you're in Baton Rouge. Call in Baton Rouge. Operator. Oh my God, wait, is your name Samantha? Oh my God. Hello, Samantha, dear. I hope you're feeling fine. Thank you for the $19.99 super chat. Shout out to Ari, becoming a member. Thanks so much, JW, for the $49.99. I thought Azoff was Live Nation. Ooh, did I get this wrong? What did he say? Who was there? Jimmy Iovine. Ooh, okay. All right, y'all. I got it wrong. I stand corrected. It's a live stream. Live stream. I stand corrected. I think you are right, JW. Thank you for the correction. I do all this stuff off top of my head. Okay, so I stand corrected. Amendment. I have an amendment to make. Irving Azoff. You are right, JW. Thank you for the $49 super chat and also correcting me. Irving Azoff is Live Nation and has the house in Homely Hills. Iovine is on the board there and does have a Homely Hills house, but Rob Kardashian is now living in Homely Hills on a property where Britney was held or rented in 2012. Okay, thank you for that, JW. I must have got my memories mixed up because yes, Jimmy Iovine does have a home there, but the house I am thinking of that was like across the street from Bridges to Recovery is Jimmy Iovine. Irving Azoff. Excuse me. Okay, I stand corrected. Thank you for that. That is very weird with the Britney house too, and that Britney's in Mexico all the dang time, so you can't be like forced to come testify or whatever, like extradited to testify if you're in Mexico, which I think is interesting. Thank you, Liz, for the $1.99 super sticker. Thank you, John. At this point, most of the heavy hitters from the 90s rap scene seem to have been wrapped up in this lifestyle. This is when all the misogyny in rap started. Gen X said. Coincidence? Question mark. That is wild. This is wild. Thank you. I agree. It is kind of weird, and I am expecting and predicting somehow, some way for us to eventually end up finding out, not in this trial, but it could happen in this trial. But I feel like this trial is going to start a few more trials. And I am expecting for it to come out that music executives did invest in the private industry, the private prison industry. I am expecting that conspiracy theory in the next 5 to 10 years to be, it's a psychic prediction. Okay. It's not a fact. I am expecting the revelation to come out soon in the next 5 to 10 years that yes, and indeed, music executives did actually invest in the private prison industry, and they had a conflict of interest and they had a reason to promote a criminal lifestyle to fill these prisons. I am expecting to hear that. Thank you so much, Jen, for the $13.99 super chat. Let me, $13.99 Canadian. Let me go back to Inner City Press, see what he has said. Right now on the stand, we still have Carrie Morgan. We have Mark Agnifilo leading the cross-examination. We do have another tweet 24 seconds ago. And the other way, Oh, meaning, okay, so the last question was 11 minutes ago, so we might have missed quite a bit here, but don't worry, we're going to go through all our sources. We have Washington Post, CBS News, CNN, NBC, Mirror, New York Post, and Independent. So we'll go through all of them. But 11 minutes ago, this was the last tweet that we read from Inner City Press. When you were both in New York City, she said, I stayed downtown. Cassie moved to Harlem. Did you ever meet Kim Porter? Carrie Morgan, which is Cassie's former best friend. And Carrie Morgan says, yes, maybe like at a concert or whatever. Was Cassie jealous of Kim? She said, yeah, jealous. Cassie was jealous. What about the other way? Meaning, like, was Diddy jealous also of Cassie? Carrie said, yeah, Cassie was talking with Michael B. Jordan and Diddy got jealous. She was trying to leave Diddy. You were both using substances? Carrie said, no, we were in South Africa. This must have been for the movie. Did you learn about a woman by the name of Gina? Carrie said, yes, I did. Ooh, breaking news. Carrie Morgan said Diddy was having a full-on relationship with this little girl. Agnifilo said, why do you call her a little girl? Carrie Morgan said, because she acts like that, and she's younger than us. They probably call me a little girl, too. Let's see if Washington Post can fill us in on any details. These are details queens. Anything new? No. Let's see, CBS. Nothing new. NBC. Nothing new. Mirror. Yes. Yes. We do have something new here. Cassie 2016 assault photos revealed for the first time after being shown in court. Photos of one of Cassie's injuries from the 2016 hotel incident where Diddy physically assaulted her have circulated. The photo shows Cassie with a swollen lip. Last week, when Cassie testified, photos of her injuries were shown to the jury. That's me, a selfie of me with a fat lip, the singer said, when she was questioned about the photo used as evidence. Cassie said she took the selfies of her swollen lip in an Uber on the way home. Okay, so the whole thing happens 2016. She gets in the Uber, which a 7-foot tall man came to pick her up, remember? And she's saying it was an Uber. She went home. She had an Uber bring her home. She claimed, okay, so she goes home. In the Uber, she takes a picture of herself. She gets back to her house. Carrie Morgan is there. And Diddy is about to be on his way with a hammer and a tool to open the door up. Then that's when they call the police afterward. Diddy leaves. The police show up and Cassie won't talk to him, but then he does leave a card, a business card, like a detective card. And then that picture of that detective card gets taken by Carrie Morgan, Cassie's best friend in 2016, and sent over to Christina Carmon and said, this man is ready to investigate if anybody want to act stupid. She claimed that she texted following the incident, quote, I have a premiere for the biggest thing I've ever done in my life on Monday. You are sick for thinking it's okay to do what you've done. Please stay away from me. Cassie said Carrie became upset when she saw Cassie's face and she called the police. Cassie said she decided not to report the altercation to the police when they arrived because she wanted to protect Diddy. CNN has an update. Oh, here's Carrie Morgan again. The defense asked Carrie Morgan about the times she spent with Cassie and Diddy. She testified that she would see Diddy and Cassie often. If we were in the same town, we would probably be hanging out. The defense attorney asked her to give a ballpark. So Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, he's asking, he's how many times? How many times? Like a ballpark, like generally. 2008, the year Britney was put into a conservatorship. Don't forget Britney. Don't forget her. Morgan said probably a couple times a month, but she added that she did have a boyfriend in 2008, so she probably was seeing Cassie and Diddy less frequently than usual in that year. Agnifilo then asked Carrie if Cassie was jealous of Kim Porter. This is the mother of a lot of Diddy's kids. Carrie Morgan acknowledged, yes, it was an ongoing issue. When asked to be more specific, she said she was jealous because she could never go to the New Year's Eve parties. And Cassie did testify to this. She's like, I wanted to be around his kids. We were dating for like, at the time, I think 7 years. She was like, eventually we were dating for 11 years. And I was just never allowed to really be around his kids at the parties and the events. And she was like, you want to hang out with Kim and Gina and you want to hang out with these people, but you don't want to let me come and I feel left out. I feel like a SEX toy. We have another update from the New York Post. Oh, no, we don't. No, we don't. Nothing new here either. All right, let's go back to Inner City Press. Okay, he's following some other stuff, tweeting about the temporary protection status of Venezuelans. New update from the Washington Post just popped up 3 minutes ago. Mark Agnifilo began the cross-examination by calling up a photo that was shown during Dawn's testimony. The photo shows Cassie standing next to Dawn Richard and Kalena Harper at the festival. Okay, so remember Dawn Richard had testified this morning that she had sunglasses on in this photo because Cassie had just got punched in the eye earlier that day. And she and Kalena Harper put on the sunglasses in solidarity with Cassie. Earlier today, Dawn Richard testified that she had seen Diddy assault Cassie the same day the photo was taken. Agnifilo asked Carrie Morgan, who used to be best friends with Cassie, if she recognized the woman in the photo. She said she did not recognize Dawn Richard and she did not recognize Kalena Harper. She said she only recognized Cassie. So that's not going to help. All right, nothing new there. Let's see. CBS. Okay, now they're reading through the statements. 28 minutes ago on NBC. I'm not going to be looking up the photos of Cassie, especially on this live. We have another picture of what's her name? Carrie Morgan. 27 seconds ago, we got another tweet. When you say, here's another question from Mark Agnifilo to Carrie, and this does appear to contradict Cassie's statement. Now, is it like a material contradiction? No. I think it's like, I think that Carrie was clear that she doesn't exactly remember who called the police or why or anything like that. So Agnifilo says, so when you say Diddy came and hammered on the door, why did the police come? Carrie said, they said because of the noise. What did they say to you? So she doesn't actually answer that question, but she just says Cassie was visibly injured, but she didn't say anything. Now, Cassie said Carrie had called the police. 1 minute ago, NBC News, Adam Rice and David K. Lee, they put a new update. Cassie was jealous of Kim Porter, her former best friend says. Cassie was jealous of Kim, Diddy's ex-girlfriend and mother of his 3 children. The defense lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, asked Carrie Morgan if Cassie was ever jealous of Porter, who died in 2018, also the same year that Cassie broke up with. It's kind of like, what's that show? It's like, I used to have 2 girlfriends and now I got no girlfriends. Like, that's like Diddy in 2018. Like, woo. So the question is, was she ever jealous of Kim Porter? And Carrie Morgan said, quote, I'm sure. Yes, she was jealous because she could never go to the New Year's Eve parties. Porter was the mother of Diddy's children, Christian, and the twin daughters, Jesse and Delilah. And I think Lila is Kim Porter's mom's name, or grandma. Do we have any tweet? Cassie was visibly injured. Okay, so you say Diddy came and hammered on the door. Why did the police come? They said because of the noise. Well, I don't know if it was because of the noise or because, I don't know. It's unclear why the police came. Hopefully there's a 911 call. Okay, we got another new update about Michael B. Jordan from NBC News. Diddy was jealous of Cassie's time with Michael B. Jordan. So Diddy was jealous of Michael B. Jordan. While Cassie may have been jealous of Kim Porter, her former friend says that Diddy was also jealous of Cassie's time with Michael B. Jordan. Cassie told the court last week that she and Diddy had broken up while she was in South Africa for a few weeks filming a movie. During that time, Diddy suspected she was having an affair with Michael B. Jordan. Carrie said much of the same under cross-examination today. Quote, here's a quote. What I remember was that she was speaking to Michael B. Jordan and they hung out together. And Diddy was jealous of it. Okay. I'm just looking through our, let me see if I can find if New York Times started doing it yet, because they were the ones that were like punctual. Maybe they didn't get in the courtroom today. We do have, what is this, Yahoo? They have it on yahoo.com, but let's see, AP. They're not doing it live either, I guess. Interesting. Okay. Most recent tweet 5 minutes ago. Washington Post, thank God. 3 minutes ago, Washington Post, Anne Brannigan says Mark Agnifilo, Diddy's lead counsel, has so far cast a pretty wide net with this cross-examination of Carrie Morgan, asking her for her recollections about Cassie's modeling career, ex-boyfriends, whether she was jealous of Kim Porter, Diddy's ex-partner. During this questioning, Diddy, yes, details queens on it, added again. Diddy could be seen passing a note to his lawyer, Teeny Garagos, who then passed the note down to Agnifilo. So Diddy is still in here passing notes, telling the lawyer what to do, telling the lawyer what to ask questions about. Come on. Most recent tweet 6 minutes ago. That feels like a lifetime. Thank you, Unnamed and Unindicted. I'm 20 minutes behind, but talking about the rug mule. You remember first witness said Puff claimed his business was import-exporting? Yes. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Yes, I do. It really struck me when he said it. Somebody told me to look up importing, exporting on what's it called, Urban Dictionary, and I would strongly encourage y'all not to do that. But I don't think that's what it is. I think he really meant he was importing and exporting something. That's what he was doing. Again, y'all got to remember, like, the questions that the prosecutors ask, they're for a reason. Like, sometimes prosecutors are stupid, don't get me wrong, but like, of all the millions and trillions and infinite questions they could ask, they wanted to solicit this guy saying that Diddy said from behind the V for Vendetta mask or whatever, his work was importing and exporting. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Oh my God, Hudson saying, yes, I agree. They said that he is trying to get pardoned by the president by going through the Kardashian clan via blackmail using stuff he has on all of them. Well, I would be very surprised if Donald Trump pardons him if anything Jonathan Oddie said was true, because Jonathan Oddie claimed Diddy was plotting to assassinate the president, the current president right now. So I highly doubt he would be very incentivized to pardon Diddy. But maybe, I mean, I don't know. Who knows what any of this is true, right? These are all gossips and rumors, but it is interesting to keep up with. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Hudson. Saint and Co. They need to subpoena those MTV making the band tapes. He was extremely verbally abusive and physically violent. He threw chairs at boy choreographer Lori Gibson on camera. A bad boy choreographer? Yeah, I know. I mean, on camera he did crazy stuff. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Tanya, thank you for the $9.99. I just found you, girl. All I gotta say is, where you been all my life? Thank you for the amazing coverage. I'm glued. Your new biggest fan. Love you, mean it. Oh my God, that's so sweet. Thank you, Tanya H. And for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Christopher. The bestie who had the B-Day party was arrested in May for S assault. Who? Christopher Jones. The bestie who had the B-Day party was arrested in May for SA? Who? Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Holly, for the $5 super chat. You tell him, thank you. Thank you, Hibiscus Rose, for the $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Celestial Essence, for the $10 super chat. I think what bothers me the most is the fact that these people are in Hollywood or don't care what they see or do as long as they have money and power. I hope this case cleans out some of these nasties. Me too. Thanks so much for the $10 super chat. Ira, no, I do not. Ira Meow. I do not remember the ending of the song last night with Keisha Cole. I only know Last Night by Morgan Wallen. Last night we left the liquor hall. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Esperanza Castillo. That's how you say that? Castillo. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Good info, thanks. Welcome membership, Celestial Essence. Thanks so much, NC Horse Lover, for the $49.99 super chat. They say, thank you for all your hard work on this. It's a lot just to listen and digest. I can't imagine how draining it must be for you. You are awesome. Thank you so much, NC Horse Lover. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, here goes my cousin. How do you still have a voice? I've been drinking this South Indian coffee. It's got ginger and spices in it. It's helping a little bit. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Mary, for the $19.99 super sticker. Welcome to memberships. Felicia, shout out to you. Thank you, Milwaukee Marv, for the $2 super chat. He said the text messages prove she wanted the freak offs. I have not seen that. I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you for the $2 super chat. I don't think the text messages prove that. Actually, the government was the ones trying to get the text messages in. And the hearsay in, I think, last I checked. Maybe I'm missing something. Thank you for the $2. Shout out to Kel on Earth, member for 1 month. Facts. Before that, it was all about violence. Post Diddy, it's been all about misogyny. Thanks so much for being a member 1 month. Shout out to you, Emo Hamtaro. Ooh, for the $9.99 super. That's a funny name, Emo Hamtaro. BJ, I can't thank you enough for your coverage. Been watching since 2023. You speak such good debates and talks in my house. You spark such good debates and talks in my household. I also went to Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre's school at USC. Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you to Red Bunny for the $1.99 super chat. Shout out to Reza for becoming a member. And thank you to MB for the $5 super sticker. Let's get over on to Inner City Press and see if we got anything. I mean, last time I checked, the tweets were really dragging. Okay, yes, we do have another tweet or two. Okay. Y'all, I knew we were going to get a kick out of Mark Agnifilo. I just knew it. I knew he was going to be just a fun, like, little comic relief just to watch, just as a sideshow. He says, and so you two were best friends for like 18 years, but now you haven't spoken with her since 2018. Carrie said, that's true. Yeah, that's the truth. At the danger of being Captain Obvious, Mark Agnifilo says, she's moved on. Objection, Your Honor. What is this man doing? Objection, being Captain Obvious. She's moved. No, he can't stand up here and testify. Agnifilo said, okay, so why haven't you spoken? Oh, okay, good. This is believable. I think so far, Carrie is a very credible witness. Why haven't you spoken with her? Carrie said, because she did not support me after Diddy assaulted me. I draw that line at assault. You reached a settlement with Cassie, didn't you? She said, the money came from Mr. Combs. That's interesting because Cassie testified she did pay some of that money. Nothing new from Washington Post. We do have a new update here from CBS News, allegedly. I'm gonna get your hopes up. Cassie said Cassie. Oh, yeah, it was that statement from Alex Vine. Okay, we do have 2 updates from CNN. Cool. Okay, 1 minute ago, we get another important update from CNN.com. This is written, doesn't tell us who wrote it, just CNN.com. Okay. Carrie, 1 minute ago, recalls more details about what happened after the 2016 hotel altercation. Carrie Morgan testified that police came to Cassie's apartment after the incident because of the banging on the door. She said at the time Cassie had a black eye and was wearing a hoodie. So she was wearing a hoodie in the hotel footage as well, so that kind of corroborates. Mark Agnifilo asked if the police said anything that would lead her to believe they saw the injury. She said yes. They asked what happened. But then Carrie Morgan said Cassie didn't say anything in response. Carrie Morgan said she didn't remember if she had said that it was Diddy banging on the door or not. Okay, that is important. That's big. So there's another update. We'll read this Dawn Richard one in a minute. Cassie was jealous of another girlfriend other than just Kim Porter, Morgan says. Another woman, Gina, had a years-long relationship with Diddy that overlapped with his relationship with Cassie. And that, quote, was a big problem for Cassie. Carrie Morgan testified. He was having a full-on relationship with this little girl. They said person, but she said little girl. And Cassie found out about it, and this little girl wouldn't go away. Diddy wouldn't leave her. So it just went on for a really long time. She initially referred to this person as a little girl, but when asked to clarify, Morgan did say Gina was an adult. She wasn't a minor. But she said she did remember her to be a lot younger than Cassie and her friend. For context, Cassie testified last week that she learned Diddy was spending time with Gina in April 2014. And she said, quote, I was really upset. She said Diddy denied the relationship to some extent, but then added that she and Diddy argued multiple times about him getting back together with Gina. Also, less than a minute ago, this comes from CNN. Carrie Morgan said Diddy was jealous of Michael B. Jordan. They were not together, and he was jealous. So Cassie and Diddy were not together, and Diddy was jealous. And I think she was trying to leave Diddy. Carrie Morgan said she visited Cassie while she was shooting a movie in South Africa around that same time. So when Cassie would go be visiting people, when Cassie would be doing jobs, her friend Carrie would go visit her. She was shooting a movie in South Africa, and one of Diddy's assistants was also there during the trip. This is Mia. Okay, breaking news. Mia has entered the chat again. One of the assistants, her name is Mia. The assistant who was referred to as Mia had a lot of energy and the stamina to keep up with the demands of the job. She was pretty close with Cassie, close enough that she came with her to South Africa to help out, or maybe a handler. Last week, Cassie testified Mia and other assistants witnessed Diddy physically abusing her. So Mia had seen the abuse, allegedly, according to Cassie. Back at Inner City Press. Nothing new since the Captain Obvious tweet. Oh, no, yeah, one new thing. Why haven't you spoken to Cassie? And then the friend said because she didn't take my side. She said I was milking it, and she said that I was overreacting whenever I got beat in the head with a hammer and finger marks left on I had a concussion. I was throwing up, and my so-called supposed best friend was saying I was milking it. She's the one who showed up to give me a NDA. So that's why I don't talk to her anymore. Fair. I mean, I do support Cassie, but like I also can see why, this was just too much craziness and drama to be involved in. Just flipping through my sources here. Let's see what the Independent's doing. Okay. I think this might be new with the Independent. Okay. 34 minutes ago. Oh, we already read that one. Okay, the next one. Carrie Morgan describes jealousy. This is 11 minutes ago. The Independent, Katie Hawkinson. Carrie Morgan told the jury her former best friend, Cassie, was jealous of Diddy's relationship with Kim Porter. Yeah, she was jealous. She could never go to the New Year's Eve parties. Diddy and Kim Porter have two twin daughters who were born in 2006. Kim Porter died in 2018 from pneumonia. But Diddy was also jealous of Cassie's time with actor Michael B. Jordan. What I remember is that she was speaking to Michael B. Jordan and they hung out together and he was jealous of it. Last week, Cassie testified that Diddy was also jealous of her relationship with other men, including rapper Kid Cudi. Most recent tweet from Inner City Press was 9 minutes ago. I'm having tweet withdrawals over here. Nothing new here. Okay, so I guess we can go back and read the CNN thing because this was kind of good, a cool analysis. Okay, 6 minutes ago. Richard, that's Dawn Richard from earlier today. We have like an analysis from like a lawyer. Did what prosecutors needed her to do. This is a defense attorney. So this is somebody who usually is going to be like representing people like, the Diddy in the situation. As Dawn Richard, a former member of Danity Kane, testified about an incident in 2009 where she said Diddy attacked Cassie with a skillet. Misty Maris, a defense attorney, told CNN's Boris Sanchez that Dawn did what prosecutors needed her to do. By detailing a threat Diddy allegedly made towards Dawn following the skillet incident, this defense attorney who was inside the courtroom, she said the testimony was critical. So this is, I put more weight on this because this attorney was inside the courtroom and actually saw it and heard it. She said this testimony is critical to the prosecution's argument because this is all about control. And that speaks to the idea of blackmail, of cover-up, of keeping people in line, a theme that has been persistent throughout the opening statements and Ventura's testimony. During the cross-examination, Richard was questioned about why this threat was never mentioned in prior interviews. That detail, coupled with her pending civil suit seeking financial damages, allowed the defense to, quote, box her in and show that she may have other motives for what she shared on the stand. Quote, the goal is to impeach Dawn's credibility. And one way to do that is to talk about how somebody might be remembering something differently today than when it happened. And that's what the defense will argue. The story has been molded. She says Carrie Morgan, though, quote, came off as very, very credible during her testimony. She said Ventura's former friend detailed 2 incidents where she testified that she witnessed Diddy to be violent. Quote, this all speaks to that idea of control and coercion. And her testimony thus far has been really, really compelling. She's coming off as a pretty great witness for the prosecution, and she's corroborating Cassie's story. We have 4 updates, allegedly, from the New York Post. Here's, hold on, this is already, go away. There's Cassie and Carrie. 3 minutes ago, we have another update from New York Post. Diddy, we already read this, but I'll just read it. Diddy was jealous of Cassie chatting with Michael B. Jordan, an actor, according to testimony. Carrie, the former best friend of Cassie, told jurors Cassie was speaking to Michael B. Jordan. They were not together, meaning her and Combs was jealous about it. I think Cassie was trying to leave Diddy. No new tweets for 13 minutes from Inner City Press. I'm getting concerned. Nothing new for 22 minutes from the Washington Post. I want them to put out the scenes from the, I want to see the mood lighting in the corner of what they found at the hotel. Looking at Yahoo News. I'm just getting desperate over here. Okay, here's the picture of Carrie Morgan. 13 minutes ago, Dylan Stableford of Yahoo News. He says, Morgan, Ventura was, so Cassie was jealous of Kim Porter and Diddy was jealous of Michael B. Jordan. Mark Agnifilo, Diddy's defense attorney, asked Carrie Morgan about the jealousy of both Diddy and Cassie during their relationship. Carrie Morgan did confirm that Cassie was jealous of Kim Porter, Diddy's ex-girlfriend. She was jealous because she could never go to the New Year's Eve parties. Morgan also said that Diddy was jealous of Cassie's relationship with Michael B. Jordan. She was speaking to him. They hung out together, and he was jealous of it. Most recent tweet from Inner City Press was 14 minutes ago. Mods in the chat, if anybody says anything about my makeup brush, just block them forever. Thank you. Thank you, Diamond Rainbow. I'm not blotting oil off my skin. I just have like allergies and like when the seasons change, like my eyes water and I get very itchy on the nose, and like rubbing my nose like this is like not only like very bad for my skin and like irritating, but it takes all my makeup off and then I have a red nose. So I scratch my nose with the makeup brush because I just am allergic to everything. And I refuse to take an antihistamine every day. I'll be falling asleep. So if y'all don't like what I'm doing on my channel, please get the fuck off my channel and never come back because I literally will not notice and I do not need you. Okay, goodbye. This isn't for you. Goodbye. Get off my channel. I do not need to explain myself to you. Get off my channel. You're not even allowed. I'm literally telling my mods, I'm giving them an instruction right now that if anybody has any issue at all whatsoever with what I'm doing on my channel, to block them so that they can never speak again. Banished. Ask me how much I fucking care. None. Bye. So make sure you hit unsubscribe and make sure you unsubscribe to my other 5011 channels too because I never want to see your crusty ass in my comments again. Bye. Anyway. Bye. Get out. Thank you, Arthur. Oh, Arthur's in here. Don't panic. Oh my God, I gotta follow him. Sunny Sunshine. Make sure to hit the subscribe on your way out. Unsubscribe, excuse me. Unsubscribe to my channel on your way out. Thank you. All right, let's see. Banished. Goodbye. Y'all saw me hit the hammer. Goodbye. Make sure you hit unsubscribe on my other channels too, because I never want to see your crusty ass again. I can't have an allergy over here. Go read yourself if you're literate. Love to love. I just busted out laughing at work. Oh no, you're get rid of this guy. Get rid of this man. I do not like sexual harassment on my channel either. You see how these men are acting out here? Not everybody. Larry Odom is a disgusting freak. If anybody knows Larry Odom, he should probably be on a watch list for what he just said. No, I'm not a fire sign, but you know what my rising is? My rising sign is Aries. That's the one that God of War. Okay. If anybody's surprised by that, I don't know how. No, I know I look good. I can do whatever I want too. Last time I freaking checked. Anyway, okay, let's go to Inner City Press. I need another tweet, please. Got any more of them tweets? Okay, hold on. What's the issue? What is the issue I'm having? Am I just not updated? What's going on here? I just want to get to his like main page. Okay, there we go. He gave up. He quit. Ooh, New York Post. Got one. No. They just put a little one up there and act like they got an update, but they don't. They lied. What, are they taking a break or something? Like literally nobody's saying nothing all of a sudden and court's about to be over in 30 minutes. Okay. Thanks so much, MB, for the $5 super sticker. Y'all saw me eat my lunch. It was one M&M and got the nerve to tell me what to do. Please, y'all realize I could be doing this on my own free time and not telling y'all stuff. Not everybody. I'm talking about the, degenerates like Larry Odom and the rest. Y'all saw me eat my lunch. It was one M&M. Thank you, Haley, for the $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Tass Gestos, for the for the €11.99 super chat. Shout out to you. Thanks for your hard work. Linda Gorman, thank you for the $12 super chat. Girl, I get this coverage from no one but you. Anyone can give coverage, but no one else has you. Tell him, Linda. You tell him. Thank you for the $12 super chat. Zebra Girl, thank you for the $5. Is Rob Kardashian? Yes, that's what that meant. Thank you, Zebra Girl, for the $5. Thank you, Nikki, for the £2 super chat. You are a queen. Thank you. Netty Daisy, thank you for being a member for 12 months. Greetings, nach Deutschland. Wait, is it aus? Always got that confused. I've been a juror here in Germany and sat in courtrooms in the past, and it's very interesting to see how it works at your end. Yeah, I mean, I'm learning stuff myself. Shout out to you. Shout out to Edie in the chat for the $9.99 super chat. People in chat, please research Ali Carter. Tons of YouTubers expose her and her handler. Otori Outlaw is, I haven't heard any of this. She won't testify. It's all lies. She's another Lamisha. Ooh, wow. Wait, how do you research that? Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Mama's Baby, for the 99 cents super sticker. Appreciate that. Franny said, I want CLE credits. Seriously. My mother is an Aries. Well, she's probably don't take no whole bunch off people either. We need you at the courthouse. Bring your gavel. We're never going to finish this in 8 weeks. Knock was correct. Thank you, Arthur. Y'all, I have a lot of different code switches. Okay, I can switch. They're gonna conservatorship or jail me. All right. He said, no, Inner City Press, where art thou? Any friends in my life is ruthless as BJ. I'm too nice. Yes, you do. You got to stand up for yourself because if you don't, then nobody else will. You see what these bitch ass bodyguards do. If a bodyguard ain't even going to take up for you, then you got no choice. You got to take up for you. You got to. Because these idiots will have you stop out here thinking you work for them or something. Because I don't work for them. We got another tweet. I was starting to become anxious or something without Inner City Press. Like, did they get him? Okay. So Agnifilo then shows Carrie Morgan photos and then asks, do you know if Louise Hayes is a self-help author about self-affirmation? Who is Louise Hayes? I don't know. I wonder if she's related to Heather Hayes, who's all wound up in the Bam Margera story. And possibly related to some stuff going on in Dr. Phil, but I don't know for sure on that one. Do you know if Louise Hayes is a self-help author about self-affirmation? Yes, Carrie said. Why did you send him this with words of encouragement? She said, I don't remember sending that. Who is Louise Hayes? Let's look it up. A bunch of books, y'all are saying. Let's see. Give y'all an idea who this is. Okay, Louise Hayes. No, Louise Hay. All right, y'all. So there's two possibilities here. I don't know. See, I typed in exactly what Inner City Press had said. See, he says Louise Hayes, Hayes. But then I typed in Louise Hayes, Hayes, and Louise Hay comes up. I don't know if this is a different person. She was a motivational professional speaker. Louise Hay was an American motivational author, professional speaker, and AIDS advocate. We also do have a Louise Hayes, who also is an author. She's a clinical psychologist, author, and trainer. They even kind of look alike. I don't know. See, look, this one is allegedly Louise Hay. This one right here, her. This one right here, her. This is the same one, Louise Hay. But then there's a Louise Hayes, her. So these are different people. And these two are the same. And then this one's one. So I don't know if it's Hayes or Hay because it's, it's transcriptions from Inner City Press. Okay, we got another 2 tweets. Okay, now he's back. He must have went to the restroom or something. Okay, Louise Hayes. So Carrie's like, I don't remember sending that. I want to show you a few more pictures, Agnifilo says. But first, let's talk about that incident where Diddy put his hands on your neck. Were you and Cassie using any substances at the time? No. No, we weren't. What did Diddy say? Diddy said, who was he cheating with? So you went to urgent care and you didn't go to the hospital? Oh, y'all, they're telling me how weak their case is. You went to urgent care and not the hospital. Doesn't everybody go to urgent care first? If you think you have a concussion, you want to sit for 8 hours in the waiting room? No. No, they're going to see you a lot faster at urgent care. If something's seriously wrong, then they send you to the hospital. Everybody knows that, Mark. Please. You told the prosecutors it was bloody and you went to the hospital? I don't remember that, Carrie said. Look at this. So he shows it to Carrie, but he doesn't show it to the jury. And this is in keeping with the judge's orders for, remember that order we read earlier? It feels like a lifetime ago, but it was just only on the lunch break. And the judge was like, if you're going to present materials to the jury, you have to give it the day before. But if you're just giving it to refresh the witness's recollection, then you don't have to give it the day before. You can just, whatever, show it to refresh the recollection. At least that's what I understood him to be saying. We have 2 updates from CNN. Okay. Cassie. Okay. So Carrie Morgan says, she testified, she believes the money came from Diddy following the alleged 2018 assault. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo asked Carrie to further explain why she broke off her friendship with Cassie after 17 years. This question came after Carrie Morgan earlier today testified she was no longer Cassie's friend because she alleges Diddy assaulted her. Answering Agnifilo's question, Carrie Morgan said the reason I stopped speaking with Cassie is because she was not supportive of me after that incident. She again recounted the fallout with Cassie after the alleged 2018 assault. Mark Agnifilo suggested that Cassie paid Carrie Morgan in a meeting after the alleged incident, but Morgan maintained that her understanding was that the money did come from Diddy. So she's like, so Diddy is trying to say it was Cassie who paid you. And Carrie's like, yeah, but Diddy gave her this $30,000. She didn't just have that laying around. Diddy gave her that money. She offered me money to sign an NDA. And that was essentially to close the case on this. That was to make sure I didn't file a lawsuit or say anything publicly. Now, this is again also lining up with Jonathan Oddie saying that he signed a 2014 or so NDA with Diddy. And it was to not sue and it was to not speak about it. Context, Carrie Morgan testified earlier today that a month after the alleged 2018 wooden coat hanger incident, she met with Cassie. So this was a month after. This is new information to me. A month after that event is when she met with Cassie. Cassie told her she would be getting $30,000 from Diddy, and Carrie signed an NDA. She testified that she did receive the money. So she did get the 30K. Diddy and Cassie did love each other, Carrie Morgan said. She confirmed that she did believe that Cassie and Diddy did love each other. She said there were times when she thought they should try to work things out. New York Post. Carrie said, this is Jack Morfett, Kyle Schnitzer, Priscilla DeGregory. Carrie Morgan said after Diddy choked her and beat her up with a hanger, she lawyered up and planned to sue, but she didn't end up bringing the suit because he just paid her 30 grand. Cassie met with her former best friend at a pizza place, and this is the last time they ever met up in Hollywood, and accused her of over-exaggerating. That's sad, man. Cassie, but we don't know why she did that. Diddy might have been threatening her to go and do that. So this is the most recent tweet from Inner City Press. Yeah, they tried for a gotcha moment. Yeah. So you went to urgent care and not the hospital? Yeah, I went to urgent care. What do you mean? We have 2 new updates from the Washington Post. 5 minutes ago, Ventura protected Diddy after the 2016 beating. Police arrived. This is from Shayna Jacobs at Washington Post. Police arrived at Cassie's apartment after she was attacked at the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016, but Cassie wasn't forthcoming. Cassie's longtime friend, Carrie Morgan, testified after an enraged Diddy went to Cassie's house and banged on the door with a hammer. LAPD officers arrived to find Cassie with a black eye. It is unclear who called. Maybe a neighbor, maybe Carrie. Cassie thought that Carrie called, but again, Carrie hasn't spoken with Cassie in 18 years. In 6-7 years or whatever. So Cassie thought that the girl called, but the girl's like, I don't remember who called. If it was Cassie or what, maybe it was a neighbor. I'm really not sure. Hopefully they have 911 calls they can just subpoena. But Carrie Morgan said she did not witness the hotel abuse, and Cassie covered up for Combs. When the cops asked what happened, Cassie said nothing. She didn't respond. She testified on cross-examination today that today they asked for her license, and she said she didn't have it. So she did cover up for Diddy, according to that testimony. Oh, we have another update from Washington Post. From Anne Brannigan, Carrie Morgan was paid $30,000 to sign an NDA. Defense counsel Mark Agnifilo pressed Carrie Morgan about the end of her 17-year friendship with Cassie in 2018. Both Carrie Morgan and Cassie testified their relationship ended shortly after Diddy's allegedly attacked Morgan with a wooden hanger while at Cassie's house, or her apartment rather. Agnifilo asked Carrie Morgan to recount her last meeting with Cassie, which took place at a pizza shop in West Hollywood. So they met up at this pizza shop to do the NDA. She said Cassie offered her $30,000 in exchange for signing an NDA. The two haven't spoken since then. Agnifilo pressed her on why this was enough to end such a close relationship. She said she drew the line of physical abuse, but she didn't offer much more when Agnifilo followed up about the lack of contact. I don't know why she hasn't reached out to me, Morgan said. I'm sure she doesn't have the same number. Yeah, probably not. New update 1 minute ago, CNN.com. Morgan says that Diddy was asking about Cassie's infidelity before the 2018 assault. Carrie Morgan said that when Diddy assaulted her allegedly with the hanger in 2018, he was asking who Cassie was cheating on him with. Carrie said she later learned Cassie was in fact cheating on him, but she at the time didn't know that. And again, I renew my question: is this Alex Fine? Is this Alex Fine? Did it all hit the fan because Cassie found her a real man? Speaking of real men, everything hit the fan in 2018 for him. Okay, we have another tweet from Inner City Press. Hold on. Okay. You told the prosecutors it was bloody and you went to the hospital? She said, I don't remember that. Mark Agnifilo was like, really? Look at this, and hands her something. She said, well, see, I said it, but I don't have no recollection of that. Okay, so now they're doing redirect, I guess. I guess they're done now. Wait, hold on. Now cross-examination. I think this is now redirect. This is now redirect, I think. Now, so no further questions from Agnifilo. Then the feds come back up and they ask their first question. Do you remember Mark Agnifilo asking you about an incident in LA? Objection, Your Honor, objection. Judge is like, shut up, sit down, overruled. And he hit her, the prosecutor said, like in Jamaica, arguing about jealousy. Okay, new tweet. What happened in Jamaica? Tell me again, remind me. He dragged Cassie by her hair, a 50-yard hallway. Was he talking about jealousy? Carrie? No. He said she spent too long in the bathroom. Nothing further, Your Honor. Any recross? Agnifilo, did he say no or now? I don't think he has any further questions. So this is the prosecutor, I think, trying to sort of shore up, like, maybe a lot of their fights had to do with jealousy, okay? Maybe there was jealousy. Maybe Diddy was jealous of Michael B. Jordan. Maybe Diddy was jealous of Kid Cudi. Maybe Diddy was jealous because Cassie was cheating, and maybe Cassie really was cheating. But even if we take those instances aside, the prosecutors are trying to show there's other times Diddy dragged her down a 50-foot hallway, for example, by her hair, including in Jamaica whenever she was taken too long in the bathroom. Okay, so what does that have to do with jealous? Somebody needs to tell me. All right, CNN has a new update. Maybe we can fill in some. Okay, cross-examination is over. The defense cross-examination of Carrie Morgan is finished. The prosecution will now do a redirect, an opportunity to re-question Morgan. Shh, that's already done. Okay, now we flying. All right, it goes from like nothing happening to like we're flying, right? Like cross-examination was over. Redirect is announced on CNN, and the redirect's already over now, it looks like. And so now it's like they're doing a recross. Let's see. Let's go to Washington Post. We already read that. New update. Oh, wait, we do have some new texts here. Sorry, okay. Oh, wait, we do have some new stuff from CBS News. Okay, cool, good, all right. So the cross-examination of Morgan begins. This was CBS News 35 minutes ago. Cross-examination of Morgan begins. Cross-examination began when court resumed after the lunch break. Morgan was asked if she knew Dawn Richard. She said she was only familiar with her from the reality show Making the Band that Richard was in, but she didn't know her. She was asked about Cassie's injuries when the police arrived at the apartment after the hammer incident, and that was after the Intercontinental. This was 2016, and how Cassie didn't say anything. She was just sitting on the couch when the officers arrived. So this is a new piece of information. We are getting more names, okay? Actually, not more names. Some of the same names repeated again, though. 18 minutes ago, the defense asked, so Mark Agnifilo asked Carrie Morgan a number of questions about other relationships Cassie had and how she met Diddy. Then they also discussed trips to Italy, Ibiza, and Burning Man. Also mentioned were a number of artists Cassie worked with, including Dallas Austin, French Montana, and Michael B. Jordan. Morgan said her friends viewed Cassie Ventura as a little girl. No, this is wrong. Not Ventura. It was Gina was the little girl, Alice. Maybe she'll fix that. 16 minutes ago, Carrie Morgan did testify on the complexity of Ventura and Combs' relationship. She said her relationship with Cassie broke apart and they haven't spoken since because she felt Cassie wasn't supportive of her after the incident. She draws the line of physical abuse. She said the $30,000 settlement was offered by Cassie and handled without lawyers. She said she remembered a time when Diddy tried to get Ventura to do less substances, because this is a new detail. You know how they're trying to say, like, basically Cassie was like a crackhead abuser or something, like she's the mastermind, she's the one, the jealous crackhead or whatever they're trying to make it seem like. So Agnifilo did ask Carrie Morgan. He said, do you ever remember there being a time when Diddy tried to get Cassie to do less substances? I don't know what she answered. Yes, she said yes. She said she did remember that. She also agreed that they did have a lot of fun whenever they were with Diddy. She said, we did. I can't even lie. Yeah, sometimes it was very fun. But he was just volatile, aggressive, violent. Carrie Morgan said from her perspective, Cassie and Diddy were very much in love, and Cassie was also a flawed person. She wasn't perfect. She testified that from time to time. Cassie did try. No, sorry, I think maybe, I don't know who she is, but it's like, she testified. So Carey Morgan testified from time to time. Someone tried to help Diddy become a better person. I don't know, maybe it was her. Maybe the book, the self-help book. Okay, here we go, y'all. Moving on down the line. We are on to the next witness. Breaking news. We are on to our 7th witness. Monday, May 19th, 2:49 p.m. Eastern. And next witness is here. David James. Why are you here? He's like, because I got subpoenaed. Were you Diddy's personal assistant? He said, yes, from 2007 to 2009. Who was in this photo? David James says, that is David James. The assistant U.S. attorney's like, so yourself? He's like, yes. Woo! He answered in the third person. 48 seconds ago, another update. I went to college in Michigan. Later, I faxed my resume to Bad Boy. Where was the interview? 1710 Broadway. Who did you meet? Tommy, his sister Keisha, and others. Who's Tommy? I don't know. So breaking news. David James, a former personal assistant of Diddy from 2007 to 2009, went to college in Michigan, faxed his resume to Bad Boy, and did an interview in New York, 1710 Broadway. Who did you meet? Tommy, and his sister Keisha, and other people at the interview. 3 new updates from the Washington Post. All right. 3 minutes ago, from Anne Brannigan of the Washington Post, Diddy's lead counsel, Mark Agnifilo, has a pretty distinct delivery in his cross-examination of Carey Morgan. Conversational and at times apologetic. I would like to actually just witness it one day, actually watching Agnifilo do his thing. Agnifilo would often tag his questions with, I'm just trying to understand. I'm just curious. He apologized to Morgan for asking follow-up questions about the 2018 incident in which Diddy allegedly hit her with a wooden hanger. For her part, Carey Morgan has appeared dispassionate in her testimony, speaking flatly and matter-of-factly. Often she declined to elaborate when prompted by attorneys, saying she was unsure or she couldn't recall certain conversations or details. 3 minutes ago, Anne Brannigan says the government has now called its next witness David James, who used to work with Diddy as his personal assistant during the period he was dating Cassie. Interesting. 2 minutes ago, Shayna Jacobs updated us on the Washington Post. These are our details queens. Carey Morgan sees the payout from Cassie as betrayal. An intimate friend of Cassie who said she saw her ex-pal get assaulted twice by Diddy, who also said there was deep love between the two. From your perspective, were they very much in love? She said, yeah, they were. Carey Morgan also testified on cross-examination that Cassie and Diddy were in love and that it was a mutual from her perspective. She agreed with Agnifilo's premise that Combs is a flawed person. So now we've seen this reported that this flawed person thing was, Carey was saying that Cassie was a flawed person, and now it's being reported by Washington Post that Carey actually was not talking about Cassie. She was talking about Diddy. So I don't really know. I mean, I wasn't in there. We'll have to wait for the transcripts. Agnifilo may be trying to soften the jury's perspective of Combs, and he appears to be using Carey Morgan to introduce evidence of the many trips and outings that she and Cassie and others enjoyed in Combs' presence. They attended Burning Man, went to Italy. They enjoyed other trips and events. Carey Morgan did admit that while she sometimes told Cassie to break up with Diddy, she did tell her to remain in the relationship with Diddy on other occasions. She said she was personally assaulted by Diddy with a wooden hanger in 2018, giving her a concussion and leaving her shaken. She stopped talking to Cassie after Cassie offered her $30,000 to sign an NDA, which Carey Morgan accepted, but she did see it as a betrayal on the part of Cassie. We have another entry from the New York Post, or do we? No. Hashtag they lied. He came up behind me, choked me, finger marks on my neck, hit me in the head, wooden hanger. Cassie was in the bathroom. He hit me behind the right ear. Okay, 6 minutes ago, the Independent, Katie Hawkinson says, Carey finished testifying. Now the prosecutors have called David James. Okay, so far they're just doing like these foundational questions for David James. Okay, y'all, here we go. It's going to get juicy. 2 more tweets. How did they test you? Remember he's at the interview last week we read? Inner City Press said, David James is testifying. He said he went to college in Michigan. Later, he found out, later he faxed his resume to Bad Boy. Where was the interview? It was on Broadway. Who did you meet? Tommy and his sister Keisha and others. How did they test you in the interview for Bad Boy to be the personal assistant? They gave me 40 appointments and asked me to make a schedule. You had to know, for example, what time a particular show on Hot 97 came on. All right. What did Diddy ask you to do? To make a spreadsheet for Miami. Okay, we just got this tweet. I said I would know his food and restaurant preferences. He asked me why I would make a good assistant. I said, I can't stop, won't stop. I got the job. Did he have others? He said, yes, Miss Robles, Mr. Barber. So these are other assistants, other personal assistants, including Miss Robles and Mr. Barber. So I don't know who these people are. Never heard of them. I said I would know his food and his restaurant preferences. He asked why I would make a good assistant. They gave me 40 appointments, asked me to make a schedule. You had to know like what time a certain show came on Hot 97 to show that you were kind of like in the culture. Okay, let's go to, these are all seemingly just like kind of like foundational questions, like who are you? How did you get the job? You know, et cetera, et cetera. He said, how did Diddy test you? How did Diddy test you to make sure you get the job? And he said, Diddy told me to make a spreadsheet for Miami. April Love said, not can't stop, won't stop, got the job. because they haven't proved anyone was trafficked. No, I would highly disagree with you on this one, buddy. I'm not sure they proved anyone was trafficked, but they have absolutely shown the force, fraud, coercion evidence. Now, is it credible? Is it not? That's up to the jury to decide. But the force, fraud, coercion has definitely been established, in my opinion. When Cassie would leave, she would be hunted down. You know, this is not just domestic violence whenever it's not just Diddy. That's one thing that y'all have to stop just repeating every single thing that you hear Harvey Levin say on TMZ. You have got to stop believing every single thing you hear these incels saying on the internet. Because what's going on is y'all are repeating stuff and making yourself look very stupid. This is not only evidence of DV, because Roger Bonds is involved, or whatever his name is. D-Rock was involved. They have the police involved. This is not just, check this chart by Nate the Lawyer. Okay, let me see. How do I get the chart? Hold on. How do I now, again, it's, send me the chart in some other way, Andy. Can you send it? Shout out to Popcorn Playing in the chat. Yeah, DM me on X or something. I'm not on X on here. Can you do it on my iMessage? Gene wasn't there when Cassie was. He has said that multiple times. Okay, good. I'm glad to know that Charlie would I, because I was worried I was gonna have to speak out against him. Hope not. So right, and that's another point too, Michelle. Thank you. Not only all this, y'all are forgetting Diddy was Cassie's employer. So how do you do domestic violence against your employee? You don't. That is a totally different law. And I understand y'all really like these degenerate buffoons that just say anything that falls out of their mouth, but you got to stop repeating everything they say like it makes you sound smart, because it actually makes y'all sound stupid. TMZ just released exhibit photos of Cassie. I won't be going to look at them. I don't want to look at them, especially on live. Thank you though for letting me know. And thank you for the 199 super chat. Isn't S trafficking when the person makes a profit from it? Don't come for me. Naturally thick. I'm not gonna come for you. I'm gonna come for you, girl. I actually don't know. I think it just has to be. Look, I'm not an expert. That's just what I understand it to be. I could be totally wrong, but from what I understand it to be, it's for a commercial purpose. Is not the same thing as for profit. Okay, so commercial purpose could be Diddy's actually paying for it. Diddy's paying, and to have someone transported. Once it's across state lines, it brings it to federal level. And I think naturally thick. I don't know for sure. I'm still laughing. Don't come for me. I think from what I understand, it's when you exchange money for SEX. That's all it takes. I don't think Diddy has to have actually been making money off Cassie. Now, I'm almost waiting for it to come out. Diddy was selling these tapes, and I have a whole entire other side theory that Britney Spears herself also was filmed in this way. And that's why she puts out these crazy videos of herself half naked, because she's like, I'm not going to be threatened to release my freaking tapes. I'm putting my own naked butt out here on Instagram. I ain't sorry. I had just a theory. It's a conspiracy theory. He's the consumer, right? So Sunflower's saying yes. Funding all of it. Yes. And as Nate, the lawyer, also said, for commercial purpose. Could also be under the threat of losing one's job. Oh, okay. Interesting. Good to know. Okay, let me get this. I got this. Thank you. Oh, cool. Thank you, Nate, the lawyer. Shout out to you. He does do such good work. All right. Here's a list of the RICO crimes Diddy's being charged with. Remember, they only have to prove 2 out of 8 to get the conviction. Oh, good. This is on the Star. Let me share it too. Here's a list of the RICO crimes. Kidnapping plus variations. RICO predicate category. So here's the RICO predicates, and you got to get 2 out of 8. Oh, good. Thank you. This is very, very informative. Thank you, Nate, the lawyer. And also, I have reason to believe Andy Popcorn Planet, who just told me about this, he's going to be going live in like 10 minutes or so. So if y'all want to head over there, after this or whatever, here is a list of RICO crimes Diddy's being charged with. Okay, 13A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Kidnapping and variations, arson and attempted conspiracy, bribery of a witness, attempt conspiracy, witness tampering, forced labor, aiding and abetting, ST, aiding and abetting, institution, transport and inducement, and rug distribution. So as Nate the lawyer is saying, you only have to prove 2. Can the government now look? Everybody in here talking about, I only ever saw them prove DV so far. Really? You didn't see nothing else on this list? Not one other thing? Because I only need 2. Just saying. I do appreciate this, though. This is extremely helpful. And Nate the lawyer said there is an unindicted co-conspirator. There is unindicted co-conspirator, because still, I think on the PACER, it still says sealed defendant. It does appear there's one sealed defendant, and I hope it's freaking Lou Taylor. They're not paying attention like us. I'm very concerned people not realize that these things are against the law. Seriously, they're out here like, oh, what? You can't do that? You can't do that? No, you can't. Oh my God. All right, let's go back to Inner City Press. Okay, we do have a few more tweets. And what would you do as assistant? This is the feds asking David James, the former personal assistant from 2007 to 2009. What did you do as an assistant? He said, bad boy till 5, then out to dinner, then to the studio till 3 a.m. Okay, I bet you this is going to be the alleged forced labor victim. Because look, bad boy from morning till 5, then I didn't get off work. No, then I had to go out to dinner, then I had to go to the studio till 3 a.m. We'd get a call time at the end of the night. Then it would say, that's a wrap. I'd go home and I'd come back the next day. Did you travel with Diddy as well? Yes. Who was the security? D-Rock, Bonds, and Uncle Paulie. So where's Ruben? You work 20 hours a day? He said, yeah, security did too. Dang. Uncle Paulie and P. Diddy right here. Somebody with the red eyes and the tongue hanging out in the back. All right. 20 hours a day in security work that too. Traveled with him as well. We do have 2 updates from CNN. He describes what it was like 3 minutes ago. David James is describing, we have some names, y'all, huh? Daniel Phillip, David James. It's hard to keep up. Diddy's assistant describes what working for the rapper was like. David James, former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs, asked, "How long do we have?" When he was asked to describe his role. Oh, that is funny. So the prosecutor asked him, "Can you describe your work or what it was like working for Diddy?" And he said, "How long do we have?" He said when he was with Diddy, he was with him every day. He was working and traveled around the world with him. He said his job was to make sure Diddy was able to operate as chairman of the company and get every environment comfortable. Oh gosh, y'all. Whoo, we're gonna get some stuff out of this guy. He said he sometimes worked 3 days straight without a day off. As Diddy hired more personal staff, he could work 5 days a week. He said he would arrive at Diddy's house before Diddy woke up and coordinate with the chef to make sure breakfast was getting started. He would compile documents for Diddy, including business decisions he needed to approve, his daily schedule and news. And he would compile daily schedule and he would compile news stories about Diddy. After Diddy woke up and ate breakfast, they would go to the studio and then back to Diddy's house for another destination. Oh man, this man has seen some stuff. All right, so what his job description and what his responsibilities actually rather included: waking up before Diddy, coordinating with the chef to make sure the breakfast was getting started for Diddy, I guess, and whoever else was there. He would compile documents for Diddy, including business decisions that Diddy needed to approve. He would also compile the daily schedule and he would do the news stories, gather news stories about Diddy. After Diddy woke up and ate breakfast, they would go to the studio and then back to Diddy's house. Yeah. Oh, or another destination. Wow. 3 minutes ago, we get another update from CNN. This is Mr. Combs' kingdom. Former assistant says that the HR executive at Diddy's company told him, who is it? Who is the HR executive? Is it Lou Taylor? I'm waiting, y'all. David James, a former assistant to Diddy, said he sought the job after reading an article in the New York Times saying that the chairman of Bad Boy is looking for an assistant. He applied multiple times, sending his resume via fax, email, and dropping it off in person. He wanted that job, and good for him, hustling to get that job. That's good. He met several people at the company when he was interviewed for the job, including a senior vice president of human resources. Maybe that was Robles and the other one they had called out. During their meeting, the executive pointed at a picture of Diddy on the wall. Okay. So during their meeting, this HR executive points to the picture on the wall and says, "This is Mr. Combs' kingdom. We are all here to serve in it." I don't know, y'all. I would be like, I knew not to mess with the security staff, he testified. Less than 1 minute ago, CNN.com updated yet another, provided another update from inside the court. David James, a former assistant to Diddy, testified that Diddy security staffers often told him to stay in his lane, especially if he was asking too many questions. Quote, this is a quote from him: "I knew not to mess with them, to listen to them," he said. New York Post alleges they have another one, but sometimes a little. Okay. This is actually a good one. Okay, thank you, New York Post. This is Matt Troutman and Kyle Schnitzer. 10 minutes ago, Diddy's former, quote, trusted assistant, David James, who allegedly helped set up freak-offs, takes the stand. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Scandal. Diddy's former assistant, David James, is Fonzworth Bentley, like no one's going to mention him at all. Is he coming in here? Sean Diddy Combs took the stand. Hold on, no, he didn't. Former assistant David James took the stand Monday for testimony likely focused on the hip-hop mogul's depraved freak-off-ass marathons, okay? Look, y'all, they're alleging or speculating in the New York Post that Diddy's former assistant, this guy, David James, is taking the stand specifically to testify focused on the hip-hop mogul's depraved freak-offs. He had been named by the prosecutor's star witness, Cassie, as Diddy's, quote, trusted assistant who helped set up the freak-offs, which are the focus of ST charges against Diddy. He became emotional within moments. Oh my gosh, y'all, we're getting 11 minutes ago. We're getting a huge update. David James became emotional within moments of taking the stand as he recalled being interviewed by Vashta Wilson, the human resources. Okay, so no, not Lou. Vashta Wilson, the human resources for Bad Boy Worldwide Entertainment Group. He got emotional. He said, "I remember sitting at her desk and there was a picture of Diddy on the wall." And she points at the wall and she says, "This is Diddy's kingdom and we are all here to serve it." We got another update from CNN. Okay. So this for the people that's somehow after 7 witnesses still somehow able to form their fingers to type, "This is all only domestic violence." Here's a little bit more for your P-brain. Prosecutors focus on Diddy's control. This is less than a minute ago, CNN.com. Prosecutors focus on Diddy's control over Cassie to support ST charges, legal expert says. So y'all take y'all's 2 remaining brain cells and rub them together real hard for this one, okay? Prosecutors are continuing to focus on Diddy's control over Cassie as they aim to solidify the ST charges against him. Mercedes Colwin, a legal analyst and trial attorney, told CNN, quote, "It all goes back to the ST. And we already heard from Cassie that she was a recording artist that had signed a contract with Diddy and then ultimately became an S worker. But that was overruled. That was objected to and sustained. But she did say that. And that means when you look at those charges of ST, it's force, coercion, and violence. That is why talking about violence at the level of control continues to solidify those specific charges against Diddy. Cassie had signed a 10-album contract with Bad Boy at the beginning of her career, and she's testified that Diddy had control over many aspects of her life. Okay, let's go to Inner City Press. 7 minutes ago, this is Inner City Press filling in some more details for us. What did the security staff tell you? He said, "To stay in my lane." Who said that to you? Roger Bond? Uncle Paulie? All right, let's go to the personal chef. Who is this? He said, "Chef Jordan." This is Jordan Atkinson. Oh my Lord, all the girlfriends. Oh my, a little bit. That song should have been for him. The question is, this is again coming from the prosecutors, from the feds. Did Diddy have girlfriends then? He said, "Yep, Kim Porter, somebody named Sarah, Tara, Yana, and Cassie." What was your first conversation with Cassie as a personal assistant? We were on Star Island. This is Miami. Carrie Morgan was there too. Remember, she just testified. Witness, I think 6. Cassie said, "This lifestyle is crazy. The first time he ever talked to Cassie, first conversation with Cassie. We were on Star Island. Carey Morgan was there too. Cassie said, this lifestyle is crazy. Then I asked her, why don't you leave? She said, Diddy controls my life, my music. He pays for my apartment. All right. So, Mr. James, when was your next conversation with Cassie? He said that was about her music, but the album never came out. Did you overhear a conversation? David says, yes. Diddy said, Kim is my queen, out in LA with my family. He said, I have Cassie right where I want her. She's young and moldable. Okay, they ended for the day. All right. So this witness is going to end up being, I think, a pretty big one. I think this one's going to be a big deal because this is the personal assistant. He was with him every day, traveled with him, all that. Diddy said, Kim is my queen, out in LA with my family. So he's the king. Remember King? And then he's got the kingdom. Then he named his first biological born son King. You know, he adopted somebody else's son, but he named him King. Kim is my queen, out in LA with my family. And I have Cassie right where I want her. She's young and moldable. Then the assistant attorney said, Your Honor, how much longer do you want to go? This would be a good place to break. The judge said, okay, cool, we'll break for the day. So let's see what else other periodicals and things are saying before we break. Ooh, good. Ooh, juicy detail. Okay, all right. 3 minutes ago, Ann Brannigan from Washington Post. David James, a former personal assistant to Diddy, said that former Bad Boy chairman had a relatively unique rider when he would stay at hotels. So there was a rider. A rider is kind of like a thing that gets attached to the back of a contract. So when he would stay at hotels, he said that the rider was, quote, relatively unique. A rider is a list stipulating what a prominent guest would like in their room. This personal assistant said that he would prepare the riders for hotels, as well as he would also prepare the green rooms at the music venues. He didn't elaborate on what was in the riders, but it's fair to say the government is going to return to that. Woo! I can't wait to find out. James also described being told by Diddy's various security guards to, quote, stay in his lane when he would ask too many questions. He said he understood that to mean he was supposed to do the job that he was hired to do and only that job. We have new updates from CBS News as well. Oh, okay. Morgan testimony concluded. When asked to remind the jury what she saw during the first visit, she said she saw Diddy. And this is Carey Morgan, Cassie's former best friend, but they did just update this 4 minutes ago. She saw Diddy hit her. So Carey Morgan saw Diddy hit Cassie and push her. The incident in Jamaica began because Diddy thought Cassie was taking too long in the bathroom. Y'all, oh my gosh. 2 new updates from NBC. David James, Diddy's former personal assistant, was called to the stand. Carey, this 31 minutes ago, NBC. Carey Morgan's time on the witness stand ended after a quick redirect from the prosecution, who just asked her to reiterate what she saw during the first assault in Jamaica. The government then called David James, a personal assistant who worked for Diddy between 2007 and 2009. He told the court he was testifying because he was subpoenaed twice. 2 new updates from CNN. The jury was dismissed for the day. David James will continue testifying tomorrow. How Carey Morgan and Don Richard corroborated Cassie's testimony, according to this legal analyst. Former Danity Kane group member Don Richard and Carey Morgan, the former best friend of Cassie, both testified today. Their testimonies helped corroborate Cassie's account. A legal analyst and trial attorney, Mercedes Colwin, told CNN. She said it's really about the corroboration of the violence that Cassie endured at the hands of Diddy, who testified last week about the abuse, the kicking, the punching, the dragging that she endured in a years-long relationship. And now you have Carey Morgan, the former best friend, come forward and say Cassie lost her spark. She was subjected to punching, being dragged on the floor. She added that, so this analyst added that Carey Morgan also testified that she begged Cassie to leave Diddy. Begged. That's the first time I'm hearing that. But Cassie said she was not able to because of the level of control that Diddy had over her life. He controlled every aspect of her finances. Oh, that's new. Every aspect of her finances, her apartment, her car, and frankly, her career. Carey Morgan, the former best friend of Cassie, also testified today that she had to end the long friendship with Cassie because she too suffered an assault by Diddy. Colwin added that Richard's testimony, so now we're going back to Don Richard today about how she witnessed the abuse, also corroborated Cassie's testimony. And these are 2 very compelling witnesses, according to the legal analyst. Updated 3 minutes ago from The Independent. Diddy's assistant recalls working 20-hour days. He explains the interview process to be Diddy's assistant. He told prosecutors how he got the job while testifying Wednesday. He said he was given the test that involved organizing a schedule from a list of several appointments. He recalled telling his interviewers he would learn Diddy's favorite restaurants and other preferences. He became emotional minutes into his testimony. So this is given like day 26, people, crying. He said, so they said he became emotional today. So he was interviewed by Vashta Wilson, who worked in the human resources for Diddy. And he said, I still remember sitting at that desk. There was a picture of Diddy on the wall. And she pointed to the wall and she said, this is Diddy's kingdom. We're all here to serve in it. He recalled working 20-hour days. Former personal assistant testified he worked 20-hour days. Shout out to Inner City Press reporting. Security personnel worked similar hours. 5 minutes ago, the court had been finished for the day. But David James is coming right on back tomorrow. I want to know what that hotel rider. What is in the hotel rider? Ooh, I cannot wait to see. The former Bad Boy chairman said he had a relatively unique, the assistant to the former Bad Boy chairman said that Diddy had a relatively unique rider when he would stay at hotels. I can't wait to see what that freaking rider said. Oh my gosh. Hold on, I need to set something up here. Wow. This is really starting to look more like, all right, maybe there might be some type of RICO going on here, especially after reading Nate the lawyer's very helpful chart. Kind of reminding and outlining you only need 2 of those things. All right. So, but here's the thing, y'all. When you're seeing people say this only looks like DV. Sure, maybe it could only be DV between Diddy and Cassie. However, y'all have to remember, we're hearing that security guards didn't do anything. We're hearing that Cassie was warned. We're hearing that Dawn Richard was threatened by security guards to mind her own business. And so this is where the RICO comes in. How on God's green earth, please, somebody got to tell me, how on God's green earth is Dawn Richard's testimony that she was threatened by a security guard a domestic violence incident? How on God's green earth, the person you start working for and you sign a label, 10 album record deal with, maybe he shouldn't have been. Maybe he should have been dating his talent, but this does appear to be how they clip you in. Mixing business with pleasure, we're a person. Aaliyah, exactly. Think of Mariah Carey. Well, Kimberly, were you in the courtroom? Because I don't know how you can know. I could be wrong. I'm reading two separate. Were you in the courtroom? I'm not sure. It said Combs was a flawed person, not Cassie. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was Cassie. Maybe it was Combs. But how is it that your boss can be beating the hell out of you and all that is domestic violence? If you show up to work tomorrow and your boss beats the hell out of you, it's like abusing your employee. It's a labor code violation. It's not just a girlfriend, stupid. Anyway, thank you to Nikki. Shout out to you becoming a member. Shout out to Haley. My mom's hospital room. We're both cackling. Yes, laughter is the best medicine. Haley, OKC, and it's the truth. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Get better soon, Mom. Thank you, Jackie. Miss Jackie for the $5 super sticker. Jackie Thompson. Thank you, Angela, for the $1.99 super sticker. Maybe Cassie pushed her away to save her from him. It could be. I don't know. Or maybe like Diddy beating her, isolated her from Cassie. So Cassie really didn't have no outside friends anymore. And all she had was friends from the Enterprise. Maybe. I don't know. Hay House Publishing, the first lady in their search is the affirmation lady. Lots of mediums and self-help books published by Hay House Company. Interesting. Thank you for that. And thank you for the $4.99 super chat, JW. Thank you to Son of Flower. I was at Burning Man the year they both went. My friend even took a picture with them. We saw their camp from the top of a bus and they had a huge circle of RVs. Wow. Thank you for that $4.99 super chat. Footsie's Girl. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Think you're killing it. Love you and your witty responses. Thank you. Love you, mean it. Shout out to JW for the $9.99 super chat. Louise Hayes, Hay Foundation, Public 990 form. Look like Stonebridge chart. Oh my gosh. I have to look at it. Oh my gosh, y'all. Breaking news. There was a big influx of money into there. Restricted from naming the donor. 500 to 1,000 in annual revenues till 2018. One donation made it just under 5 freaking million. Who was it? Thank you for that tip. Vic's got an opinion. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for all you do and making my mom laugh. Oh, she's 77 and loved your attitude. Oh, shout out to your mom. I love her. Shout out to y'all. Thanks for the $5 super chat. I watch you almost every day and I get no notifications. Y'all got to turn notifications on. You got to come. You got to come and just check. I'm gonna be over here every day. Thank you for the $10 10 CHF. Shout out to Crystal Hiker Mom being a member for a month. For the love of things holy, can they please just announce an investigation on Lou Taylor already? My nerves can't take it. I mean, are they ever going to and even investigate? Thank you, Edie. Local honey and glycerin eye drops help allergies so much between seasons. It helps backwards watery. It seems backwards for watery eyes, but they do help. Okay, I'll check that out. Thank you, Edie, for the $4.99 super chat. Mosaic Maria, you were the only person reading this daily from several sources and reading commentary and explaining it. Do whatever you have to. Thank you, Mosaic Maria, and thank you for the $10 super chat as well. Thank you, Jenny, for the 5 CHS. I think it's strange that Cassie calls her daughter Frankie. I kind of do too. Like, how does she name her Frankie without like thinking about Frank Black every time? Maybe it's reclaiming. You know, people do that. I don't know. Maybe it's Francis. I don't know. Maybe it's a family name. Whew. All right. Hay House is a PR company. Somebody said. Okay. While on a commercial flight, Diddy showed Cassie the video and told her if she didn't do what he wanted, he would share the video and ruin her career. That is not DV. That is trafficking. Thank you, EHC Bunny. Thank you. Another excellent point. Thank you. Will Smith is evil for slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars or whatever it was. That was pathetic. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm gonna redirect y'all over to Andy Popcorn Planet. He is live now with Nate the lawyer, who is going to explain. I believe they're going to talk over there about how this is RICO. I think. I'll probably drop into the chat. I mean, I do need to eat for the first time today and all that, or I ate earlier, but you know, all that. And Biggie's alternate name was Frank White too. So we had Frank White, Frank Black. I mean, there's a lot going on here. I am very much looking forward to the testimony tomorrow from Frank. Not Frank. What's his name? David James. Very much looking forward to that testimony, and I'm looking forward to seeing the what's the word I'm looking for? The reporting from the people that were inside the courtroom today as well. So I'll see y'all in the chat. In any event, I'll see y'all tomorrow. And that's all I really have for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. And everything in here is opinions off the top of my head. I'm really doing my best. Love you, meaning. Okay, bye.
When there's an injustice against you or someone you love or someone you believe in, stand up. Don't sit down on them, if they need you.
Welcome to Popcorn Planet's Diddygate coverage. I am Andy Signor, back with It's Kim. How you doing, Kim?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. Another day, more Diddy.
I know. Kudos to you who've been on it like crazy. She's prepared the notes for us today. I had some other stuff I had to do, so very grateful for all the hard work and some intense stuff. I was in and out some of the updates today. This is day 6, guys. Beginning of a week 2, so day 6. Dawn Richard from Danity Kane was there, as well as Cassie's former ex-best friend, Carrie Morgan. And then at the very end, we had David James, Diddy's assistant, taking the stand. Got a little juicy there, and it looks like it could get even juicier tomorrow as we wait for more details. So that's what we'll be going through. If you're just tuning in, this is going to be our hour-long-ish recap, maybe shorter, of today's day. We're here every day of the week, going after the Diddy trial, giving you updates. We're also now available on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, all the podcast places, Kim. Thanks people who've discovered and been watching. You can now listen audio only over there. The episodes usually get up by the next morning or evening, depending on how it uploads. Sorry, out of our hands, but check the next day. It should be up there. But let's get into it, Kim. Overall, what was your overall takeaway